Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Deku becomes super smart. If you guys enjoy this movie, comment down below and let me know before I start. Please do support for more awesome content. And leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also share this video with your friends and check out the description in my playlist. The author of the story Daydreaming now from AO3. So let's start the video. Everyone who knows 𝐬𝐻𝐬 could tell you how much he despises music. All kinds, new and old. From Beethoven to BTS to whatever is that crap Mike listens to. What he likes is silence. When the streets are silent, it means there isn't crime near, not even petty crimes like shoplifting. He knows how to identify all crimes, so he always feels confident when the streets are dead. When he first moved alone, his flat was rackety. The dogs from 3°C and the always fighting couple next door were the constant frequencies entering his ears. So, he did what he was best at. He hid. There was this old alley. Or at least it looked like an alley from outside. That was actually the way to an old bar. It was completely abandoned after some kids got arrested for dealing there, so he started using it as his hiding spot. It became his place for a while, before moving in with Mike and his cats. So now he goes there now and then when he can because that place is special. Everything about it remained the same from when he first saw it because he wouldn't change it for anything. Nothing bad could ever happen there. Nothing. Well, that'll jinx it. He is patrolling. He should be focusing on doing his job. But the night was going downhill since the beginning, and he couldn't do anything to stop it. It started with a bank robbery that went horribly wrong. The guy had some sort of metal attraction quirk but absolutely zero control over it and ended up crushed by all metal things in the building. 3 civilians got hurt and 1 was severely injured. Then a little girl got lost and the parents couldn't find her. After 2 hours of looking everywhere with the help of other heroes nearby, they decided to fill a child missing report. Apparently it was the first time her quirk manifested and it wasn't something pleasant, turning people into snakes by looking at them or something. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. His shift is ending in an hour and the only thing he can think is, today I wasn't a hero. Why? Why couldn't he find that little girl? Or why he couldn't stop the robbery without any casualties? He feels his hands getting colder and his eyes weepy. He can't cry right now. He needed to get his head straight first. So, he goes to the only place he knows nothing bad can happen. So he goes to the old bar, also called the Candle. Arriving, the first thing he notices is the number of cats surrounding the place. It isn't too weird since there were always cats around, but today it is an insanely amount. At least 15 cats in just one room, meowing and purring and sleeping. He isn't mad about it, he just notices it. The second one is that, even being summer, it is strangely cold in the Candle. Again, the Candle is normally colder than the outside, but it is weird. Or rather obnoxious. Sudden change is vexatious, or how the less educated such as 𝐬𝐻𝐬 would say what the fuck is going on. And like in the movies when the tension is all built up ... the piano started playing. It was like he never heard before. It was joyful, like if happy memories transformed into vibrations and into a song. 𝐬𝐻𝐬 can't say he dislikes it, but all his well-trained senses are suddenly in high alert. His chest is heavy and there is something caught in his throat. His joints are not exactly hurting, but he can feel them in this strange aware of them way. It is indescribable, goosebumps all over his skin. Am I scared? He thinks to himself. No, that's not it. The piano is still playing beautifully. It is a euphoric piece, similar feeling as seeing an old friend for the first time in years. The cats surround the piano and sing like happy kittens. 𝐬𝐻𝐬 stares at the scene, astonished and confused. Even for great minds it would be a confusing moment. So for someone like him it must have been embolism-inducing. But 𝐬𝐻𝐬 is brave, so he speaks, "Hey, how eloquent," I say, sarcastically. And the piano stops. All heads turn to him. Exposition day all over again. Who are you? What are you doing here? He steps closer. Can you understand me? All he hears is a whisper. It is a voice. So now, he knows he is talking to a person or at least something that can talk. I'm going to get closer to the piano, okay. And he does. He sits in the chair. His left side feels electric. There it is. You are next to me, aren't you? Play a note if yes, G4. Yeah, sounds like a yes. Are you a person? G4 again. Do you visit this place often? B0, that's a no, right? Are you a ghost? A few seconds later, both G4 and B0 are pressed. 𝐬𝐻𝐬 isn't sure what that means, but clearly the other one doesn't know either. But he had to ask just one last question. Are you dead? G4, is it possible to create an awkward silence with someone that you cannot see or touch? How old are you? We already established that 𝐬𝐻𝐬 isn't as bright as me, but he is dumb in awkward situations. But the other one pressed F2. What the heck does that mean? Why the fuck did I ask that in the first place? Okay, let's think. He pressed that key and it is the 1, 2, 3 ... 10, 11, 12, 13 the 13th key. So, are you 13 years old? G4, he is dealing with a kid. That should put him more at ease, but he is dealing with a dead kid. I can hear some sounds you are making, like muttering. Can you try shouting? It didn't change much. The words aren't finished, but the sounds are a bit louder. Not much change, but I think you are a boy. G4. A pleasure to meet you. I guess I'm Eraserhead. A sparkle next to him surprises him. There is energy surrounding a little body, green lights appearing before him. The kid is now visible and, OMG, you are Eraserhead. The 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸. I have so many questions for you, but I don't have my notebooks because it is so hard to grab anything like this, but after a while, I figured it out. It changed my entire perspective of things, but I still need to practice holding things for more than 10 seconds. Being dead should come with a warning. When I played the piano, I was so happy that I could still play that I didn't even see you. OMG, I didn't even see you. How do you do that? Erasing your presence like that. Is it part of your quirk or a skill you mastered? Is your quirk a transmitter type or mutation type? Because you need to see the person to erase the quirk. But every time you fight you seem to be super aware of everything, even when you do parkour. I can't parkour and apparently, I'm still affected by gravity because I can't float, and I think it's because I'm pure energy and I create matter with it. This ghost thing is so weird, I swear. And, the kid can TAAALK. Too much information to gather. TMI, like the kids say. Kid, I can see you and hear you. Oh, I must have activated my quirk. You are not actually seeing me, per se. You are seeing the energy surrounding my conscience that takes the form of my body because it is the easiest to replicate. Light's traveling super fast in this form and creates the illusion of me. I can transfer this energy to things like the piano so I can touch it, but it's a bit hard to control. The quirk is too powerful for a body made of flesh and bones. That must have been why I. Who are you? Midoriya Izuku, sir. It is a pleasure to meet you. He looks away as distracted by external stimuli and disappears. I have to go, Eraserhead. I hope I see you again. Well, that wasn't weird, said I, sarcastically. Izuku is ecstatic. He met one of his childhood heroes and he could see him. That is fantastic. But now he needs to cool down and handle this. Damn this creep. He interrupted one of the best moments of his life. Well, his death. Couldn't he just not try to assault women? It isn't that hard. Because he doesn't have a brain anymore. He can't restrain his strength or velocity. He can use all of his capacities without getting hurt. His thoughts can't be filtered and focused on, and his vision is expanded because he isn't using his eyes. He is seeing everything that reflects light energy in his presence area. If there's no light at all, he can't see. There are few cons about being a ghost. He is cold all the time, really cold. Touching people is difficult, because people aren't a pure object. They have skin, hair, blood, nails, etc. Transferring energy to every single thing is tricky. Objects are way easier to touch. So, he is in the scene immediately without using his quirk. Thanks for the warning, Shinomori-san, he says to the fourth user. Don't sweat it, kid. Sorry your meeting was cut short. But now you need to deal with these guys. He is right. Okay, so 3 guys cornering 1 woman. One of them looks like a mosquito and has wings, so he probably will run away when the battle begins. As he is mosquito-like, he doesn't have muscle, but he is sticky, and his saliva will have bacteria that shouldn't touch the skin. The tallest appeared to be a gym addict, but his muscles don't follow human anatomy. His arms are lower in his body and his tibias are the same as his quadriceps, so probably his moves are restricted, but his legs are super strong. The last guy was skinny and short, around 160 centimeters and no obvious mutation, but his irises are moving strangely fast, almost making it look like the whole eye is black. What is he doing? Scanning the scene, thinking. No, his nose is moving too much too, and his mouth is open with his tongue sticking out. He has a sensory quirk, probably heightened senses, so he might see his movements coming. Izuku has his knife, steel bar and a rope. This is going to be easy. Izuku throws his knife to the trash can behind the guys, so they all turn their backs to the woman. Okay, so the skinny guy can't see in 306-idig like me, so his heightened vision has to be in 108-idig from his nose. I can go behind them. With the rope, he ties Mosquito Boy's feet to Big Boy's feet. Gosh, his nicknaming abilities are the worst. And with his steel bar he knocks out Small Boy. The other 2, enraged, turn around and the woman puts her hands in the air, like saying it wasn't me. So, to ease her, Izuku makes himself visible. The energy in his face less clear-cut, like a cloud in the place of his mouth. Damn, I look good. And the fight starts. When Mosquito Boy tries to fight, he falls. Izuku disappears and goes behind Big Boy, and punches him with the bar, but it only hurts a little. But he turns. Now you see me. Now you don't. Now you see me. Now you don't. Big Boy is spinning, trying to find Izuku and catch him, but his moves are stiffed, and he isn't in full control of his body. He and Mosquito Boy end up tangled together. Haha, it is so funny. Izuku reappears to talk to the victim, who looks a bit shocked. Are you okay? He sits down with her, who is also on the floor. Yes, I think. Thank you, I was so scared. She smiles. Izuku did his job. I'll walk you to your destination, so you arrive safe. It's all right, it's in the other corner. They were waiting for me. I noticed them following me for a few weeks, but the police thought I was crazy. I kinda thought the same after a while. Well, he might have a talk with 𝐬𝐿 after this. Thank you so much for saving me. Can you tell me the name of the police officer? Oh, don't worry, by the way. You are smiling already, so my job is done here. He smiles too. The woman looks pacified by this. Yeah, he was 𝗀𝐻𝐻 from the precinct in Hero Street. That's all the info I need. Thank you. He starts to walk away. Hope you stay safe. Wait, what's your name? You are a useless Deku. Izuku Midoriya is announced dead after less than a month of investigation. Izuku Midoriya is dead. I'm sorry, Deku. Deku is dead. Dead. I'm dead. Are you a ghost? I'm a ghost. And he disappears again. Hisashi is a good hero, and one of his duties as a hero is knowing what is going on in the world so he can interfere and save the day. Yes, he needs to know everything in order to be the best hero he can be. Hisashi is a gossip, and all his friends are gossip fuel. My brother's wife was so surprised. I found the guys all knocked out that night later because my radar started beeping. But no one sent me a signal. Do you think is a new hero, Midnight? Oh, that caught Hisashi's attention. I don't know, their name was Ghost apparently, and there isn't a newbie with that hero name. Or at least not from Yu or Shiketsu. I think they are a student. I mean ... they look so small. What are you two talking about? Hisashi says to his friends, Nimuri and Rumi, also known as Midnight and Mirko. My sister-in-law was being stalked by the transformed pervs, she told the police. But they didn't do anything even after seeing the proof. So, she didn't tell anyone else. Last night, they attacked her and this kid showed up and saved her in like a minute. Her quirk lets her film what she sees and then reproduce it in every screen, so she shared the video with me. Look, Nimuri shows her phone. The video was in amazing quality, and the kid that appeared and reappeared was amazing. They were small, and their face was blurry, but their suit was clear as day. It was green, gold, and purple. In their head, there were antennas, or maybe bunny ears. They looked cute, like if they were to make civilians at ease and happy. And then, Hisashi saw their eyes. OMG, they were so cute. I like their style. They jump everywhere and even if they use a bar, they look like a bunny. Even the suit has a yellow semicircle in the chest. I feel flattered, Rumi points out. Maybe they are your fan. Or edge shots, look at the cloud. It looks like a scarf. Hisashi's laughing, but he is impressed. He wants to meet this cute kid. They weren't very skilled, but the potential was there. He almost forgets that the kid was doing vigilantism. I almost don't want to capture them. That's a kid. They must be a hero student, maybe a second year that has his provisional license. I think they are a first year. They are too small. Maybe they are just really talented. You both are UA teachers. Any kid like him in the school? Mirko asked. Not that I remember. I'll ask 𝐬𝐿. Let's hope they aren't one of his expelled students, because arresting a good person for being a hero is the worst feeling. Vigilantes have to be arrested by law. They are using their quirks to harm civilians even if the civilians were criminals, so they are treated as such. But that was just balderdash or bullshit, whichever you prefer. That's why a few heroes decided to cover for the vigilantes, Mike being one of them. Ingenium, Eraserhead, Midnight, Mirko, Hawks and Ms. Joke were the rest. The Vigilante Reformation Program are constantly trying to file complaints and lawsuits about them, but they never follow. I covered for Kid Bunny yesterday, and there weren't any witnesses at the scene, but apparently 𝗀𝐻𝐻 was suspended this morning. Makoto's brother is an officer there, and the kid has been recollecting info about those three guys and the officer. Ghost gave them all the proof they needed and hacked into their website and published everything. Kid's a genius. Tsukachi's boss, Mr. Tanuma, said that Ghost has been around for 2 years now and sometimes works with them in info gathering. The clock strikes 3:30 p.m. Mike's shift starts now. So sad. He wanted to hear more about this Ghost Bunny. He shares shift with Mirko and the Lurkers. As usual, his and Mirko's route is in the frontiers of the city. They are a good team despite popular belief. Mike is not fast and agile as Mirko, but she isn't good at long-distance attacks. So they both aren't good for patrolling in the central part of the city. But in the frontiers, they can use all their skills at their maximum. Using voice to help Mirko's jumps and her distracting the criminals while Mike finishes the attack, it's one of the many reasons they are a good team. But they have a weakness in common. They aren't the brightest at planning attacks. They are pure instinct. So, of course, someone with a mental quirk or emitter quirk is a remarkable rival for them. The guy was about 20 years old, and the girl next to him wasn't much older. They both have crimson red hair, and their green flames extend from one end of the street to the other, prohibiting everyone to pass. Everyone, go away. No one shall pass our fire barrier. You, Kagome Kota, owe us too much money now. Where is our money? The girl shouts from the door of a small pet store. We can't pay you now. We are so sorry. We needed the money for our son. Please ... have a bit of mercy. The woman falls down crying on her knees. We were already too patient. Yuta, now. Before Yuta could move, President Mike uses his quirk to stop them from moving. What now? Oh, heroes, so sweet. But sorry, I don't really like animals. The green flames come back, and Mike feels dizzy. What are those? I want to vomit. Mirko was trying to fight the guy, Yuta, but her balance was off. Mike goes after the girl. She isn't very fast, and her fighting skills are poor, but she is giving a tough fight. He can't use voice because the air is escaping his lungs and his everything hurts. Green was becoming sickening, becoming frightening. But then, Green became hope. Ghost upgraded his suit, now he has boots, and a super kick. Sorry I'm late, I hope no one is hurt. Mike realized there that Ghost escorted out the 𝐬𝐬 family without them knowing. Everything is covered with a solution of barium chloride. That's why everyone is having trouble breathing, it's irritating your respiratory tract. The guy's quirk is spreading chemical solutions and the girl's quirk is some sort of spark. And how do you know that, bunny boy? Have you been spying on us? Damn, she is good with nicknames. Ghost thought. No, but you guys aren't very subtle when you attack, and also, his hands are wet and irritated. But I do know something else. You both have a common enemy. He disappeared. Water. A floating hose sprinkles the villains. Can you take this for me, please? Ghost gives the hose to Mike in a whispery voice. I need Mirko's jump speed to put this water bombs in the ceiling. And that's what they did. And the couple couldn't use their powers anymore. Present Mike uses his quirk to knock out the couple once he can breathe again. They were apprehended and the 𝐬𝐬 family was smiling. Present Mike and Mirko, after the police took their statement, wander in the look for Ghost. At the end of their shift, he finds them. OMG, you guys were super cool. Mirko's jumps are on another level, and you have heightened senses like other animals. Can you feel underground movements? You would be an amazing rescue hero, but hey, have you considered making changes to your costume? You are super strong, but you are too unprotected, and because you don't sweat too much you can be easily captured. Maybe using puff sleeves. And Present Mike's aim is amazing. Is it because your quirk can hurt people if aiming badly? Can you aim with all your senses, like your vision and smell? Wow, slow down, little listener. We wanted to thank you, couldn't have done it without you. As Ashy tries to touch the kid's hair, but his hand starts to tickle and then it just passed through Ghost's face. It is unsettling. Sorry, if I deactivate my quirk, people can't touch me. And it tickles you when you get close. I'm Ghost, nice to meet you. You have a cool quirk, Ghost. And your costume is sick. Did you make it? Mirko wants to scream because her cuteness intake level is at capacity. Yes, I wanted it to be inspired by you in the Skycrawler, so I did my best. I used DNA-fused fabric. It was so hard to replicate that fabric, honestly. But now it's ghost fabric, like me. Are you actually a ghost? Like, are you life after death shit? Mirko, what? As Ashy sighs. Yeah. I am not alive. I don't have a heartbeat or blood. I am just a conscience that was fused with a quirk that allows it to take form and continue living without needing a body. Or better phrased, my soul was enhanced and needed a body to exist. But no, if you are wondering, there aren't other dead people that you can't see. There's no life after dead. Stuff. Good, don't swear. Mike would have exploded. Ghost explained. It is a tad depressing, knowing he must feel alone when his quirk isn't showing, but he didn't show sadness. Wait, how did you use your DNA to create that fabric? If you don't actually have hair, or blood or saliva. Mike is scared of the answer. I dug myself out the ground. Mirko looks at Mike's eyes. Kid's scary, isn't he? Very, yes. Like answer. Do you know that if other heroes see you, they have to capture you, right? You are a vigilante. We appreciate what you did, but not all heroes are going to let you go free after a fight. I know that, sadly. But I can't go to a hero school because ... well, the situation. Also, they can try, but I know exactly how they move, how they think, and for what they stand. So no matter how hard they try to arrest me, they can't succeed because you can't arrest or kill the dead. Ghost is scary, even if he smiles so sweetly after. Mike thought it would be cool to have him as a student, if only he knew his real name. Izuku is a fanboy at heart. First, he met his third favorite, All Might. Yeah, ... he wasn't in his top 3 now for obvious reasons, but still. Then Eraser and Mirko, second favorite and fourth. Then freaking Present Mike, 12th in line. After observing them up close, he updated his analysis notebooks. He has so many now. It took a while to rewrite the ones he left at his mother's house. After she died, coming back home wasn't a thing anymore, and for some reason he can get tired, so he slept in the street because he didn't have any money for rent. So, now he is sleeping in the candle. That's home now. He doesn't like sleeping, but souls waste even more energy than living humans. He is always hungry and tired. It took a while to figure out he can eat the energy of the food, not the food itself. So, he ate what people left in his grave. Well ... what the only 2 people left in his grave. 𝐀𝐦 was always a good cook. All the food he gave him was healthy and full of energy. When Izuku is brave enough, he'll thank him. But in the meantime, Izuku will just leave him notes and analysis. Thanks for the food again, 𝐀𝐦. It gave me tons of energy. You are so cool. Here's some things I learned that you could use to practice. Aim shots. To minimize damage or control it, If you have a good aimed attack, you can avoid unnecessary causalities. If you launch yourself to the air and start spinning, your explosions can have a greater impact. See drawings for better explanation. Late explosions. You are super fast. So leaving a trail of nitroglycerin without the enemy noticing and then exploding it can give you the upper hand in battles because you take your enemy by surprise. The note is ready, but he can never show it to 𝐀𝐦. The wound is still open. I gave you my whole life. So 𝐬𝐻𝐸 keeps dreaming, maybe one day. The cats liked passing through him, like some kind of game. He likes cats, so he doesn't complain. He likes the place. He likes playing the piano and moving like crazy because the vibrations go throughout all his body and it's electric and fascinating. He feels like Elton John, but without the money. Damn, he needs money. He needs to buy more materials for his gadgets and for food, because once a month feasts can't be enough. But no one would hire a 13-year-old dead kid who used to be quirkless, and he can't ask the people he saves for money. That's not what being a hero or vigilante is about. Why are you crying, Izu-chan? Nana Shimura, one of the vestiges of One for All, asks him. She is a calming presence in the mess that it's his life. She helps him train the most and makes sure he sleeps well. 𝐬𝐻𝐸 grew very fond of her, and she of him. I think you mean, why are you crying this time? 9. Deku Banjo, equally good person as Nana, but calming and subtle aren't words that describe him. He is loud and speaks his mind without a second thought. Come on, kid, tell us. Your mind is too messy. You need to make room for more thoughts. I think I'm just tired. And a bit hungry. I don't want to steal and give the police a reason to stop working together. Sakachi-sen already has me in his bad side. If it weren't for Tanuma-san. 𝐬𝐻𝐸 shudders. You could take them down with just your mind, kid. You already hacked every single computer and camera in the area. Deku has too much faith on the kid. I don't want to hurt innocent people. And I only hacked them to do my work. Crime went down 20% last year thanks to that. Thanks to you, 𝐬𝐻𝐸. And interferes. The 6th user of One for All. It's not a bad thing to take credit for the good things you do, you know. Now, why don't you try to rest? We'll wake you if something comes up. Okay, yes, I'll sleep. Thank you, guys. I need to sleep, that's all. He stored 𝐀𝐦's note along with the others. Now there are 28 notes for him. Gosh, the kid's stubborn. He doesn't even like 𝐀𝐦. He can't forgive him just yet. But why can't his heart let go of his childhood feelings? He doesn't even have a heart anymore. But my job isn't to get this kid a therapist. It's just telling the story. 𝐬𝐻𝐸 has dreams. He knows he has them. He just can't remember them. When he wakes up, he doesn't know if the images in his head are memories or just pieces of his dreams, but he prefers to ignore it. After all, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and he's already dead. You'd think that a successful man, such as Hawks, would have no fear, or that they only fear losing their success. You'd think that an adult man who just turned 20 years old and is the number 5 hero after just 2 years out of school would have a mind like no one and nothing could be one step ahead of him. Hawks, or K if you are friends, anyways has one fear. He is afraid of ghosts. Why would he reveal this? Ghosts aren't real, so there is nothing to tell. He doesn't need to go to haunted houses or watch scary movies, and it never came up in his friend group that he wets himself every time he hears boo. That was, of course, until a certain vigilante started to become a bit famous. No, really, you should have seen the kid. He was everywhere and gave just the right punches to knock them out. Really, and he didn't use some kind of quirk to take them down. And when he started talking to us, he was freaking out. Like, we were some kinds of celebrities or something. Hisashi was louder than ever. His teacher dad instinct comes out whenever he is fond of a kid. That's what makes him a great teacher, but an even better deafening machine. Xiaxi, chill man. And we are celebrities. But yeah, I wanted to pinch his little cheeks, but I didn't want to scare him. He even gave me different costume designs so I could be safer. I knew being a hero came with kids loving you, but they are too cute sometimes. Rumi finished her second beer and went to look for another. Hawks was more of a light drink guy, so he was drinking vodka straight from the bottle. 𝐲𝐸 was drinking his favorite tea. He had a shift early in the morning and he needed to finish correcting the exams for his class. He had a good class, except for the guy that can't keep his pants on. I want to meet him. I bet he is the purest little guy. Like a white knight but with a cuter facer. Nemura, even if she was the R-rated hero and had the vocabulary of a 50-year-old sailor, loved children. She always knew she wanted to be a hero teacher and inspire people. That's also why she was very sexual, to fight the stigma around women's sexuality. And he must be such a loyal and kind person. He sounds like a really happy and pure child. He was when I met him. Also, he plays the hell out of the piano. He even taught me how to play the fast part of Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't know how we got to that. We were talking about pottery. Do you remember what I said a few days ago? About Aizawa Shouta being a complete dimwit in social situations? Well, here he is, displaying for us another excellent example. He was always my best student. Everyone had their jaws on the floor, except for Hawks, who just wanted to fade out of existence. Honey, love of my life, my dear husband of 6 years, why didn't you tell me? I've been rambling about the littlest, cutest listener for days. And you can't tell me you didn't hear me, 'cause I'll divorce your ass. They weren't gonna get divorced in years, maybe never, so Hawks laughed at them. I'll divorce your ass was entering his arsenal. I just realized now that he was the same. I mean, he doesn't usually let me see him, but he talks my ears off every time. If you want, we can go see him together next Thursday. OMG, lame, are you going to introduce us? I feel like I'm meeting your family all over again. It's just a kid hey, you already know him. They were joking and being silly. Hawks was grateful that his friends were drunk and probably too distracted for them, and 𝐲𝐸 wouldn't ask him even if he noticed how his muscles were tightened and his left eye twitching. He was sure the kid was amazing and a great not hero, but everything they said made him even more scared of him. He dug himself out the ground to collect DNA. Told me he defeated a villain with just a shoe. He smiles when saying sad things. I kinda want to recommend him for UA. UA, was he crazy? Thought 𝐀𝐦. He wasn't a teacher, he just got out of there 2 years ago and founded his agency. But he does go there very frequently, to sneak a peek in the heroes of tomorrow and maybe, hear some teenage gossip. I never cared for it, but it always came to my ears and all the staff and their friends. The kid is gonna hunt me next with my luck, probably. Maybe if he's cute it will be less scary. 𝐬𝐸 came with more alcohol. And being as distracted as he was, 𝐀𝐦 drank a little too much vodka. He didn't notice it, but Rumi did. She was as trashed as he was, but she isn't a sincere drunk. She was a teaser, and he was drunk. It's kind of funny if you think about it. Say, 𝐀𝐦-chan, you haven't been talking a whole lot like you usually do. She was close to his face, pointing her finger to his nose. WhatIf? Are you bored? Do you want to sneak out and see that guy you don't tell us anything about, you dickbag? Huh, no, it's not that. It's just that ghost. He shivered. They are so creepy, man. They are dead and are all traumatized and shit. I mean, have you never seen a movie? Since I was. He put his hand half a meter over the floor. This little, I swear, I shit my pants every damn time I think about those creepy pieces of crap. Don't talk about a kid like that, jeez. 𝐬𝐸 was way over her alcohol limit too. She wasn't a lightweight by any means of the definition, but she had the next day off, and heroes need to have fun every once in a while. Even All Might, whom alcohol never affected before due to his quirk, had fun before early retirement. I thought you weren't scared of anything. Like you were some kind of child prodigy or some like that? Like, ghost and silly stories were boring to you. Not like any of you gonna remember anything. Nah, I am very much scared of ghosts and dead things. And apparently, they aren't silly stories because ghost is pretty much real. His voice tone was uneven, and he sang the last words of his sentence. Yeah, he is pretty much real, I mean. 𝐲𝐸 looked at his tea and then stood up, taking away a few of the bottles that still had some liquid in them. 𝐀𝐦 seemed to realize there that his older friend hasn't been drinking and heard about his irrational fear. Now, everyone, you can sleep here if you want, but first thing tomorrow morning I'll get your asses out of here. Don't care if you are sober enough. I'm not drunk, so I'll go and probably take 𝐬𝐸 with me. You know how her quirk can get, 𝐬𝐸 said with giggles in the middle. This was fun. Wished you could have drunk something. Your students aren't the most, academically gifted. She laughed at the end. I was. Not what, tequila. Savage. Bye guys. Don't fuck too loud because the babies can hear you. 𝐀𝐦 and Rumi laughed. They were the youngest in their friend group by a few years. Hawks was 20 and 𝗏𝐸 25, while the rest were 28. They used to call them babies, but with time it became more of a joke than anything. Nobody could look at them and think, aw, such cutie patties. They never minded that much, but being treated like the adults they are had no match. Since when am I loud? Asked the only one who couldn't ask. 𝐻𝐡𝐢 was all types of drunken. Right now it was sarcastic drunk. I can be really quiet if it's for you, honey, whispered in 𝐲𝐸's ear as he grabbed his hips from behind in a warm hug. Well, he was a sarcastic, flirty drunk. We are not, don't worry. I'll just make them a coffee pot tomorrow. I know how to care for my husband and a drunken teen. Hey, I'm an adult. Who's scared of ghosts? Ding, ding, ding. Hawks has been eliminated. Whatever, I'll crash on the couch with 𝗏𝐸. If you kick me again, I'll fucking call animal control. Hawks hunt rabbits, idiot. That's my line. Also, if you don't speak about your mystery man, I'll revert Mother Nature's roles. They didn't speak. They fell asleep the second they laid down. Rumi was kicking in her sleep and 𝐀𝐦 was with both legs over the sofa's cushions. When 𝐀𝐦 woke up, everyone was gone, and they had left a note over the table. Coffee's on the kitchen, help yourself. Your agency called and one of your interns sick, so you gotta cover for him and his patrol. Starts at 3 p.m. Don't be late. Alarm set to wake you at 2 p.m. Good morning, He hadn't time to feel warm inside before worrying for being late. It was already 2:30 p.m. Hawks was fast and sharp, he never missed anything or was late for anything. So, this couldn't be his first time, even if his head was pounding and his stomach threatened to jack itself out his body. He wasn't going to be late. He made it a minute before 3 p.m. and his body wanted to give up already. But he needed to maintain his composure. It was a last-minute notice patrol, but being a popular hero comes with pressure of never falling behind or falling short. Be there and be ready. It's your only job. You won't mess it up. Heroes don't need free time. Hawks was sick of that mentality, but what could he do? He followed the patrol's route. The day wasn't as quiet as he expected, but nothing he couldn't handle. A few petty crimes and nothing involving guns. He might even feel lucky today. Oh no, reality got jinxed again. I suppose the appropriate word for my unfortunate mistake is oops. The car's starting to float on the street. A woman in her 40s in the middle. A villain. She was known by all Japan. Lady. Quirk above ground. Everything she touches goes 5 meters in the air, no more and no less. And she can only affect what she can physically lift. She appeared first in scene a few months ago and quickly became feared by the hero community. She never killed anyone, civilian or hero, but she just caused chaos around her. There were fires and earthquakes, and all sorts of hazards wherever she walked, becoming this way a level 3 threat. She was 210 centimeters tall and could lift 6 cars with just her arms. A scream. A beastly scream. Lady wasn't alone. Oh yeah, he needed backup. He used his telecom to contact his agency. Hey, Hawks in Maine and Distro Street, call for backup. Lady is here. Please respond. She is not alone. The beast screamed again. It looked like a minotaur mixed with a lion. It was pink and could be either in 4 legs or 2. People running anywhere they could find a place to hide. Hawks expanded his wings to be noticed so the civilians would calm down and to alert Lady he was there. Anyone there? I need more people here. Are you sure you want to fight, hero? Don't you want to strut a little before I beat your ass? Honey, I can strut even on my deathbed. Don't tempt me. I'll make sure your deathbed comes soon. Then, Minotaur jumped from car to car. All car alarms firing. Hawks flew up. He wasn't scared to fight it. As long as he was on the air, they couldn't get to him. Hawks threw a few punches and kicks to the pink Minotaur's face, while Lady was putting up and down cars and fire hydrants. The water was wetting people and flooding stores near. Hawks needed to stop her before more damages were done. He launched himself to her as a projectile. Hawks noticed her being a bit slow with external sudden movement. But even with that advantage, she was extremely fast. He had to keep up. He had to be aware and have eyes on his back. He was fighting alone. Hey, Hawks, agency here. No heroes in your area. We are trying to call another agency for information. We think Kaido is near. But the connection was cut by a deafening yell from the beast. How could anyone hear him without suffering? Hawks felt his balance crumble. He was stunned. And then 5 fingers touched his arm. He was floating 5 meters in the air. It wasn't like when he was flying. He had no control. He was immobile. Hi, I'm sorry I kinda hacked here, but show me going. That wasn't Kaido. That was the voice of a child. Oh no, is that motherfucker coming? Kaido, I need to talk to those bastards in Endeavor's agency. I want them to hear me loud and clear, hear us both. She revealed. She was expecting to encounter them. She had a plan. She never had a plan before, did she? A green light shone brightly behind her. I'm not actually sorry I'm not them. If they were here, this could be a whole lot different. The kid in the green light giggled. After all, they aren't fond of vigilantes. You are a kid. You are just a kid. Lady sounded sincere and scared. Everything in the air wiggled a bit, until she regained composure. Who are you, vigilante? I'm Ghost. A pleasure to meet you. Well, Lucky wasn't Hawk's middle name. I am going to stop you. This doesn't concern you the way you think. Ran away from the heroes. Do it. Ghost became invisible, but he didn't run away. Pink Minotaur was kicked in the testicles. Then he reappeared again. Hey, Lady, why is that your nickname? Lady threw a car at him, but it was dodged. Is it because you always wear dresses? She did it again. Trying not to listen or get too carried away, she was destroying an empty shop to find things big enough to pitch. Ghost was getting slower. Was he getting tired? You have a good arm. I've never seen muscles like yours. They are amazing. Does your... Wow, that was a big statue. Let you gain more muscle than average. When she ran out of things to throw, she chose the best next thing, the hero. But she didn't realize she did it until it was too late, and he was no longer under her influence. Oh, hi Hawks, fancy meeting like this. Hawks just spluttered a shy hi. Damn, Pink, get up. Come on. But Pink was occupied. The green boy was very sparkly, and, as if they were a kitten, the Minotaur started playing under the cozy lights of the boy. They were to some extent adorable. Damn you, you useless cow. Aw, aren't you so sweet? Sorry for the kicking your nuts thing. I didn't know you were like this. Something seemed to click in the boy's head and his smile faded. You, why exactly are you like this? You aren't a threat. You rely on your instincts, right? He turns to the woman. Doesn't he? For your own good, kid, leave. Leave before another hero gets here. She was warning him. That's why you weren't trying to hurt me. Why you were aiming badly? Why are you a villain? She touched the walls of the shop and it levitated. It was the only thing in the air. Another warning, or maybe a threat, as if she is intending look at what I can do. Hawks tried to sneak behind some broken cars to attack in the right moment, but he was intrigued at what the kid was saying. Leave. There was a popular vigilante a few years ago. She got arrested by some heroes after she bravely saved an island from flooding by levitating all islanders. She was one of the first in the VRP and no one knew anything about her again. Lady went to levitate another shop, but never took her eyes out of the boy. She was shaking. Are you her? Are you Butterfly, the typhoon vigilante? Stop. I can't hear you, but I know you are talking. Stop that. I can't hear you. So the translucent boy uncovered his mouth, or faded the scarf, and revealed his entire face. Dumb move, kid, Hawks thought, but his heart clenched when he saw his face. He was so young, no way he was bigger than 10. He had tons of freckles and big cheeks. A big bubble got caught on his throat. You are Butterfly, the typhoon vigilante. What happened? She dropped everything to its place. Breathe. The VRP caught me in pink. They put us in cells and tortured us. Kaido was the one who took my daughter away from me, and Sensei, the leader of it all, punched and kicked and oh no, the hell out of my hearing. The same to Pink. They brainwashed them into a beast who relies on animal instincts completely. So run, kid. You need to get away from every hero. They are destroying what we love. She was crying. Lady, no, Butterfly was crying. You said in an online interview before that your name was inspired in the butterfly effect, that the flutter of a butterfly can cause a typhoon in some place in the world, and you were strong and beautiful, just like a butterfly, and you can make a change by saving people. He took a step forwards, and another. So, let me help you flutter again, and make a change by saving you. I have a place where you both can go and be free. Please, come with me. He offered his hand. She tried to take it, but her hand went through it. Sorry, I forgot I need to concentrate to touch people. But you get the gesture, right? They both giggled. I just want to see my little girl again. She was just 7 when she was taken away. After he told her some direction, she and Pink ran. Hawks thought that the boy mistakenly trusted 2 villains, but his gut wasn't agreeing with his logic. He felt conflicted. 𝐀𝐦 followed the kid to a terrace. He didn't feel scared enough. Maybe ghosts weren't bad after all. Hey, ghost, wait. Oh my, hi. Sorry I hacked into your telecom, but the police gave me green light to do something. Ghost bowed at a 90-degree angle. How did you know all that about her? And why did you promise to help her? She could be lying. She wasn't. I read all about her when I first became a vigilante. She was inspiring, always wanting the best for everyone. And I promised her I'd help her because that's what a hero does. They help everyone who needs help. They don't discriminate. I want to change the world. The world can't change, kid. Sorry, nothing can make that happen. Then, why do heroes exist? Hawks thought his answer for a minute. To save people who need to and stop what's hurting. So, civilians can live happily and normally, even at our expense. I always wanted to change things, but I learned I never could, even after helping vigilantes. The law doesn't change because the people don't. He needed to explain more. You can't fuck up in this line of job without someone getting hurt. You can't have free time to recharge because the city needs you, and criminals will always be around, so you can't not be around. I want a world where heroes have time to kill, but that won't happen. I'll help you make it happen, because heroes help those who need it and save those in danger. So, you can't give up on your dream, because if you do, you aren't a hero. How are we gonna do it? Have any ideas? Yes, first we need to defeat the VRP, and then save everyone else. This kid was insane, but 𝐀𝐦 believed him. He saw him save a villain. What else could this kid do? Damn, his heart was racing. He felt inspired. We have a plan, kid. I hope we cross paths again. We will. After all, this wasn't a coincidence. What? Do you believe in fate? 𝐀𝐦 wanted to laugh. How could a kid be so adorable? No, I don't. And he let himself fell to the ground. Wait, Hawks yelled, as he saw the kid fall on his feet. You could have. Oh, Hawks was still scared of ghosts. Izuku returned to the candle, where some people were waiting for him. Hi, Butterfly. I hope this place is to your liking. A friend helped me decorate. There was a few merch of some pro heroes and music sheets of some popular songs glued to a call. The alcohol shelf was replaced as a bookshelf with a mini fridge. There was a rug, where Minotaur was laying, feeling its fuzziness. It looked like a teenager's room with musical instruments. I like to play the piano and the ukulele. My AIM friend thought it would be good to have a non-dangerous hobby, and since I really like music well, he gifted me the ukulele. How did you learn to play? My daughter always loved the ukulele, but whenever she tried to play it, it would float away or make a horrible sound. My family never had music talent. I play the piano since I was little. My mom assigned me in classes along with a friend into a music course where we learnt different instruments. He grabbed his ukulele and adjusted the strings, and I learnt ukulele in YouTube to play some songs I liked. It's a really sweet sound. He played a few chords for Pink, who seemed to enjoy it. You told me you could help me see my daughter again. I can't give her a good life right now, but I want to see if she's okay, if she's happy and with a good, loving family. She sat down in a hanging chair made of wool and wood. How? You were caught 6 years ago. And the VRP, being a legal and governmental institution, must have given her for adoption the legal way. So there must be a record of a 7-year-old girl with a quirk similar to yours that was given to either an orphanage or a family. Great. And can you search for it? I can. And if you can give me her name and quirk, it might speed up the process. Her name was 𝐻𝐸𝐬 𝐍𝐨, and her quirk was 0 gravity. She was named after my mother. I'm Hana, by the way. Hana 𝐍𝐸. Izuku went to his desk. He had access to adoption records dating to the approximate date of Butterfly's capture. Hana saw the kid work and read at super speed. I have a few matches with that name, and one with the same name quirk. A few others with similar quirks. Maybe they changed the name of it in the last years, who knows? And it's just 5 matches. But I think this one it is. 𝐻𝐸𝐬 𝐸 quirk 0 gravity. She is living with a family who works in construction and have similar quirks to her. He copied the information in a notebook and then ripped the page. They live on Yoroi-Musha Avenue. Wow, that's her. That's my baby. She looks just like me. You found her, you found my family. And the Urarakas, they were my family friends, my friends. It was our deal. And also, I searched her on social media. He showed her profile. 𝐻𝐸𝐬 was posing in front of a construction shop with her parents. The sign said Butterfly & Co. She posted this with the description, "In honor of my bio mom, my family, and I wish we could see you again." He looked at Hana's eyes that were watering. I think you have a home to go to. But I can't. I hurt so many people, I can't face them. And what would I do with Pink? I can't take them outside without having to hide them, even if no one knows them yet. I'll take them in. I always wanted a pet. And I'm sure if you don't give it a try, you'll regret it. You need a home, and your daughter wants her mom. Don't give up. And that's what happened. Hana made her bags a few days later, and she was ready to say goodbye. She changed her look to her old appearance and was ready to go. But before she stepped into the Uber, she said something very important. "Thank you, kid. I can't believe this is happening. But I need to tell you something." She hugged Pink, who was in 4 legs. In the program there was a child, same age as my daughter maybe. He was there against his will, and he was. His quirk was very powerful. They used his quirk to change the people there. When I escaped with Pink, he did too. He couldn't undo the damage in Pink's brain, so he ran away from us. He was so scared. Izuku knew where this was going. What's his name? Hitoshi Shinsu. I know you already did a lot for me, but this is my last request for you. Please, find the boy. He needs a hero. And then, she was gone. Izuku sat in his futon, with the ukulele in his arms, playing some chords from the song 4th of July by Sufjan Stevens. A young man walked into the candle and grabbed a drink from the mini fridge he had installed. He didn't need to ask permission. After all, they were roommates. The lady from the Attack with Hawks is gone, I see. And now you have a pink lion like the kid from that TV show. Pink growled, but Izuku asked them to back down, and so they did. Where were you, Tusan? I was so worried. I haven't seen you in almost a week. Tauya Todoroki, the dead son of the number 2 hero in 𝗑𝐲𝐼𝐼, sat down on the piano while he drank his soda. I was helping Kay train, and it was my little sister's birthday. I tried to give her a gift without her noticing me. It's hard to be sneaky when you are this good looking, you know. Also, being not actually dead and half burnt like a marshmallow, but mainly being super handsome. He sighed. I needed some time away. But, hey, Kay tells me you two met and you inspired him. Thanks for that. Your plan worked. No problem. We needed him if we wanted to set our plan in motion. We will change the world to help everyone who's different and save those in need. And also, making someone sick is so easy. I can't believe I only needed to spread a fake virus in his room. The intern never saw me coming. But now we have another mission. What's it, kid? Tauya threw the kin into the trash. We need to save Hitoshi Shinsu. All Might was still alive. And he didn't deserve it, even if he'll probably died soon. The number 1 hero was about to be buried next to the greatest past people of the nation. When he dies, people from everywhere in the world will come see his grave and leave flowers and candies. They will cry his death and remember him like the best hero of his time, and he didn't deserve it. After all, he killed someone who doesn't have fresh flowers in his tombstone, and only 2 people would visit him. Someone whose smile was brighter than the sun and whose mind was sharper than a razor. He killed Izuku Midoriya. When he met Izuku, the kid was 10 years old and was running away from some bullies with something in his arms. His body was badly hurt and his back was bleeding heavily. All Might couldn't look away. He was in his true form, so there were 0 chances of getting recognized. He followed the children to a nearby park, where he was about to intervene, when he heard what was happening. Come on, Deku. Why are you trying to protect that rat? He has such a lame quirk. It'd be better if he didn't even have one, right? One of the kids said. He was chubby and had wings. and was behind a blonde child, Katsuki, who seemed to be the leader of the little gang. The nerd doesn't have a quirk, so everything to him seems astonishing. When you are so small and insignificant, everything seems too big. Isn't that right, Deku? Katsuki kicked him down, but Izuku kept trying to protect the rat with his body. Toshinori silently gasped at this. He was impressed. It wasn't common to see a quirkless person nowadays or in the past 5 years. It doesn't matter what quirk someone has. Izuku's voice was shaky, and his body was trembling like gelatin, as any other person would in that situation. No one should be cast away or hurt because of who they are. It's not fair. And I think his quirk is amazing. And in a minute more he'll turn back to human. That had seemed to madden Katsuki. More amazing that my quirk? Nerd, do you think there's someone better than me? The kids behind him started shouting, no one's better than you, Bakugo, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. And no, your quirk is amazing, Kaken, but that doesn't change anything. The kids tried to hurt them again, but they could only get to Izuku. Toshinori then stepped into the scene, making the bullies leave, giving them the angry side eye. The rat became human again, and he was crying. The kid had rat ears, whiskers, and a long tail. Izuku tried to comfort him, whipping away his tears. Don't worry, Yakun, they are gone, and I'll protect you no matter what. You can't, Midoriya, you are quirkless. I can't change that I don't have a quirk, but I can't just do nothing when bullies try to hurt people. I don't need a quirk to do the right thing. Toshinori was impressed and happy. So many memories were replaying in his head. You are hopeless, Midoriya. Thanks, sir. Yakun left running, leaving the two of them alone. Izuku was badly hurt, and when the adrenaline was gone, the pain caught up with him. Come with me, kid. I'll take you to the hospital. Can you tell me your family's number? Izuku roughly ended up saying the full number of his mom before he passed out. Toshinori notified the mother in the situation and agreed to meet her at the hospital, but she was going to be late because her job wouldn't let her leave. In the hospital, they had to wait a lot because the quirkless specialist doctor was on break, so went outside and transformed into his All Might form. When he entered the hospital, everyone surrounded him and gave the doctor the alert to come back. When he did, he took his time to patch the kid up and give him some medicine. Toshinori was a patient man, so he didn't yell or got angry, but it bothered him that the kid could have been dying, and no one would have helped him if it wasn't for his hero status. His mother, 𝐀𝐦 Midoriya, came an hour after the doctor finished cleaning the wounds. They talked a bit. Hello, Mrs. Midoriya. It's a shame we meet like this, but I hope this'll have a brighter outcome. Thank you so much, All Might. Thank you for saving my son. She cried her words out. If you don't mind telling me what happened, I'll be more than grateful, Izuku. He never tells me anything. He always comes home covered in bruises and crying, but then he smiles and says that everything is fine. Toshinori told her what happened. He specially highlighted the bravery and heroism of the child. He didn't mention names or anything, just because he couldn't remember them. When she asked him, he blushed and apologized for his bad memory. A few hours later, Izuku woke up whining a bit while trying to sit up. His body was almost completely bruised, but he wasn't bleeding anymore. When he saw All Might, he almost passed out again. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. He hyperventilated and smiled, as if his whole body wasn't injured and he hadn't been on the verge of bleed out. All Might is in my room. Why? Wait, how did I'm not in my room. Oh my, All Might saved me and brought me to the hospital. His voice sharpened and it sounded more like a squeak than anything else. Young Midoriya, I saw what happened at the park with those kids and how you were protecting your friend. I must say, I'm impressed with your bravery. I mean, thank you. He took a deep breath before continuing. Thank you, really, but I wasn't brave enough. I should have fought back, so I wouldn't have been in trouble for you, Sir All Might. I'm sorry. And Yakun isn't my friend. He doesn't like me very much and we don't talk a lot, but I couldn't stand there and do nothing. Quite modest you are, my boy. But you don't need to apologize. I wish half the people were as brave as you were today, and as kind as you surely are every day. All Might saw the clock in the wall and paled. He was running out of time. I'll be going now. Your mother is filling up some papers to get you discharged. I hope we see each other again someday. Wait, Izuku stopped him. Before you go, I have a question. What is it, young Midoriya? Do you think I could be a hero without a quirk? All Might wanted to cry, as if he was looking back in time. Of course, you can. A hero is made by helping people and saving those in need of saving, not from how powerful their quirk is. And he left. If only that would have been the last time they saw each other. Before seeing him again, he told Tsukachi about the strange boy, whose name he forgotten. Freckled green-haired boy. Yeah, for sure Midoriya Izuku has a bit of a reputation being a troublemaker, but it's false, I know. He is quirkless and yet he gives the police in his area so much trouble, but I never met someone with a better heart than him. He is like a mini-hero helping the people around him. Toshinori never forgot his name anymore. The second time was a few months after that, when Izuku was 11 years old. All Might heard a villain attacking the streets of Musutafu. He was a sludge that robbed different stores in the past days, but his mo was something almost unseen before. He invaded people's bodies and used their quirks against their will. He couldn't let the bastard go free any longer. 𝐸𝐴𝐻𝐸 told him where the next attack might be. The Ultra Bank of Shizuoka Prefecture. Of course, he was right. When the villain was getting out of the bank, the police started to persecute him. The villain was surprisingly slow, and when the officers went catching up, he decided to fight back using the nearest body there was, Izuku Midoriya. The sludge trapped him and inserted himself inside Izuku. The kid couldn't breathe, and in hand he only had a notebook and a pencil. He tried to free himself by punching the villain with the notebook or trying to stab him with a pencil, but it didn't work. Everything passed through. But Izuku's mind was quick and brilliant, so with all his strength, about to pass out for lack of oxygen, he stabbed the sludge villain in the eye. The sludge left his body and escaped from the sewers. The police scolded him for getting into trouble again. That wasn't fair. The kid survived an attack by his own means, and he got in trouble. Unbelievable. But All Might couldn't worry himself with that right now. He needed to find the sludge. There weren't a lot of locations near with manholes, so he went to the closest one he knew, but no traces of the villain. So he went to another, and nothing. So he tried another, and nothing again. It was getting late when he heard a scream of a oh so familiar voice, 𝐀𝐦 It was Izuku. Kamui Woods was near, just watching the scene. Izuku took off his red boot and threw it right to the sludge's eye. The sludge, by the shock, left Katsuki's system and after a second, went for Izuku. Gladly, All Might Texas smashed the villain into nothingness. As everyone thanked him, he saw Izuku leave. So, he followed him. It was decided. The next symbol of peace, the next #1 hero, there he was. Izuku Midoriya was born to be his successor. He was so excited, so ready to be a mentor, so ready to die teaching the kid how to save people. Toshinori told the child about One for All, about his injury. He told him to please accept being the next All Might, and the kid agreed. But right there and then, Izuku's body, after accepting One for All, gave up. He was too weak to hold the power enveloped in One for All. All Might didn't know why, but he didn't question it after everything had happened. Izuku Midoriya was dead, and he killed him. When he reported it to the police, they thought it was a prank call. When he told Tsukachi, he suggested he took some time off, and they would think of something. Toshinori felt no longer like a hero. A story was created by HPSC, and Toshinori was forced into consent its release. Izuku Midoriya went missing for 3 weeks and then declared dead by suicide. He was bullied into it for being quirkless. The body was found and buried near the beach, where it was cheaper. Nobody cared about the story and only a little short memorial was hosted. Everyone forgot about it after 2 days. His mother took her own life too after everything. But people didn't even have the decency to bury them together, so 𝐀𝐦 was buried in a nice and well-kept cemetery. She had a few visits from friends and obviously the Bakugo family every month. She was a loved woman. But for her son there wasn't that love. He was, after all, just another quirkless boy who didn't belong. All Might wasn't alive anymore, Toshinori thought as he visited the kid's grave. No, All Might died too. Toshinori visited the grave almost every week, along with Katsuki Bakugo. The first time they met, he revealed who he was. Katsuki yelled at him like he was a crazy old man. Now, he knew almost everything. HPSC made him firm a non-disclosure agreement, so if he told anyone the truth aside from Tsukachi, they'd make sure that anyone would never speak again. He felt sick to his non-existent stomach having to lie so much. It surprised him that no one would visit Izuku. He was such a sweet boy that it was crazy he wasn't loved more. Not even the 𝐀𝐦 boy was there. Katsuki told him that, after the day, he left his gang and now the rat punk was with them. No one messed with Katsuki. He was even more feared than before, crueler than before. Hey, old man, do you think he would have been a good hero? Unsure. He was born to be a hero, I know that. He responded, someone eats the food I leave him. I don't know why I keep bringing more. What a waste. You brought katsudon today. That's something you don't do often. It's usually healthy food. Katsudon was his favorite, because its name is similar to Katsuki. But I think after some time it just stuck to him to say that was his favorite food. Today is his birthday. That was right, Izuku had forgotten. Today he turned 14. That's why I made his favorite. I think you have your answer then, of why you keep bringing food. He didn't make himself visible. He hated that. He hated hating them. Hated that he couldn't forgive them, but he couldn't stop loving them. Hey, Izuku. Nana sat with him. It was sad she couldn't hug him. He needed it right now. Happy birthday, boy. Yeah, you're old now, kid. Banjo floated around them, singing happy birthday as if he was drunk. Congrats, Izu. Yoichi and Nen sat with him too, as Katsuki lighted the candles on the birthday cake. Shinomori was trying to convince the other two to join in the song. But they weren't the social type, but still they only clapped throughout the duration of the song. It was sad. No one really sang with enthusiasm. Izuku was crying. Make your 3 wishes, honey, said Nana. I wish I could hug someone one more time. I wish our plan to work out and save everyone affected by the VRP. He looked at his childhood best friend's eyes, and for a moment, he thought Katsuki was looking at him too. I wish I can forgive you soon, Kaken. He blew out the candles. Toshinori and Katsuki attributed it to the wind, even if there wasn't any. Maybe it was just a small breeze and they couldn't feel it, right? Please, heart, stop hurting me so much. He was alone, leaving alone, crying alone, buried alone. He returned to the candle. It was dark, but he could see anyways, after all. He played the piano like only he could, loudly and sentimentally. He played faster and faster. He wasn't afraid of the attention. Pink woke up and went to him. Izuku was happy Pink didn't mind the static when he pet them. The door opened, revealing a few people coming in. Tauya, Keigo, 𝐻𝐸𝐬, Hisashi, and Rumi. They had a cake and some balloons. Pink roared at the sudden change in the atmosphere. That's right, Izuku wasn't alone. Hey kid, you are crying again, said Yoichi. What is it? I'm home. They sang happy birthday with enthusiasm. Keigo had put some music and connected the amplifier. Everyone was talking happily and enjoying the evening. They started talking about their plans and training, how Izuku could grow stronger and what he could do now that he was 14, like signing up for UA. What? The rules of the hero department at UA say that to enlist yourself, you need to be at least 14 years old and have your legal guardian's permission, explained 𝐻𝐸𝐬, holding a cup of Coke. He didn't want to drink in front of Izuku. I'm sorry, but I already told you, I can't sign up. I am officially deceased. And I never even started middle school. I was 11 when I died. And even if I hadn't committed crimes by technicality, I won't let go of my vigilante work. I can't do that. You don't need middle school to enter UA. The rules say that you only need to pass the written exam. The practical exam, have a legal guardian's permission, and don't have a criminal record. You can enter UA if you want. As Ashi continued, a bit too excited, Keigo saw where everything was going and he gave his special friend a look, trying to confirm his suspicion. Tauya nodded. Rumi, who was sleeping watching everything from afar, petting Pink, dropped her jaw. You forget two things, guys. I don't have a legal guardian anymore, and you can have two if you let us. Aizawa was scared of taking his eyes off the ground. He dropped the bomb. Wa, Izuku, would you like us to adopt you? Hisashi hugged his husband in search of moral support, and 𝐻𝐸𝐬 grabbed tight to him as if he was the only support nearby. There was silence. Please, say something or we both might pass out. You want to adopt me? Why? How? I am dead. Can I even be adopted? What? I mean, oh my god. Yes, we can adopt you because you would be assuming a new identity, Izuku Aizawa Yamada, and laws don't say anything about that, and Nezu can help speed up the process if you agree to meet him. And yes, we want to adopt you. We don't want anything more than adopting you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. My Rumi is getting a family. Cheers. Everyone raised their glasses. And the party continued. Rumi, a bit drunk already, said how they were gonna be like a big family. She would be the drunken and fun aunt, Kei and Tauya the traumatized and sarcastic uncle and big brother, Hisashi and 𝐻𝐸𝐬 the dads, and Izuku the family baby. Am I forgetting someone? Oh yes, and Pink would be the godlike pet. There are a few more family members to come. And who are the vestiges supposed to be, then? Izuku asked himself, not realizing he was using his external voice. Who? Oh, sweetie, you fucked up. Not helping, Nana. But that gave Izuku an idea. If he now was able to fully control the energy to create himself for as long as he could he release that energy to project the vestiges? Or create figures like them? Nana-san, could you step near the piano, please? And she did. Izuku extended his arm to her direction, and with a lot of concentration, Nana was recreated to be seen. He gave her soul enough energy to appear visible like him. Wow, that's all she could say. Izuku couldn't handle it any longer, and Nana became as before. But all of them had their mouths open. Who was that? Keigo broke the silence. My quirk, 𝐴𝐸. It wasn't originally mine, as I told you before, I think. The power had been handed throughout 8 generations before me, and bits of their souls stayed in the quirk after they died. So, because my quirk is an all-inclusive enhancer, it fused with the old wielder's quirks of it and also their souls. So, the vestiges are with me at all times, and apparently I can enhance things around me that are also non-physical. Oh, I have so many theories. Izuku took out of nowhere a notebook of quirk analysis and a pencil and started to work. At this point, I shouldn't be surprised by you anymore. Tomorrow, you could tell me you are God and I'd believe you, said his roommate. The party went normal after that. They started to plan living arrangements, and Tauya suggested the candle. The bar was big, stupidly big if you ask me. It had lots of rooms, a basement and an attic. The walls were tall, and it had a bad-kept garden where Pink could play. It was an amazing idea. It was a very cold place, but Hisashi could install a thermostat, and it was always packed with cats. It was decided. After the party, most of them went to sleep, but Izuku received a notification in his computer. Excuse me, Principal Nezu. You have visitors. Hound Dog spoke from the phone in an intrigue-inducing voice, but 𝐀𝐦 wasn't intrigued. He knew who it was. His brilliant, beautiful, and talented MD wouldn't forget whom he was supposed to meet. Let them in, please. And please tell Lunch Rush to bring us some tea and snacks. The door opens. Oh, he was surprised. He wasn't expecting the number 2 hero and his son right now. Less of all, in company of 𝐲𝐻𝐬 and Yamada. And 𝐍𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐬 was as busy man. He didn't have time to lose. The UA just opened inscriptions for next year's entrance exam. Surely, people from all over the globe were coming to sign their children for an opportunity at the hero course in UA. And his prodigy son, the next number 1 hero who could even surpass All Might himself in his very biased opinion, was surely making it in. What he didn't expect is to see his workmates for the same reason recommend a child for UA's hero course. Of Yamada wasn't completely unexpected. It was well known that the radio star loves kids. He had said numerous times his biggest dream is to have a big family. But his husband, 𝐲𝐻𝐬 was the opposite. He was strict when it came to being a hero. Almost nobody could get on his good side, and 𝐸 certainly couldn't. 𝐲𝐻𝐬 disliked kids, and for him to even accept one as hero potential was an occurrence worth celebrating. So if he's recommending someone, glad to see you all. A bit of green light shone behind the gloomy hero. Like saying hi, so adorable. I supposed you are all here for the same reason. The recommendation exam, correct? Yes, Principal 𝐁𝐦. This is my son, 𝐲𝐻𝐻𝐬 Todoroki. I know he will be a great asset for the community with your guidance. Todoroki was forced to take a step forwards, clearly uncomfortable. Please, 𝐲𝐻𝐻𝐬, your manners. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, Principal 𝐁𝐦, sir. What a young kid. How polite and serious. I feel terribly bad for him. And 𝐁𝐦 did too, but fighting right now wasn't ideal. He needed to maintain image. As an animal, he had greater hearing, so a growl coming from an invisible person was very clear to him. Oh, interesting. I'll give you the forms, Endeavor-san. You can fill them here or in your office and bring them in the following days. 𝐲𝐻𝐻𝐬 and Yamada-san, can you present this little kid to me? 𝐁𝐦 looked like the Todoroki's faces deformed into a confused expression. What? There was another kid there. Sure, this is our son, Izuku Aizawa Yamada. We would like to recommend him for the exam. Of coup, 𝐁𝐦 was interrupted. And also, the provisional license exam of this year. Actually, no. He needs it now, the sooner the better. The room fell silent. 𝐁𝐦 didn't took his eyes off Izuku, Aizawa, and 𝐸 yelled. And the other 2 adults turned their faces with a yes. Todoroki-san, you know the 3 of us are Aizawa. Yamada, then. Still, the real Aizawa. That's homophobic, man. Quit playing already. Why are you trying to get your kid a provisional license? You are a teacher, Aizawa-san. Are you trying to give your son advantage? Are you really playing that card? I don't know what you think is going on, Endeavor-san. The shaky voice of a little kid raised up. But we are not you. I need the license and you do not get to speak to my parents that way. They can't respond to your comments, but I am not a hero. I'm not below you. Izuku was now clear as day. Endeavor could see him and recognized him immediately. He was mad. His fire grew stronger. You are the vigilante. I will not allow someone like you in the same path as my son. You are a criminal. They both knew that wasn't true. He couldn't arrest the kid. And 𝐁𝐦 wouldn't allow it either. And 𝐸 knew the heroes couldn't get to him there. He had more power than any of them. But he still had to play by the rules in this situation. Ghost wasn't a vigilante. He couldn't do anything. He wasn't below 𝐁𝐦. Izuku thrived in loopholes. You must be 𝐲𝐻𝐻𝐬 Todoroki, right? It's nice to finally meet you. Izuku bowed to him and smiled. 𝐲𝐻𝐻𝐬 was confused. Please, adults. I need to interview the kids. You can go now. 𝐁𝐦 kicked out the fathers. Ooh, the tension between them was so thick it couldn't even be cut by a knife. Okay, now, I will ask you some questions to see if you are as promising as I've been told. Let's start with you, Todoroki-kun. How long have you been training to be a hero? Since I first received my quirk, my father trained me with fire and ice. My quirk is half hot, half cold. Fire on my left side and ice on my right side. Remarkable. The practical exam will tell us how much you mastered your quirk so far. Why do you want to be in the hero course? 𝐲𝐻𝐻𝐬 tilted his head. To be a hero. But why do you want to be a hero? 𝐲𝐻𝐻𝐬 fell silent. Because that's what I was created for. He wanted to say but couldn't. Because my father sent me in this path. Because I have to save my mother. Because my brother died. Because. Why does he want to be a hero? Because heroes save people, right? I want to save people. It's a lame reason, but I don't think I need any other. It's not lame. Not at all. And now, Aizawa or Yamada. What do you prefer? He talked to Izuku, whose eyes were shining watching 𝐲𝐻𝐻𝐬. Ghost. He came back. Oh, sorry. Call me Izuku. Please, we already talked by mail before. So, I guess you know why I came here. Of course, he'd have something in mind. Yes, Izuku. I was impressed by your abilities. You did great for someone so young with my riddle. I'm glad we finally get to talk in person. 𝐁𝐦 stood up on his desk, with some papers with a lot of complicated coded information. 𝐲𝐻 was lost. Was he supposed to be there? This is about that kid you've been looking for, right? You needed information about the 𝐘𝐻𝐬 institution. That's where he is. Yes, we saw some footage of him being dragged with some of the villains there. They are all ice-based quirks users. They're based as a 3-story building with a few rooms, so to rescue Shinsu we need people that can be silent and not raise suspicion. That's why Endeavor had to leave the room. He is not discreet. Okay, what kind of info do you need? Can you hack into all the thermostats in the area? I think if we use enough heat we might have a shot. I've been investigating for weeks and they are incredibly dangerous, but we can't alert daylight or distinguishable heroes because Shinsu is another victim of them. So, I wanted to ask your permission to allow one student to come with us, just to even the ground. Who would that be? Todoroki 𝐲𝐻, of course. Now 𝐲𝐻's head was about to explode. Both their heads turned to him. What was he supposed to say? I don't use my father's side, I won't use my fire. That's a story for another day, but right now, we don't need your fire. For that, we already have your brother. He spoke too soon before. Natsuo, not him. Izuku jumped from his seat and opened the window. Hawks came in holding in his hands a white-haired boy, a burnt-to-the-crisp young man. Tusan, say hi to your little brother. 𝐲𝐻 needed someone to explain everything to him. Hi, baby bro. Sorry I couldn't get to you before. Our old man is a pain in my ass, and he thinks I'm somewhat dead. What's going on? 𝐲𝐻 asked, trembling in his chair. We are gonna make Dad real mad. That's all he needed, honestly. I'm in, then. Izuku knew it was normal that the youngest Todoroki would be curious about how his brother, who was pronounced dead years ago, was now there more alive than ever, with a few burn marks all over his body. It wasn't his story to tell, so he let Taoya do it. I now will leave you read his side of the story, don't miss me too much. You are probably expecting something super sad or filled with action. But our encounter was more normal than expected. After I ran away, I didn't know what else to do. I was betrayed by my father and my mother couldn't even look at me in the eyes. So I decided if dead was what everybody wanted me to be, then might as well fuck with everyone alive. I started doing a few crimes here and there, but no one seemed to care. All heroes were too preoccupied to care about a teenager stealing some shit from the supermarket. I don't know why I wanted to be noticed, maybe so people would recognize me and realized how fucked up I am. But that's a lame excuse, and even after a lot of thought, I didn't have a reason to do anything. But I wanted to do more. I set something on fire, and because I wasn't dangerous enough, they would look away. What a waste of heroes. I hated them and wanted to hurt them as much as they hurt me. And one day I was stealing some food from the market, the auto service one, and I got caught. Sir, I'm afraid I have to see your receipt. The store manager stopped me. He was a civilian, but I didn't care. I thought that maybe if I hurt him, heroes would come for me. Oh yes, let me reach for it in my pocket. When I pretended to reach for my receipt in my pocket, I actually found one with everything I bought. I lost my opportunity. Here you go. Oh, sorry sir. Go on with your day, then. I almost cried after that. I was about to hurt someone innocent. I could have killed someone. I felt like shit. I wanted to die. How could I have thought that? Dad, I didn't want to be like him. I didn't want to hurt anyone, not anymore. And then the kid appeared and scolded me. You're lucky I had enough money on me to pay for your stuff. What do you want? Wanna fight? You can't do anything. I'm dead. That's a good coincidence, then. And we bonded over that, honestly. It was stupid, but it felt great. He told me to go sleep in his room that day. He treated my injuries and gave me a place to sleep. He even made me some gadgets so I wouldn't burn myself anymore. I wasn't used to people being nice to me for no reason, so I was suspicious. But day after day, I saw him help everyone. Some of them like me. A blonde girl with a blood quirk who is now studying in a regular high school now and wants to be a chemotherapist. A woman who really liked bows and knives. She is now a luthier. A man who could only talk in rhymes and now is a songwriter. So many people that could have been criminals, but they only needed a place in the world. He didn't know where to put me, so he allowed me to stay with him. When I told him about Dad, he froze his entire gym for a month just to piss him off. When he told me about his elementary school, I burned it to the ground. And like that, we grew on each other. Then, he told me the truth. He already knew who I was, all my crimes and my pains. He had been watching me destroying myself and he couldn't let that happen anymore. He thought I had too much potential, but I was broken and he was scared. I ran away that day. I cried and felt betrayed. But with all sincerity, I felt terrified of him, that he might be like my father but worse. His mind was too powerful for me and I wanted to, God. I wanted to burn everything down. But I couldn't. Zuko felt like a brother to me. When I looked at him, I saw all of you, 𝐲𝐻. I saw you and 𝐓𝐢𝐬. I saw Natsuo. But I was so scared to also see Dad. I knew he fucked me up so bad, but I then realized how much. We saw each other again a week later, and he profusely apologized. He never wanted to harm me, but he never understood my intentions before we met. I explained everything to him. I opened up. So, we created a plan to save everyone like us, every loser, everyone who was different or mistreated, all the people that needed a place in the world. Izuku has this way of convincing you that anything is possible, maybe because he is the impossible. He met other heroes, and I met Hawks. They were similar, but Hawks had more ideas he thought were impossible, but I couldn't convince him they weren't. He wanted heroes to not be a profession, but a hobby. He wanted a world where people were safe and heroes had so much time to kill. Being a hero wouldn't be a profession anymore. I felt in love with the way he said every word. You bastard, you are trying to make me blush. My future husband kisses my cheek. So yeah, 𝐬𝐻𝐬. That's our story. We can't let our past define anything. Here we are all losers and weirdos. And people won't like us just because we are us. But we are going to change the world. And it all starts with this mission. I want to be a part of your team. I want to be a hero. Then I think these licenses are for you too. They are only temporary, but they should do. You'll have access to labs and official gadgets. Nezu gave us a temporary hero license to the three of us. What's the plan, young Izuku? We'll light them up. Let's meet tomorrow at home. We'll give you the details there. Here's the address. Everyone was going to get ready. They were going to rescue Hitoshi Shinsu. In the 𝐻𝐸 institution, all the ice villains were celebrating another victory. Hitoshi put his headphones on to ignore everyone. He hated everything they did. Everything he did. But what other choice did he had? He couldn't go back to his parents, not after what they did to him. He was born to be a villain, that quirk of his, it was obvious what it was made for. The songs he listened or that he played in his guitar would sound better in piano. A kid Shinsu's age was coming to the 𝐻𝐸s. Apparently, he overheard them talking about their plans and was going to tell a pro about them. They couldn't let him walk away. Shinsu felt bad for him, of course, but he didn't care enough to go and console him. When he heard the new guy crying, he felt the need to yell, "Grow up and shut up, I'm trying to sleep." He didn't because he felt bad for him. In a few days maybe he'll feel good enough to shout at him. He was a considerate person, the rest should appreciate that more. Mickey visited the prisoner, trying to ask him a few things. He said he wanted to go home. Fucking rich kid, I bet. Mickey said he was cute, but he should smile more, he wasn't going home. How silly of him. Every part of the building was covered in ice spikes. It was really intimidating actually. The home was constantly freezing. It took Hitoshi months to get used to it. Now, even going outside made him feel like fainting because it was too hot. Victor opened Hitoshi's door. He had a job. Fucking great, my favorite song was playing. He paused rock and roll suicide to go and do what he was commanded. Anything was better than going back to the VRP. At least here they don't make him torture anyone. That was as best as he could ask of life. Wow, since when I'm so optimistic. 1 star for Hitoshi. The prisoner was in front of him. It had been a long time since he saw another kid his age. The guy was too colorful for him, but his sight and face were cold and dark. He looked well maintained, definitely a rich kid. Why do you look like the fucking Poland flag? He asked. Because he was under his spell, muhaha and whatnot. What's your quirk? Half cold, wasn't that convenient? Right side, ice. What do you know about us? The routinary questions that he always had to ask, they were kind of boring. That you were waiting for the cat cafe to drop the new super black cat caramel coffee now, but they don't do deliveries in this area. That was oddly personal. Did he forget to log out the computer and erase his history search? Because then he'd have awkward conversations with some villains about the semi-kinda human anatomy. That's not one of our secrets, no. Ask him what he heard from us in the alley. Ash was impatient and brute, but he respected others' privacy at least. People need to have some redeeming qualities. I mean, she is a stone-cold murderer, but she draws the line at going through others' secrets. What did you hear in the alley? You were planning a bank robbery in the National Bank. You wanted Japan to drown in poverty, so they'll listen to you, and you'll be in control of everything. Mickey jumped with excitement at the sound of her plan. She wanted to put it to work and be crowned Queen of Japan. She had so many plans for when the 𝐻𝐸s ruled. What's your name? Poland flag. Hitoshi wanted to drown in his music again. 𝐬𝐻𝐬 Todoroki. The criminals leaped at the name in surprise. He was the son of the number 2 hero, 𝗫𝐷eavor. This was so much better for them. He could be an important asset, whether he decided to join them or be a hostage. They brought Todoroki back to his room, and Hitoshi had a few more questions for him. But it was probable the rest would be hearing them. He didn't have privacy, damn it. The only time they weren't around was when they went on missions or when they were asleep. Hitoshi loved sleeping, but sleep didn't love him back, and after he was 4 years old, sleep broke up with him. He was lucky if he got more than an hour and a half of sleep. Maybe then he could ask them. 4 a.m. should be safe enough. It was impossible any other was awake. They weren't the smartest criminals around. He heard some noises coming from Todoroki's room, like a small hitting. Stay awake, stay awake, stay awake, damn it. The kid was telling himself. Did he never have a bad sleep night? Fucking rich Poland flag looking kid. If you want to stay awake all night, I can recommend some horror movies that'll fuck you up. 𝐻𝐡𝐬 liked horror movies, especially Korean horror or Chinese. Any East Asian horror movie was good for him. Nah, thanks. My brother's boyfriend gave me this drink to try and stay awake. I have it somewhere. They didn't take it away. In the other side of the wall, Todoroki was blindly looking for a Monster Energy drink, but it was way too dark. He ended up dropping it and spilling it all over the floor. Fuck, shit. What a language, Poland. You know Poland is not the only country with those colors only, right? There's also Japan, Canada, Austria, Denmark, Latvia. You researched this before, didn't you? Yeah, shut up, I'm thinking. Monaco, I think, oh, Bahrain. I don't remember more flags, though. Switzerland, man. He really remembered all those but not Switzerland. Was the kid joking? That was one of the weirdest conversations he has ever had. Izuku told me like 100 countries. I can't remember them all. He called me yesterday telling me he created an app that changes the pattern in my hair to look like flags with my color. Xiaodo laughed. Hitoshi was even more curious of what the fuck was going on now. Is he a friend of yours? Sounds like a weirdo. Who do you think you are, Hitoshi? We are all weird in our family, I guess. He is my friend, I suppose. He might just be the weirdest one of all of us. At first, I thought he was an angel because he is so bright, but he told me that my theory was wrong. Xiaodo told him that he always liked making conspiracy theories, Izuku being an angel being the most recent. Sounds like a good family. I can't believe that I'm sort of jealous of a guy who's a hostage. Shinsu wondered what it would be like to have a family like that. But I don't think I could fit in a family like that. Don't worry, Shinsu-san, I actually think you'll fit perfectly. You are like a mini in Purple Aizawa-san. Wait, why is the room getting hotter? Taoya said you might ask that. He told me to respond ... What was it? He thought for a few seconds. Oh, yeah, maybe because I'm here. I don't really get it. It's official. This place became a freak show. I should start selling tickets. That would make a good profit. The three criminals opened the doors, still in their pajamas and very sleepy. They were sweating and pale. The temperature didn't drastically change. For Hitoshi, at least, it was just a bit hotter. But for them, whose normal temperature was below zero, the change must have been too much. Did any of you play with the thermostat? Victor asked. They seemed to be the least affected of them all. Mickey was in Ash's arms, surely trying to cool herself. Ash wasn't any better. She sticked hundreds of packs of ice to her body but was kissing Mickey's face to ice her skin. Ash's quirk was frozen kiss, but unlike Midnight's, hers worked better with women, but it also worked in inanimate objects, so she could bring the temperature down by kissing the floor, but the range of the kiss wasn't big. Hitoshi didn't know at what point was lesbian-friendly or outright homophobic. If it wasn't because Mickey's quirk was Ice Princess, she wouldn't be able to kiss her girlfriend. Ice Princess let Mickey command Ice to do what she orders, be attack or turn shape. It was voice-activated, like Hitoshi's. I don't know how it works, you know that. Hitoshi didn't lie. He was awful working with that thing. It was in Spanish. He didn't know fucking Spanish. Victor went out of his room and into Todoroki's. They were walking slowly. Their quirk was strong in blizzard. They were as strong as the temperature was cold. Ash kissed Victor's head so they could move better. What about you, Poland? Do you know something about it? The nickname stays. I don't understand technology and I had never had to use a thermostat in my life. Hitoshi took notice that he didn't say no, so he started to grow suspicion. The kid looked smart to him and acted as scared as a person in his situation would be. He selected his words carefully. But that didn't ease Hitoshi, not at all. Moreover, it made him worry. Don't let it be them, he pled. Please, God, don't let it be them. You and I know it wasn't them. I bet you are grinning at this, aren't you? Everyone, grab your things. Ash, tell Mickey to get a hold of herself. She can move fine. Victor was a bit fed up and exhausted. They loved Mickey too. She was their girlfriend after all, but she had a thing for being carried around by Ash. No, they weren't jealous. They didn't want to be carried in the strong and big and smooth arms of their other partner. The thermostat must be broken, but that's okay. We have a meeting with our supplier after all. It's a few hours early, but we need to find a cold place until the thermostat is fixed. I can't be this weak much longer. They brushed their mullet with their right hand. Victor was attractive. They knew that. That move was strategic to make their girlfriends move faster. Yes, honey. We can hide in the walk-in freezer of the butcher shop. It's a whole room full of ice and dead pigs. Vicky played with her scrunchie's pom-poms while rising a hand up. We need to wake up the soldiers if that's the case. I wanted to use them for so long. Hitoshi was too scared to move. He didn't want to go out right now. What if they were there? What if Poland was with them? What if Poland and actual Poland were with them? Yes, he was being dramatic, but if you had seen what he saw, lived what he lived, or done what he did, you too would be dramatic. I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. Todoroki took out of his pocket a mini speaker. I have to give my signal. Sorry if this is overly dramatic. But my family ... well, they have a flair for the dramatic. Genius by SIA. 𝗵𝗃𝗀 Labyrinth and LSD started playing. The principal door opened. A man full of scars and with a tight black suit and long dark green jacket appeared, fire in his hand. He had a symbol on his jacket. It was a broken chain. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I'm batshit crazy, having you on my mind? A man wearing all black, scarf and goggles came out of nowhere. He also had the symbol in his scarf embroidered with green thread. Behind him, with a smug expression, a tall blonde man. His outfit was black as well, but the details were green. He had a speaker in his collar. Do you think I'm helpless? My algebra gone equal you every time Todoroki went to high-five the white-haired guy. Good job, little bro. Tie your hair, please. The teenager had a hair rubber in his arm. He tied his hair, revealing an undercut. Do you think I'm calling? Do you think I'm calling out your name every night? Green lights, green eyes, green hair enter the room, opening the window. It was another kid his age. He was smiling, and he was bright. Shinsu noticed it had wings, big, shiny, angelic green wings. He also had a hoodie with what appeared to be bunny ears, and in his chest the same symbol the rest was wearing. Look, Shu-kun, I figured out how to make myself older. Izuku, you grew wings. He looked like an angel. Girl, I have fallen for you. Hello, Shinsu-san. We are here to break you out. What you say? Izuku was ecstatic. They've been looking for this day since they started planning everything. He also finally achieved his goal of changing his face to stop looking like a 10-year-old. But nothing could compare to the feeling of seeing everyone there, rescuing Hitoshi, fighting with the 𝗀𝗀𝗧𝗏. His and 𝐬𝗏𝗏's job was to guide Hitoshi out of there, from the roof, where Hawks was waiting for them with the carrier. If he and Izuku had wings, they would be able to lift the carrier up with everyone there. That's why he practiced growing wings. Also, you can't deny having wings isn't awesome. His family was winning. Without too much ice, none of the criminals had much of a chance. They were already on the second floor. This was easy. This was way too easy. Stomping was heard in the distance. They were getting faster and louder. They were getting closer. The three teenagers turned their heads around, slowly. Giant ice soldiers, carrying ice swords, were running towards them. Damn, Ice Princess. They were fast, faster than the kids. 4 soldiers jumped on them. Fajin smash, shooting style. Izuku moved his body, kicking the air in their direction, sending to fly in pieces the soldiers above them. Hitoshi wowed, impressed by the green boy, who looked like a bunny with wings. Was he supposed to be calmed by his appearance or scared by his strength? One didn't match the other. The ice almost hit them when it started falling. Use Black Whip, kid. Banjo shouted in Izuku's ear. He did, taking Hitoshi out of the ice way. Are you okay, Shinsu-san? Yeah, thanks. Okay. He was a little scared. The soldiers surrounded them, some with swords and some creating with ice rocks in their hands. The space was too small for Izuku to use his one-for-all strength without hurting 𝐬𝗏𝗏 or Hitoshi. But he wasn't strong enough on his own. Maybe he could use the energy stored in his body to melt some of them, but it would take too much time. The ceiling was too low, so he could fly, and using float would be a waste of energy. He needed fire. Shu-kun, he said in a low voice. 𝐬𝗏𝗏 seemed to understand what he needed without any other words. He denied with his head, while dodging some attacks. Please, Shu-kun, we need you to use your fire. I can't. I am not strong enough yet. I can't use his side. We can die, Shu. Your fire is not his fire. It's yours. It's your power, 𝐬𝗏𝗏. It's no one else's but yours. Izuku lit the match. Boom. Uncontrollable fire in the direction of the soldiers. But after they melted, the fire disappeared. They could continue. When they got to the roof, Hawks helped them get into the carrier. The door burst out of its place. The rest of the team fell onto the floor. Hawks and the kids rushed to help, even Hitoshi, although he didn't know what to do. Yo, Poland, is this a normal occurrence for you? Not to me. This is my first mission. But the rest do this for a living. Heroes and vigilantes. Why Poland? There are more countries with those colors, exclaimed Izuku. Singapore, Turkey, Tunisia, Bahrain. I already told him Bahrain, 𝐬𝗏𝗏 said proudly, while using his ice to explode one soldier. You remember Bahrain? You always forgot that one. Izuku grabbed with Black Whip one of the soldiers and sent it flying. Soldiers kept appearing and reappearing. Mike handcuffed the 3 criminals but couldn't get Mickey to shut up. She was shouting from the carrier. They needed to knock her out. So, when Hawks hit her, all the soldiers crumbled down. But still, Hitoshi yelled, "No." What? Everyone exclaimed. The building was shaking and falling. All of them hurried to the carrier. The building is constructed over ice. Mickey controlled it. They did it as an auto-destructor button. Hitoshi explained, running. He fell from the building. He was about to hit the floor, but a scarf grabbed him. Aizawa saved him and brought him close again in the air. Hitoshi wanted to faint. Izuku asked him if he was okay, but he didn't get a response. Hitoshi woke up in a futon alone. He didn't recognize the place. For a minute, he thought he was back in the VRP. But he had a window without bars on it. He could see the night sky. He had a rug. It was purple and had a turtle on it. He had a desk with a computer, like the one in the 𝐀𝐦 institution, but Spotify was opened on it. He didn't have Spotify. He was only allowed to use an old MP3. The door opened. An adult who looked tired entered the bedroom. He was the one who saved him from falling. "I see you're awake. Brought you coffee. I'm sure you'll like it." Hitoshi saw what was on the tray. "We were told that you wanted this. Is that super black cat caramel coffee now?" "Yeah. I promise it's good. I ordered one the second it came out." The tray had the kin with the coffee, a toast with chocolate and honey, and a candle. The candle, it's some sort of gift. I can look a bit intimidating. I'm a hero after all, so I thought that I would look more approachable this way. It was stupid, sorry. I'm 𝐬𝐻 𝐍𝐴, by the way. Hitoshi wanted to smile. "Where am I? You guys aren't with the VRP? Hell no. Mutual hate with those guys? No." Aizawa chuckled. "We are the Broken Chains. It's a name in progress, but it was Mirko's best idea yet. None of us are good at naming." A woman called for him in between giggles. He left Hitoshi alone after that. He drank the coffee, but he couldn't eat. He wasn't hungry. The window was opened and had a balcony. He used it to get to the roof. He needed it. When Hitoshi was in the VRP, he never could see the sky. He wasn't allowed. In the institution he could, but the bars made him feel like they were farther than they already were. He felt so small and so insignificant watching them, but he loved it. Knowing that there were stars in the sky as a constant in his life was enough for him. When you are going crazy, a constant, it's the only thing you can hold to not lose yourself. Now he didn't know where he was, so he needed to see the stars. "I see you also like the night sky," a voice behind him said. He recognized it immediately. The angel. "Yeah, I do. Don't know any constellations, though." Hitoshi shrugged. "I can help you." The angel, whose name he has forgotten, sat down with him. "From here I can see scrotum," he joked. "Scrotum, the shield, and sextons there. If I wanted to see people having sex and tanning, I would use that computer in the room." "Gross, and it's your room." He had a room. "My room has a rug with a turtle. Was that your idea?" "I couldn't find a purple rug with a cat, and we didn't have enough time. When we knew you liked cats, we tried to find anything with a cat on it." "Wow, thanks. I never had a room before." The angel started weeping. "I'm so sorry, Shinsu-san. That's so sad." He cried a lot. It was funny, but he noticed how the tears disappeared after leaving his cheeks. Hitoshi wanted to distract him. He wasn't great at consoling, as previously stated. "Well, the music was your idea too." "No, that's Taoya's doing. We don't share music taste. I like the song, but man, I actually wanted to play Welcome to the Losers Club because I feel it's very fitting, but they said it wasn't badass enough." "What's that song?" He didn't expect the angel to sing it. It was a cute song. Even if it wasn't of Hitoshi's taste, he was speechless. "A quirk that you are made fun of for." Yeah, it was fitting, maybe too on the nose. The angel was really into the song and started to make faces and voices, ended with some jazz hands. Hitoshi started laughing. "Have you ever been made fun of because of your quirk? You are like super overpowered. Before I died, I grew up as quirkless, and after I died, I was stuck being nothing for a lot of time, until I started to gain control of my quirk. A quirk too powerful for flesh and bone, so yeah. I grew up being too weak to even be considered a human. I grew up being too powerful to be anything other than a threat and a villain." The angel locked eyes with him and smiled. "There's another constellation I can see, the Cancer constellation. The sign for it looks like the yin and yang, two opposites, but inside them, they both have a bit of the other. It's my favorite constellation. I'm a Cancer, July 1st. Me too, July 15th. Hitoshi wondered if the stars were shining more than usual on purpose. "Mike, it's 6 o'clock right here in Musutafu, Japan. The weather right now is cloudy with a chance of thunder. Mike yelled at the microphone. He was doing his show, Put Your Hands Up radio. It was Tuesday, so he didn't have to blast music all day. That's only on Fridays. Tuesdays were even more relaxed. He and some of his friends have a chat and tell stories of their week, or month, or whatever they were in the mood for. Mike had a lot to tell. Tim and 𝐬𝐻 decided it was time to make public their family. They thought it would be more dangerous, but if no one knew they had kids, giving their reputation, they wouldn't be informed if anything happened to them. Ms. Joke, what a shocking scream, Mike. Amplifier, hey, everyone. Please remember to never have your headphones on in this show. Mike, I remember when I received a complaint from a listener saying that he had headphones while listening to my show. He couldn't hear well for a whole week. You could hear some giggles. The three of them took out their cards, themes they wanted to talk about, and some questions from the listeners. Ms. Joke, so, let's put everyone up to speed, because this episode might have some information that it's not yet revealed to the public. Amplifier, OMG, that's true. We need to tell the good news. The world needs good news. Mike, I assume you two are talking about my family? Am I right? Okay, you're nodding. Do you know that people can't see you nodding? Amplifier, come on, Mike. Don't delay the news. Tell the world about your new family. Mike, okay. So, as it's common knowledge since the last couple of years, I'm married to my high school sweetheart and childhood friend, whom here is referred to as Honey Boo Boo, and we were planning on adopting. Ms. Joke, yeah, I remember Honey Boo Boo saying she cleared her throat comedically and started speaking in a lower voice. Oh yeah, baby, I wanna be a papa now, so you can call me daddy. Kissing noises. Mike, that never happened. Amplifier, I just pictured him doing that in bed with Mike. Don't picture my husband in bed. Ms. Joke, well, you never answered us when we asked you if he was ripped. We have to use our imagination. Mike, no, you don't. Oh my god, I just pictured him asking me to call him daddy. Ms. Joke, don't get a boner, please. Mike, I'm not getting a, never mind, let's go back to the original point. Amplifier, yeah, Honey Boo Boo is hot and such a daddy. Some distant shouting was heard until it was interrupted by elevator music for a minute. Mike, so sorry about that, let's continue. Please kids, don't repeat anything you are hearing here. Mike knew his kids and husband always listened to his radio show, but he hoped that Shouta turned down the volume on that part so it wasn't uncomfortable at home. Amplifier, so you were telling us about you adopting. Mike, yeah, we accidentally adopted 4 kids, a drunk aunt, a rich and irresponsible uncle, and for some reason, my kids think that a rat is their grandparent, and Nedzu is totally chill with that, and we have a little pink pet. Ms. Joke, that's quite a family you got there. Tell us about them. Amplifier, wait, are we just gonna ignore he said accidentally? Mike, well, our oldest is actually 21, but acts like a horny teenager. He isn't legally ours, but we all live together. And even if it's the greatest thing that ever happened in my life, because him and his boyfriend are the only other adult couple in the house. My eyes need a holy water bath. Amplifier, oh, please tell us more. Mike, it started when the other children went to sleep. I was with my husband, my oldest, 2, and his boyfriend and the drunken aunt. We were joking around and telling anecdotes, and Da says, hey, we should drink. We don't usually have the chance with so many kids in the house. So we are like, sure, 1 beer won't do us harm. We ended up drinking like 5 beers, 2 vodkas, and half a bottle of tequila. We were wasted, so that seemed the right time to go and buy our pet some food. But after we bought it, our oldest thought it was a good idea to, instead of feeding our pet, replace all of his biological sperm shooter drinks with it. We have a large pet, okay. Pink eats like 10 kilos of meat per day, but they don't like it too solid, so we buy a specific brand and product. Liquefied meat. No, this is not a sponsor, but they should sponsor us because I buy a lot of their products. I'm derailing. Okay, don't shoot daggers with your eyes, producer San. So, we get to the sperm shooter's house an hour or so before 2's brother went to sleep. Apparently, he is studying medicine, and when we tell him we wanted to prank his father, he was so in. He also flirted with Da, which fair. I think it's like a rule of life to be attracted to her. Amplifier, absolutely. She is hot. Ms. Joke, 100%. If she was villain, I would let her crush me. A bit of uncomfortable silence. Amplifier, aren't you married to नी ####? San? Ms. Joke, she just texted. She agrees with me. Mike, going back to my story. We get access to Mr. Sperm Shooter's private bathroom. He has a private water fountain, his own toothpaste, and his own everything, so picture 5 full-grown adults replacing the water, the toothpaste, the shaving cream, the shampoo and conditioner, the liquid soup with meat and roaches. When we finished, it was like 4 a.m. So we were like, we are hungry, let's see what they got. Yes, I know me, and my friends are heroes, and that this wasn't very heroic of our part, but who's gonna complain? It's not like Sperm Shooter can admit who he is. Yes, I'm sadist like that. So, it's 6 in the morning, and we go to hide in the bushes, and my other adoptive son, who's also 2's actual little brother, sees us. If anyone is wondering, why are they our sons if they already have a family, you may now shut up. 𝐀𝐦 spends more time with my family than his own. And we love him as much as we love the rest. He calls me Pops and my husband is Dad. And in our family dynamic, he is the middle child who's responsible and calm, but deep down puts more effort in everything than anyone you know. And because he is my son, he knows we are planning something. Little did we know, he had his own plan in mind to mess with that man. A little bit later, SS screamed so loud I thought it was too much. He came out of his bathroom covered in liquefied meat and with only a towel. He searches and searches everywhere for the marauders of this whole freak show. And just then 𝐀𝐦 turns on the TV and I see 𝐀𝐦 and his boyfriend eating each other up. I wanted to die. My sweet baby and that chicken nugget. And, because that wasn't enough, SS towel drops to the floor and I see the whole 10 centimeters of his junk. Ms. Joke, in the distance and laughing. I always thought his dick would be bigger, not gonna lie. Amplifier, I already knew, seen it once. Mike, what? Ms. Joke, how? Why didn't you tell me? Amplifier, we were on a stakeout mission. It was a long mission, honestly. We were assigned a room with 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. The usual. We didn't establish rules about if we could bring partners or friends. But I thought we didn't need them. We were surveilling for a drug delivery. Mike, I see where this is going. Amplifier, one day, my older sister visits me. And there I find them, in front of my salad. 𝐬𝐻, am I the only one here who hasn't seen his dick? Mike, why would you want to? 𝐬𝐻, because it's fucking 4 inches long. Mike, my dick is bigger than that. Mike, 10 centimeters is actually not that rare, it's very standard. 𝐴mplifier, why did you even measure it, though? Mike, I was smaller than I thought. 𝐬𝐻, mood. Mike, well, let's stop talking about dicks. 𝐴mplifier, you started it. Mike, anyways, my other children actually are all the same age, and they will be attending school together if they pass the exam. But they are very different personality-wise. 𝐲𝐭 is serious and a bit oblivious, and he isn't the best at expressing his feelings. But he likes jokes and pranks, he is really direct. 𝐜𝐡𝐚, also bad at feelings. But he is really sarcastic and has a very dark humor. He will never tell you straight to your face something. He will make you figure it out on your own because it's amusing for him. But he doesn't have a bad heart and will never do something to actually hurt you. And then we have 𝐍𝐭. He looks like an angel. He is sweet and nervous. He likes music and puzzles. A lovely child. But he is too smart for his own good. He is always scheming and doing stuff we don't understand. If something happens, we know he is the mastermind behind it. If any of the kids were to go villain, we are sure the city would be doomed. 𝐬𝐻, I know the kids. This is so true, it's scary. I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the top 10 when they are heroes. 𝐴mplifier, I want to meet them. I've been told that your kids are the cutest. Mike, I actually have a story about them. You see, they hang out a lot. They spend 24/7 together, training or playing, feeding the cats and Pink. They are attached to the hip. One day, 𝐲𝐿 says to them, you two are so different, it would be funny if you were twins. From that day, we referred to 𝐜𝐡𝐚 and 𝐍𝐭 as the twins because they are polar opposites. And one day, 𝐍𝐭 looks different, but we couldn't point out what about him was it. Until 𝐜𝐡𝐚 does. Did you make your hair puffier and longer? Yes. 𝐍𝐭 confirmed, very nervous. He was shaking. Why? 𝐜𝐡𝐚 asked him. To look more like you, because we are twins. 𝐜𝐡𝐚 didn't speak for the rest of the day. He actually disappeared for a bit. 𝐍𝐭 went to my husband and I for advice, and we started noticing that he actually changed a lot from the first time we met. He had been changing his appearance to look more like all of us. He darkened his green to a forest green because my husband's and 𝐂's hair is black. He was using glasses like mine. Although he doesn't need glasses. He had uncle's wings. He had aunt's ears. He changed the color of one of his eyes for 𝐲𝐿. He even had to change his tongue to look like 𝐁𝐻's, small and sharp. My heart melted right there and there. But I couldn't make him stop crying. Even Pink was trying to cheer him up. He went to his original state after that. The same green hair and eyes, no glasses, and he looked younger too. We were a bit hurt, but we thought it was fair. Until midnight came and 𝐲𝐿 says, I think we messed up. He had his hands painted green and his face was dirty. 𝐜𝐡𝐚, come on out. They might be able to help us. No, I'm not going out like this. I thought you said you were good at hairstyling. We were more curious then. I'm good at cutting hair. I thought I may be good at dyeing it, too. It didn't look hard on YouTube. 𝐜𝐡𝐚 came out rushing and grabbed 𝐲𝐿 from his collar. They're the same height, so it didn't look very intimidating. 𝐲𝐿 is actually stronger than him, so it was funny. And then, we saw him. His hair was a mix between purples and greens. They didn't even mix well, so he had spots of different colors everywhere and none of them looked good. His face was also very dirty. And his ears were covered in dye. 𝐬𝐻, did you take pics? Mike, yes. I'll share them after the show. 𝐴mplifier, what happened next? Mike, he told us he wanted to look more like 𝐍𝐭 too. And he wanted it to be a surprise. But he can't change his appearance like 𝐍𝐭 can, so this was the best next thing, and it was all shades of wrong. But, of course, 𝐍𝐭 didn't care how 𝐜𝐡𝐚 looked. He changed his appearance after that, until 𝐜𝐡𝐚 color faded. 𝐍𝐭 imitated that hair so they both were ridiculous. 𝐬𝐻, 𝐲𝐿 didn't change his hair. Mike, no, he bought contact lenses. One green and one purple. They hurt his eyes, so he doesn't wear them anymore, and his hair is too precious to him. So, to look more like his siblings, he painted his nails green and purple. 𝐴mplifier, your kids aren't very contraceptive. Mike, is that a bad thing? 𝐴mplifier, yes. I don't want kids, but yours are too cute. Mike, they are, but they can be brutal, too. 𝐬𝐻, why? They fight a lot. Mike, no. If they want to resolve a conflict, they usually spar in the yard until one of them gives up. Last time they spent 2 days fighting for who owned the last pudding. It wasn't of any of them, it was mine, but they were so focused I wasn't going to stop them. I'm scared the shit out of my kids. No, I say they can be brutal because they can be smartasses. 𝐴mplifier, aren't they hearing this right now? Mike, yes, they are, but they think it's a compliment. Well, one day we were spending some family bonding time. We were cooking. 𝐍𝐭 was teaching Pink how to fetch trees and people in case someone needed help. 𝐜𝐡𝐚 was trying to teach a cat how to play piano, and 𝐲𝐿 and 𝗀 were sparring. Everything normal, until 𝐂𝐿 and his boyfriend came in, shouting they had a surprise. They had 2 books, and they were laughing. They were family albums. 1 𝐂𝐦 and 1 𝐍𝐭. There weren't a lot of pictures. Actually, after 𝐍𝐭's 6th birthday, there weren't any. He was a cute baby. There were pictures of when he first got his quirk, some of him training, a few of him with his siblings. That wasn't a good family album. Then we saw 2's. It was similar. He had more photos. A lot of him training, but he had more pictures with his siblings and his mother. He had pictures with his grandpa and some of his friends from when he was little. But we all noticed something. How come you were born with red hair and now you have white hair? That's something that happened to all my siblings except me, explained 𝐬𝐿. Some parts grow from being white to red and vice versa. I guess I'm the exception because of my quirk being a complete mix of their quirk marriage. Yes, I was surprised to know that people still do that. But I could still go redder or whiter. I always thought 𝐬𝐿 was just old. 𝐿 said, deadpanned. I'm 21. And you still grew white hairs. 𝐍𝐿 followed. Maybe it's in your genes to age fast. I look my age. Stop. And they are not white hairs. It's just white hair. 𝐬𝐿 was fuming, literally. He was blushing so hard. How come you are not going after Rumi? She has white hair, too. We like Auntie more, big bro, said 𝐬𝐿, hugging his aunt. She blushed too, but was laughing so hard we didn't know if it was the statement, or she just ran out of air. Dishonor and treason. I'm your brother, guys. Dads, say something. 𝐴mplifier, oh my, poor 𝐬𝐿. This joke, your kids are brutal. They take after Honey Boo Boo, in my opinion. Mike, they do, but I think some of their sweetness stuck with my hubby, too. Because that night, when we went to sleep, this joke, spooning. Mike, what? Why do you care? 𝐴mplifier, after sex or before sex? Mike, this isn't relevant. 𝐴mplifier, so, spooning after sex, you were the little spoon. There was a minute-long silence. You are not saying no. Mike, anyways, we were talking and he asked me, should we make a family album for them? You saw those pictures. They almost didn't have time off. 𝐬𝐿 didn't have any at all. And I'm sure 𝐬𝐿 and 𝐍𝐿 don't have family albums, so maybe they'll like it. 𝐴mplifier, I need to see those pictures. Oh my god. Mike, it's actually a surprise for them. This joke, wait, but aren't they hearing it now? Mike, yes, they are. Studio, please connect Honey Boo Boo to us, please. The sound of a phone call came to the room, and after a second of static, Honey Boo Boo was talking. Honey B, I still don't approve of that nickname. Say hi, everyone. Kid 1, hey pops. Kid 2, sup, old man. Kid 3, hey, Yamadad. Hello Ms. Joke and Ms. Amplifier. Person 1, 𝐀𝐦 called me, said I need to be a guest on this radio show. What are you two planning? I don't trust him. 𝐀𝐦, we are dating, dumbass. 2, you love my ass. Sorry, dad. Drunk aunt, you Mike, and girls. Heard what you said about me. If you are free maybe want to train together soon. Amplifier, I can whenever you can. Joke can't though, she's a married potato. Ms. Joke, wifey texted she wants to join, too. Drunk aunt, it's been so long since we last sparred together. Kid 2, okay, stop being fucking horny, there are kids present. Kid 3, 𝗏𝐭𝐲, don't be so blunt, please. 𝐬𝐻, sorry, 𝐬𝐿. But I want to know what they are scheming. They are usually really bad at pranks. 𝐬𝐿, I'm still sorry for the last one. You shouldn't have seen my father's scrotum. 𝐬𝐻, wasn't that a constellation? 𝐬𝐿, that's scutum, 𝐬𝐻. You know that. You just like the word scrotum. The room filled up with laughter. Mike, 𝐀𝐦, kids, we gathered you all here to show you something. Han, please show them. The gift wrapper could be heard, but it was covered by loud gasps and whats. 𝐬𝐿, you gave us a gift. 𝐬𝐻, it's a photo album. I never had one. 𝐬𝐿, mine. Mine disappeared after mom's passing. 𝐀𝐦, wait, I'm in there too. Drunk aunt, oh my god, that's me, teaching the kids how to play Uno. 𝐬𝐿, 𝗏𝐭𝐲, 𝐬𝐿, look, that's us baking. 𝐬𝐿, and those are dad and pops with food poisoning after they ate it. 𝐬𝐿, I'm so glad I can't get food poisoning anymore. A growl announced someone else in the room. Yes, Pink. That's you and me against them in dodgeball. We killed it, baby. Honeybee, why did we include Pink again, babe? They only like 𝐬𝐿. Mike, they are our pet, you monster. 𝐬𝐻, they only hate you because of those comments. Don't hear him, Pinky. 𝐬𝐿, oh, that's me building a time machine with Nedzu-san. Honeybee, what? 𝐬𝐿, don't worry, it didn't work. We still haven't figured out how to not affect the normal warping of space. 𝐬𝐿, I'm scared of being your classmate. I'd feel intimidated. 𝐀𝐦, you are not intimidated now. Wait, 2, are you crying? Little sobs were tried to be stopped. 2, am not. 𝐬𝐿, bro, you are crying blood on my shoulder. Stop it before you reach my hair. I'm trying a new conditioner. 2, oh, you little kids started running away, screaming get away from me and hit him with the chair. Smartass. They were chasing each other and laughing. 𝐬𝐿, dads, I know we don't say this enough, but, Mike, what, sweetie? Honeybee, what is it, 𝐬𝐿? 𝐬𝐿, thank you for rescuing us, we love you. Drunken aunt, in the distance, hey, 𝐬𝐿, come here and help us catch 𝐬𝐿. 𝐬𝐿, coming. 𝐬𝐿 ran away giggling. Amplifier, you are so gonna cry after the episode ends, Mike. Mike, who says I'm not crying now? Mike was sobbing. I'm so happy we have our family again. Honey, after everything, we have a home again. Honeybee, we do. I never knew having a big family was like this. Mike, thank you, honey. Honeybee, I didn't do it alone. This is our family. Mike, K. In the distance, Zuku, is that a gun? Zuku, in the distance, don't worry, it's not loaded. 𝐬𝐍𝐴 attackers. That episode of Put Your Hands Up Radio ended up being the most reproduced in the history of the show, and sparked questions, theories, and hype. It also sparked hope. Izuku was getting ready for the entrance exam. He wanted to excel in all areas possible: memory, problem-solving, logic, combat, rescue, situational awareness, etc. He wanted to be the best he could be, because a hero never turns their back to the people and always does everything they can to save everyone with minimal damage. Yo Zuku, you have a visit. Shinomori warns him, but Izuku already knew. Before his twin entered the room, he said, Hey Toshi, what do you need? Izuku did that every time someone would enter the room silently. He did it for 2 reasons. It was the polite thing to do, and it scared the shit out of everyone. I hate it when you do that, knew that. Figured as much. What did you need? Izuku closed his notebook and hid it under lock and key. He knew his family wouldn't peek in his room and read his private stuff. Well, they would just for fun and to embarrass him, but some things were meant to be hidden. His notebooks and deep analysis were an example, his diary was another. His letters to Katsuki were the principal one. Not that I'm not glad you are here, but I assumed that if you came into my room is because you needed something. I'm not calling you interested. How can you have so much confidence one moment and then be a nervous mess the next one? A gift. He shrugged. Hitoshi sighed. Why aren't you using the bunny ears and wings? They look so cool on you. Hitoshi loved the angelic version of his brother. It was a calming and nostalgic view, but he admits he also likes when he looks more average, makes him feel closer to him. They use too much energy to maintain all the time, so I'll use them as part of my hero suit, and sometimes for fun. I like having wings. I like flying as fast as I can and as high as I can. Izuku realized that because he didn't need oxygen he could fly to the sun. He also couldn't feel hot or cold, so could he touch the sun? It sounded so cool. Okay, calm down, Icarus. Don't go too far or the old men will kill you. And don't go to space without me. I want to see the space from up close too, you know. Hitoshi sat down in Izuku's bed. The wall next to the bed was painted with board paint, so it could be written with chalk and erased after. Izuku sometimes couldn't sleep, so having a space near to place all his midnight thoughts was relaxing. He thanked Nezu for that idea. Anyways, I came here for another reason. Sure, what's up? Where is your grave, Zuku? Well, he wasn't expecting that. What? Your grave? You are dead, right? And you had a family before everything, so you must have been buried somewhere. Why do you want to see my grave? Hitoshi wasn't answering. Toshi, why? It's just a stone with my name on it. Because you never tell us anything about your past. We don't know anything about you. I don't even know what your past name was. Tezuka knows what it was. You told him once, almost a year ago. He forgot already. You basically know everything about everyone. I kinda want to be closer to you. Izuku was unsure how to respond. He was happy his brother wanted to know more about him, that he worried and loved him enough to want to meet who he was. But the thing was exactly that. Izuku was no one before. Izuku was a troublemaker even if he was the victim. He was weak and breakable and helpless. Why would anyone want to meet Izuku Midoriya? Izuku Aizawa Yamada, Ghost, was way cooler. Midoriya was dead, and he would stay that way. You know who I am, you know a lot about me. He knew him, that was true. He wasn't the quirkless Deku anymore, he was Ghost. And Toshi knew him. You know I grew up quirkless. You know I love music and I'm always learning new instruments. You also know that I can't watch movies without getting distracted and that I like studying quirks. All of that was true. No lie was told. He just didn't give the full facts, but that wasn't lying. No. It was strategy. The strategy to not be hated by your family. I guess, sorry I bothered. I worry, okay. You see, to always be one step ahead of everything. I'm scared you will someday be too far away for us to reach you. Izuku wanted to hug him, but it would be mortal for Hitoshi to touch him. Izuku missed being hugged. I'm right here, Toshi. I'm not going anywhere without my family. Yeah, you're right. I'm here, anyways. Glad we talked. Thanks. Hitoshi exited the room. Izuku saw him leave until he was out of his range of sight, and then he went to grab his things. God, Toshi, why were you there? He already found your grave, didn't he? Shinomori asked him. Yeah. Hitoshi wouldn't have revealed his plans of finding Izuku's grave if he hadn't already found it. He knew Izuku didn't like talking about his past, so asking him would have been pointless. Though, Hito had another objective in mind. He wanted truth out of his brother's mouth. He wanted to give Izuku the opportunity to be sincere and rely on him. Sadly, his brother was stubborn and wouldn't talk about anything from his past. Izuku followed Toshi so he wouldn't do anything to invade his privacy more than he already did, like ask around if they knew a freckled, quirkless, small boy whose last name seemed like a bad joke because he was all green. from head to toe. He went straight to the obvious place, his tombstone. He goes incognito, invisible. When he got too far from the center, he was afraid someone might recognize him. He wasn't particularly liked in his old neighborhood, and he wasn't exactly unknown either. When he was near the beach, he went slower, like a weird force was bringing him down. But they were only memories. Remember that, Izuku, they are just memories. You are not Midoriya anymore. Hitoshi was looking at his grave. Izuku understood that seeing that was a shock to anybody, even if he was around, even if people could still talk to him and could still see him. There was no denying Izuku had died. And yes, it did bother him reading his name in a grave and gave him goosebumps, but he couldn't comprehend why Toshi was making that expression, that sad and confused expression. What did he expect, honestly? Thousands of roses and letters saying how much people missed him and how the place is darker with him gone. Did he expect to find a secret necklace with Izuku and his family inside it? Maybe he thought he could read his epitaph and find out why Izuku was who he was. But no, Izuku's grave had nothing special because Midoriya was nothing special. He was less than special, actually. He was better gone. He didn't need memories of his old past. And no one could write an epitaph if no one knew where his tombstone was or was interested in reading who he was. The grave is lonely. They didn't even put you on the graveyard. It was too much money. You don't have an epitaph or flowers. Leaving flowers here is pointless. The wind comes too strong and flies them away. Zuko, it just says your name. Not when you were born, when you died. It doesn't say how you died, or who was your family. Izuku, the grave isn't an actual grave. It isn't well carved, and Izuku, it's written with different kanji. It says Deku. Izuku sat down next to Hitoshi, still invisible. He wanted to explain everything, but he couldn't. He knew he was a crybaby. But he cried too much over this already. He cried every single fucking day of his existence about it. All his living days wasted on tears over something out of his control. All those punches, all those words. You want to be a hero so bad. I've got a time-saving idea for you. If you think you'll have a quirk in your next life, go take a swan dive off the roof. He couldn't tell Toshi. What would he think of him? Izuku was strong enough now. He could hold the power of those words by his own. Steps were heard in the distance, but the two boys were too consumed in their own thoughts to notice where this person was headed. Too preoccupied to notice he was heading towards them, with slow, but firm, and loud steps. Who the fuck are ya? Whatcha doing here, huh? The blonde abrasively brushed aside the thoughts in the brothers' heads. Katsuki was angry, but that wasn't news. You messing with him? Did the idiots of eyeballs and fried chicken send you? Calm your ass, bitch. That's my place to ask. Toshi didn't have a lot of patience either. He wasn't going to take anyone's bullshit anymore. Less the bullshit of a kid who was a forehead shorter than him. And don't go all explosive Pomeranian with me. I can take you down before you can bark again. Wanna fucking go? Huh, you barely have any muscle. It was true. Katsuki had bigger arms and legs. He practiced with his quirk regularly and had been training for ages. But Hitoshi was instructed by pro heroes, by talented pro heroes, and he knew how to move as well as how to read a target's movements. What are you doing here? This place isn't somewhere to mess around with some kids. And what do you know? Who the fuck are you? You didn't know Deku. That must have done it. Hitoshi was enraged. I guess the only way to get through a bully's head is by smashing my fists into it? Huh. Toshi, stop. Hitoshi was ready to act. He stood up. Don't, Toshi, don't make me do this. Please, no. What did you call me, brat? Bully. Izuku wanted them to stop. They were about to punch each other. He didn't have much choice. Toshi, stop. Izuku stepped on the floor with one for all, creating a wave that swiped the boys of their feet and fell on their butts. Why, Toshi? Izuku was no longer invisible. Katsuki's heart couldn't have sunken deeper. What? Why are you? Hi, Kakin. They just looked at each other, because between them words were the only thing that failed them from the start. Zuko, what's going on? Toshi stood up, going immediately to check on his brother. Oh yeah, Toshi. This is Katsuki Bakugo. Wow, that sounds so weird coming out of my mouth. And Kakin, this is Toshi, he is my brother. But Katsuki wasn't listening to him, no. He was looking at him, so different from the Izuku he knew. His eyes different color. His hair was messier if that was even possible. He had a scar and he was older. But his eyes were sparkling, and his voice was sweet and shaky. Izuku, is that you? Yes, I'm kind of a ghost. You are dead. You are supposed to be dead. You weren't here for 3 years and now, I'm gonna throw up. Why? Izuku didn't want to admit it, but he was getting angry. Suppress it, Zuko. Don't let it show. Katsuki wasn't able to move or speak. He was in shock. After looking at each other for a long time, Toshi and Izuku left. He hoped Katsuki went home soon after. When the brothers were home, Izuku put on his nothing-to-see-here face, but he didn't say a word. He went calmly to his room, as if they were back from walking pink. Toshi followed him, calling his name, but Izuku wasn't listening. His mind was filled. Kakin. His dads were worried too. We should put our kids in therapy, love. Shoo, they are in therapy. We should put our kids in more therapy, love. When they noticed it was serious, they followed them too. The two brothers went inside 𝐬𝐻𝐻𝐻's room. 𝐬𝐻𝐻𝐻 went straight to his instruments and started playing. There must be a song that tunes out his name, a sound that covers the crushing of his heart. A noise, just a noise. He needed to clear out his mind. Zuko, don't ignore me. 𝐬𝐻𝐻𝐻 wasn't ignoring him, but the sounds coming out of Shinsu's mouth weren't the ones he was looking for. Suppress it, Midoriya. Don't let it show. Zuko, I'm sorry, seriously. I wasn't thinking straight. I shouldn't have pried into your life. He didn't. It wasn't his life anymore. It wasn't anyone's. 𝐬𝐻𝐻𝐻 Midoriya was dead, suppressed in the ground, buried. It's fine, Toshi. I'm not mad. I just need some time, please. 𝐀𝐦. You are not. Zuko, please, talk to me. Explain to me who Katsuki was. Was he your bully? Or your friend? Your neighbor? Yes, and yes. 𝐀𝐦 was. I don't think there is a word to describe it. Geez, Zuko, talk to me. I just don't have the words. But I'm fine. You are not. 𝐬𝐻𝐻𝐻, I fucked up. I betrayed you. Yell at me, get angry, punch me with all you got. Please, 𝐬𝐻𝐻𝐻, just don't close off, please. 𝐬𝐻𝐻𝐻 needed some time to get his head right, but he had only one thought in his mind. 𝐀𝐦. Suppress it, Deku. Don't let it show. Katsuki went home after fixing the tombstone the best he could. Why? He was still alive, or not? He said he was dead but still there. 𝐬𝐻𝐻𝐻 had been so close again. He wanted to hold his hand again, to fight again. He saw him after all this time, but he couldn't say anything. All the words he once left unsaid, and they were gone. In his mind it was all the same. Deku. He had a brother. 𝐬𝐻𝐻 didn't have a brother. What had happened since he died? Had he found a home? Does he know about Auntie Inko's passing? Has he ever visited him, once? Was he the same 𝐬𝐻𝐻𝐻 he knew? The last one he could answer. 𝐬𝐻𝐻𝐻 wasn't the same. He looked older and stronger. His eyes and hair were different. Katsuki went straight to his electric drums and connected his headphones. He started playing with rage, with sadness. He could hear in every beat, Deku. Why? Why was he back? Why now? When he was finally starting to move on. Why not before? Was it funny watching him every month cry in his grave? Or he was back to haunt him? Maybe. He was his killer. The last thing he ever said to him was to fucking kill himself. He hadn't meant it. He knew that now. He always wanted his Deku back, since the beginning of everything. The original Deku and 𝐀𝐦. Members of their own agency. The Deku that molded his life based on Katsuki, and the 𝐀𝐦 who molded his life based on his best friend. Yes, 𝐬𝐻𝐻's favorite food was katsudon because of Katsuki. Katsuki liked spicy food, but his favorite food was matcha because it was green and sweet. 𝐬𝐻𝐻 wanted to be strong to be like 𝐀𝐦 and fight at his side. Katsuki wanted to be strong to protect 𝐬𝐻𝐻 and never let him down. 𝐬𝐻𝐻 who told him to pretend he hated him so the rest would like him. And when he is a hero, nobody could say anything bad about him. Katsuki who hated the plan, but slowly lost sight of reality and ended up hurting him more. The first time he burnt him, he realized he could never protect 𝐬𝐻𝐻 because 𝐬𝐻𝐻 wasn't strong enough to protect himself. Katsuki hated himself after that, but he couldn't take it, and when he saw 𝐬𝐻𝐻's frightened face again, he completely lost it. He lost 𝐬𝐻𝐻. 𝐬𝐻𝐻 could become stronger, but he was always going to be Katsuki's weakness, because he was never really out of his head. Because his shiny big eyes that now had a different color once promised him they would become heroes together. Because even after years of therapy and anger management counseling, he still doesn't understand his feelings. 𝐬𝐻𝐻 was just like him. He always was. He wanted to be stronger, smarter, and could never give up. But didn't 𝐬𝐻𝐻 give up? Didn't he kill himself because of him? No. Katsuki doesn't accept that. He killed 𝐬𝐻𝐻. He couldn't be a hero if he killed the only real friend he'd ever had. 𝐬𝐻𝐻 was in his room now. He was looking at him. Katsuki could see the sun setting through him, but it was natural for 𝐬𝐻𝐻 to be so bright. He hated that. But now 𝐬𝐻𝐻 didn't look scared. No. He was furious. Why? Why what? You come back after 3 years. 3 fucking years. I warned you. I hoped all day and night I would fucking wake up and realized you were still here. And you were here but with a new family. A brother. Do you know about All Might? About your mom? Since when are you like this? And why now? What is it for you? You want me to be sorry because you mourned me? Because you missed me after bullying me? You weren't supposed to be an actual bully, you know. Do you want me to say, sorry, your fucking highness 𝐀𝐦, I died, and you weren't my first thing in mind. And you fucking were. The first thing I thought was that you were right. I died and got a quirk. But it was me who died. Me. So, no, I'm not sorry for you. I don't want you to be sorry. And I don't know if I want you to explain yourself, because yes, I fucking know you shouldn't. I don't understand what you are or why you are back. And I don't know if I'm dreaming. But why are you back now? You didn't want me back, 𝐀𝐦. You preferred me dead. I spent all my birthdays with you, and the 15th of every month with you and All Might, wanting to talk to you but words wouldn't come out. But you want me gone, right? I'm fucking Deku, after all. He couldn't suppress it anymore, nor could 𝐻𝐻𝐸. They needed to yell at each other. Why did you kill yourself? You were the most stubborn and hopeful and heroic fucking person I knew, and you killed yourself. Why? Why did you? Was it because of me? Because don't flatter yourself, I didn't kill myself. I never wanted to kill myself, I didn't want to die. 𝐻𝐻𝐸 stopped. He registered tears coming out of his eyes. I don't want to cry in front of you, but I'm afraid that if I look away, you'll be gone. You don't deserve this. You don't deserve to be the one that makes me angry. You don't deserve to occupy space in my thoughts. But you were there every fucking time. Izuku took out of his backpack a box with lock and key. When he opened it, 32 letters fell down, all addressed to the same person, 𝐾𝐻𝐿. I wrote to you every month, telling you how awesome you were practicing. Because I loved watching you train, I wanted to join you like when we were little. I still have your hero merch that we made from old t-shirts and rocks we found on the beach. Why couldn't you just hate me like a normal bully would hate his victim? You didn't hate me. How could I hate you, nerd? I wanted to, but I just wanted to hug you again. I knew that if I didn't hurt you, if I wasn't the one chasing you, they would. But I lost sight of everything. I thought that if I hurt you, you'd become stronger. I thought about it in a very twisted way. Because you were always what made me weak. Because I knew I couldn't save anyone if it meant you getting hurt. So, I hurt you. He took a moment to breathe and watch Izuku. It was still unbelievable. And then you saved me. You did, and you were the hero, and then I find out you committed suicide. I was going to follow you but couldn't. Izuku's shoulders dropped at the confession. Why? Why were feelings so complicated? 𝐾𝐻𝐿, you don't. Please don't. There's no other side. I won't. I haven't tried again. You are here. A moment passed. Izuku, why did you leave me? Left me since the beginning. Because you let me go. And I'm not the same Deku I was. I don't run behind people. I don't hide who I am because I'm scared. I own up who I am, proudly. Even if I'm not quirkless anymore, I'm not ashamed of having been it. They couldn't look away. Not anymore. Do you remember the first meeting of Deku? I can do it. Everyone was going to think it meant useless, so they would underestimate us. Of course, you were the one that defeated death itself. You could do it. Izuku couldn't help but laugh. Please, Deku, don't leave me again, now. I know we aren't going to go back. And you shouldn't forgive me, but promise me you won't leave now. I won't. It's a promise, 𝐾𝐻𝐿. But I will forgive you. No, yes, because that's my revenge. You would be calmer knowing I can't forgive you, but I already did. You want me to hate you because you hate yourself, but I can't hate you. I became really good at lacerating. I need to break the cycle. I need you to see me. And I need to see you. As my revenge, I'll forgive you, because I deserve it. They stayed all night talking. Katsuki took note on everything he missed and asked some things he was curious of. He told him about All Might, because even Yagi wanted him to know. He told him about his new family, how they ended up stuck with each other and how much he loved them. He told 𝐾𝐻𝐿 about everything he wrote to him, and how much he appreciated the food he left. He needed energy to stay alive, so in a way, he kept him alive. Told him about the vestiges, and even introduced him to Nana. He told him about being Ghost. Katsuki almost lost it again, but not because of anger. He was kind of a fan. He even showed him his wings and bunny ears. Katsuki said he looked ridiculous but didn't want him to take them off. Weird. But he also told him what remained. He still loved his freckles and being short like his mom was. Told him that Katsuden was still his favorite, even if he couldn't taste it. He still couldn't decide on a favorite color. Katsuki told him to just decide, like he did. His favorite color was green. He still wrote his quirk analysis for the future but didn't show it to anybody because he was somewhat ashamed. Katsuki felt guilty about that. Izuku told him that Great King Explosion Murder God was his favorite hero. It was time for Izuku to go. Midnight was coming, and the entrance exam was around the corner. Izuku opened his wings. Are you taking the exam for UA, right? Asked Izuku. I don't know. Do it. 𝐾𝐻𝐿's the most stubborn and hot-headed and brave person I know. Don't hide from this challenge. Fine, nerd. I did submit my application after all. Might as well crush the competition. Are you taking it? Recommendation exam. But because of my experience, if I get in, I might have another role in the class. What do you? He got interrupted again. Any, don't and T, anyways. At this point, they were joking. Where do we land, Deku? We aren't strangers, we aren't friends, but we aren't enemies. We are what we always are. I think there isn't a universe in where we aren't. We aren't two sides of the same coin. We aren't the same and we never will be. But we always find each other. There's no way we won't meet, no matter what world or life we are in. I'm not your soulmate, idiot. Not up to you to decide. And he left. But this time, he left an invisible, indestructible link between them. A ghost of him of sorts. Katsuki was excited again, so he played the drums again. Everyone was waiting for Izuku to return. He didn't break curfew, so he shouldn't have been scared to his core. But his dads were looking at him as if he just murdered someone. How can he explain? Should he say sorry? Maybe if he doesn't move, they won't see him. Wait, he can turn invisible? Where were you, young man? Returning to the point where we left off, His dads didn't buy that, so he had to do the dishes. Hito tried to ask him about what happened and say sorry, but Izuku just thanked him and went to sleep. Izuku was excited again, so he wrote on his diary. The three brothers were up very early this morning. 𝐲𝗏 was still sleepy, while Toshi looked like he didn't sleep at all. 𝐲𝗏 always wondered how someone who says they are tired constantly can never get enough sleep, even with medication. The answer was, of course, drinking his own weight in coffee and energy drinks. 𝐲𝗏 was impressed someone could drink that amount of caffeine and not die. His dad, the real one, not the sperm shooter, told him to get to his home as soon as possible because they were going to have a speed class of some sorts. The UA recommendation exams were 2 days from then, and if they were gonna be heroes, there were some stuffs they needed to know, especially them. When he got to the candle, he saw a police car in front of it. His immediate reaction is to run towards it ready to throw hands. No one was arresting his family. They'd have to go through him first. He crossed the door with his heart pounding. Has his father complained to the police about them? Are they arresting them for vigilantism? They can't do that. They've been using the loopholes in the Constitution. Maybe if I threaten them a little bit and crisp their hair. No, 𝐲𝗏, extortion isn't heroic. To his surprise, the officers were drinking coffee in the bar and his family was just talking to them. Izuku greeted him as soon as he walked through the door, and the others followed. He took a sit between his big brother and Izuku. Rumi was flustered, and her eyes were shining looking at one of the officers, the young one. 𝐲𝗏 had a sister, and 𝐬𝐬 did the same with her partner when they were flirting. Rumi was revolving her cup of coffee, but very slowly. Rumi was an attractive woman. She had a cheerful personality and big eyes. Also, she was pure muscle, and who in this world doesn't love a strong woman? Well, aside from all the gay people in his family. Why were all of them gay, actually? He thought that was the first time he saw a heterosexual flirting in the house. That was interesting. Maybe his father was right and the LGBT+ was taking over the world. I mean, he was wrong, but he didn't need to know that. 𝐲𝗏 cleared his throat and suddenly him and the officers were stone cold serious. Oh, mystery. Okay, now that we are all here, I'll introduce you all. This two are Detective Naomasa Tsukachi and Sergeant Tanuma. I know you are acquaintance with Izuku 𝐴, a ghost. Both groups, kids and adults, bowed as they were presented. This other two are Hitoshi Aizawa Yamada and 𝐲𝗏 Todoroki. Good to see you here, my Izuku. I was surprised to hear from you again. Tsukachi was distressed. Obviously, Izuku was smiling, but not his typical smile, more of a smug, in-you-face smile. 𝐲𝗏 guessed it was because detectives don't usually like vigilantes. His other theory was that Tsukachi knew details about Izuku's death. After all, they are detectives from Musutafu and Zuku died here. They should have known him, right? Hey, glad to see you, kid, again. Left all the vigilante thing behind, I see. Tanuma, on the other hand, was extremely affectionate towards the kids, as if he didn't care Izuku was a vigilante. Even if he said he wasn't active anymore, 𝐲𝗏 didn't believe him. He saw his brother secretly sneaking people in and giving them food, then calming them down, and sometimes he gave some of them sealed envelopes. 𝐲𝗏 trusted he was helping people, so he never went and stopped him. He was envious, of course, being that powerful and helpful. He wanted to be that kind of a hero, one that brings peace and calm to everyone he meets. Your help was much appreciated in taking down some bad guys. It feels as it was yesterday you went to the station to ask permission to fight. Yes, Mr. Tanuma. It has been a long time since that. Thanks for not arresting me. We couldn't if we wanted. You were always very sharp at bending the rules to your favor. Izuku laughed off the awkwardness he was feeling just to not be rude. He liked fine Mr. Tanuma. He has been his ally from the start, even before becoming a vigilante. But he was a very blunt and direct person. I didn't blend the rules. I followed them in a way that favored me. You are proving his point, kid. 𝐲𝗏 stepped up. And you are proving mine, too. You three are going to be heroes, and it's time you learned that being a step behind illegal isn't a good look on heroes. Unless we are going underground. Hito replied, a bit snarkily. Maybe you can go underground, but your brothers are an overpowered flashlight with wings and bunny ears, and the other is a hot, cold AC that looks like a peppermint. That's the longest way to say I don't stand out physically, and I take that as a compliment. Worked really hard on being like this, glad you noticed. 𝐲𝗏 felt insulted. Izuku mumbled, do I look bad like that? Yes, Tsukachi jumped on the conversation. Underground heroes can easily get away with stuff, but they shouldn't. The law was made to be followed and to protect everyone. And heroes need good rep to climb through the rankings and be better. They are the models of our society, and thriving in loopholes can get you arrested or worse if you are not careful. I like the phrase thriving in loopholes. But you are wrong, you can't arrest me. Izuku went to brush Pink. They were shedding and always went to Izuku for help. We can't arrest the dead you, but Izuku Aizawa Yamada is perfectly arrestable. I don't mean that I'm not arrestable. I mean that no handcuffs can hold me or sell, and if you touch me, you'll die. Also, hero rankings are just pure marketing. 𝐬𝐿 isn't the second best at rescuing, but he is one of the best at fighting villains. Hawks went through the ranks and is now third, but he still loses in hand combat with Aunt Rumi. And All Might is great, but he is. Izuku stopped himself. Tsukachi lowered his gaze. You get the point. Being a hero isn't about ranks, is about being the best you can be to help everyone. And the best of you is a guy who says, screw the law, I have a metal pipe. Izuku fell silent. Hitoshi was getting mad. 𝐬𝐡 wanted to get mad too but couldn't. Maybe if they played by the rules, but this time really played by the rules, everyone would be safer. He didn't want to lose anyone. Look, we brought you a copy of our constitution, all our laws and exceptions, so you can start practicing living like the rest and not needing to be in the run, in case you encounter a hero outside from your family. They handed a copy of the book to the three of them. It was unfair. Why could the adults don't follow their own words when it was convenient for them? They didn't do anything wrong or thought anything wrong. They shouldn't even count as vigilantes, at least not Hitoshi and 𝐬𝐡. They just were okay with covering evidence of Izuku's adventures, and if they happened to see a crime, they would stop it without using their quirks. Were they just supposed to do nothing? Not interfere when someone was in danger just because it wasn't their job? Was that a sick joke? The three of them started reading the section about quirk usage and heroism. It said everything about being a hero, the licenses they need, what accesses they have, and how they can use their quirks. It had a section about vigilantism, which described it as using your quirk for heroic acts without the correct license. So as long as you don't use your quirk, it shouldn't matter. That was odd. They had about everything, from what weapons are considered to be to what costumes are appropriate. 𝐬𝐡 felt that something wasn't adding up. It seemed a little insincere. This isn't right. He finally said, "What do you mean, Todoroki?" Mr. Tanuma asked him. "It's very, what's the word? Cryptic. Excuse him, he tends to have Theo." His pops was interrupted. "I was thinking the same. When I first investigated, it came to me as a little strange, too. But now, revisiting, it's the same." Izuku agreed with him. Like if it misses the points on purpose, right? And Hitoshi was in on it, too. The three of them were in the same page. 𝐬𝐡 had warned the officers his kids were smart. He had told them they were prodigies in heroics. They had a talent for it. They also had a talent for looking for trouble. So, if the three of them had a gut feeling about something, he couldn't doubt them. "Explain, kids, please." "Well, for example, why is vigilantism related to the use of quirks instead of being reckless and just doing a heroic act without the license? It would make more sense to say vigilantism is acting as a hero in any scene without the correct license. Like if only flashy and physical quirks are able to do heroics. We know it's not like that. Rumi is an example, or Nezu-sensei." Hitoshi explained one of the points. 𝐬𝐡 followed. "And weaponry. It is only considered a weapon if it was made for lethal or self-preservation purposes. So a metal pipe is not considered a weapon or a kitchen knife. And why there's no section about improvised weapons? How do you not think about that? And heroism is described as usage of a quirk in order to stop or prevent crime under a registered license. So, quirkless people can't be heroes, even if they tried to. Everything is quirk-related when it comes to being a hero. And even for a quirkist society, that's just impractical thinking. Intel gathering is an inactive heroic performance, and you don't need more than a good brain for that, but you do need a hero license, so the law is just ineffective. So, the law is quirkist shit. Is that what you are saying? We are saying the opposite, actually. Every law about being a hero is very specific about who can or can't be a hero. But all the laws about vigilantism and weapons are full of loopholes that you can avoid by just thinking about it for more than a few minutes. It seems on purpose," explained 𝐬𝐡, "like it's encouraging quirkless people to act on it. Like, if you can't be a hero, be the next best thing." "Okay, kids, you lost me. It doesn't make sense. Why encourage people that are think of as weak to prove themselves as strong? You guys are thinking about it too much. Maybe to lure them into danger and getting themselves killed. But it wouldn't be that easy. Not every quirkless person wants to be a hero. Since when was this constitution active?" Izuku asked, serious and curious. A very weird combination. He shouldn't be asking, but what's the fun in living in the shadows? "For the past 10 years ago, maybe a bit more," Tsukachi answered. "The VRP isn't that old, but, Toshi, when you were there, was there different places for different people?" Izuku had never once asked Hitoshi something about his time in the VRP, so the rest didn't know what outcome to expect. For their surprise, Hitoshi answered straight to the point, with no pain in his voice. "Yeah, for people that were threatening enough, they were put in a room where their quirks were cancelled, and the others went to the basement." "Basement?" 𝐬𝐡 seemed to have concluded something dangerous. "Yeah, why Oh, I see. Guys, what are you three talking about? Why weren't they reforming the vigilantes to become part of society again? Teaching them about laws as you are doing now, and other stuff. Maybe help them get into a hero course. Why were they hidden away? You think the VRP is going for quirkless people? Why would they?" The three of the kids looked puzzled. They didn't have an answer, not yet. "We'll play by the rules, we will. But the law looks constructed to have loopholes. They look more like plot holes. You will follow the law, not rules, law. This isn't a game. Being a hero is dangerous and life is not meant to be wasted in jail. But it's our duty to put you in jail if you don't do what it says there. And heroes will stop you. Izuku disappeared and reappeared with his kitchen knife pointing to the officer's nose. Don't threaten my family. These isn't law, these are rules. I won't hurt you. I will never do that. But you need to open your mind and understand that we want to be heroes, not for fame, but because it's what we love doing. Why is it bad to want to be good? You are a smart man, Ssakachi, but you can be stubborn. Mr. Tanuma started laughing. The kid got you good, didn't he? He is right, you are stubborn. Goodness isn't a scale, it's more like a spectrum. But it's true that you kids need to stop doing not vigilantism and just concentrate in going to school. You guys are kids, so be kids. Mr. Tanuma stood up. And try not to threaten police officers. Izuku, I tried it, it doesn't go well. Taoya ruffled Hitoshi's hair. He liked playing with his brother's hairs. The Todoroki's hairs weren't exactly soft. The whiter they were, the stiffer. So, Hitoshi was the victim of all the hair playing. I'm not threatening a police officer. I'm promising an old friend to repay his kindness with the same coin. Aren't I, Tsukachi-san? He didn't answer, he didn't apologize, he just left. And everyone knew it was better to keep shut about it, because Izuku wasn't smiling, but wasn't crying either. He just had this face, the expression of someone who is trying to smile but he couldn't get his cheeks to react. Ssakachi's anger was rising. Why doesn't Izuku just get mad? When the officers were away, their dad told the three kids to go to their study room and read everything again. He didn't sound like he was punishing them but giving them a task for a mission. They didn't waste time. They analyzed and made theories. Soon the wall was covered in papers, dots, and lines. It was a really complex puzzle. There was something missing, and without more information to confirm things, they crashed into a wall. They were out of ideas. They couldn't prove anything, and they just felt insane. Are we overthinking this? Asked Ssakachi, reading for the 5th time the same paragraph. What? Are we overthinking this? Like, maybe there isn't really a bigger reason for everything. And it was all just carelessness. But why would we overthink over this? Hitoshi laid back, shutting his eyes down. Maybe because, I don't know, we need to look for something more. Dad said we always are looking for trouble. 𝐷𝐸𝐺 just says that because he doesn't like us getting into trouble, and we do find it more often than not. Zuko, I know that quirklessness is a sensible topic for you, but maybe the adults are right. These are not rules, but laws. Hitoshi tried to be as sensitive as he could with his words. We get that it can be upsetting, but if you want to talk, we are here. I'm not upset, Toshi, and I'm not quirkless anymore, and I'm not ashamed of had been quirkless in the past. So no, it is not a sensible topic for me. I just think that there is something more, and you think so too. We do, Zu. We do, but we aren't know-it-alls. And you are upset. Please tell us what is going on with you. I'm fine. Stop that. Toshi finally screamed. He got mad. Why can't you trust us? You didn't trust me to tell me who that boy was, or to get angry at me, and you don't trust us enough to share your thoughts. You are hurting. Zuko, you are hurting. I trust you guys. Why do you think I don't? There's just some things I don't like telling, because I have rights to my privacy. Zu, you cry over everything. And you are so empathetic, I'm scared you might get the same scars in your body as me. Ssakachi went to hug his brother, but remembered he couldn't. You always bottled up your feelings. You just smile to us or tell us I'm fine or I'm not upset. We can be empathetic too, and we can sense you aren't okay. Zu, geez, you went crazy with Tsukachi-san there, and no one even wants to ask you what was that because they are scared of you. You guys are scared of me. Izuku was breaking. We aren't scared of you. We are scared for you and that you'll shut down and bottled more feelings that you think you shouldn't feel. You guys are scared of me. Scare I might do something bad for me. What exactly are you afraid of? Why are you afraid of it? But as soon as he said that, he realized it. You guys think I will hurt myself. You thought 𝐀𝐦, oh my god. What? You died at 11 years old, Zuko. You were a bullied, quirkless boy, and yeah, we had an educated guess. Hitoshi said that. Izuku finally got mad. Educated guess. You, out of all people, only see my past self as just a goddamn quirkless kid that wanted to be a hero but couldn't. As someone who was weak-willed, and of course all quirkless kids that died, it's because of suicide. Because what does a good-for-nothing kid have to live for? I didn't say that, so don't put words in my mouth. I didn't kill myself. I would have never done that. You are not that kid anymore. You can do this on your own. If you must know, he was the police officer assigned to my case. But because I was quirkless and he needed to hide the real reason of my death, he just said it was suicide. My mother was destroyed by this, and no one told her the truth, so she did kill herself. And at that time, I couldn't control my power, so I couldn't do anything. Ssakachi felt slightly proud his theory about the police officer was right. But it wasn't the time. I wasn't suicidal, and I am more than who I was. And all the time the thoughts of me being weak and just the shadow of my past come, I snap right out of them on my own. Because I need to prove myself that I'm not weak. Zoo, I can't hurt myself Toshi, and I can ask for consolation either because hugging me would be the death for anyone. And I'm tired of death. I can see in my minds the deaths of the vestiges and my mom playing in my mind. You finally screamed at us. I thought I'd never see the day. No, no, no. Why are you smiling, Hitoshi? When did you plan this? You aren't the only one who can play little schemes. Screw you, Toshi. Why? How? Just when you started to try and chew your pencil. You always do that when you are getting to a breaking point, and you have too much on your mind. 𝐲𝐻𝐻 seemed to have caught right on. We make a good team at pushing Zuko's buttons. They fist bumped. Sorry, Zoo, but it's not healthy to suppress your natural emotions. We are just 14. We are allowed to slash out and complain. And even if you can't hurt yourself physically, you hurt yourself mentally. We are your family, Zoo. We will never think of you as weak. And not because you can send the house flying off with just a sneeze, but because no one is as dedicated and smart and heroic than you. You included me in your plan. Not because you needed me, but because you heard what my life was and decided you couldn't leave me alone, so you came up with an excuse. You did the same with me. And you saved me and treated me like your twin. And we are two opposites that have a bit of the other on them. I have your love, but I want you to accept mine and our families. They looked at each other. Izuku was crying hard, as always, but this time he wasn't crying alone. His brothers were there crying with him. 𝐲𝐻𝐻's heart was aching badly, and tears falling felt like the only solution to that problem, but even them couldn't stop his heart from paining. How do you describe the feeling of wanting to grab your heart right out your chest because it's destroying your body? His brothers were crying with him, and he wondered if they also felt as if nails were trying to pass through their chest. Thank you, I'd tell you everything, I do. But there isn't much to tell, and some of the things I can't tell you because I don't know if you'll believe it. Try. I was born quirkless. I had the extra toe joint and everything. At that time, Mom and I went to live alone. I always wanted to be a hero, but everyone kept shutting my dreams down. No one ever believed in me. The only one who did betrayed me, but it's a really complicated relationship, that one. All the people from the town knew me, and if I was doing something any normal kid would do, they'd call the police and make me go back into my protected place because they believed me too weak. And in the school, teachers would torture me to see if I could get stronger. Once, I saved someone and one of my idols saw me. He told me that he had a power he could pass on to me, and that it'd make me stronger. My body wasn't ready for that power because it was an enhancer. Izuku breathed before continuing. I actually did have a quirk, but I found out about it a few weeks ago when I was with Nezu. We did some test on the DNA I have stored of my old body. It was a minor thing, honestly, but it was enough to be the straw that broke the camel's back. With the enhancer, it became more of a, oh my god, I figured it out. I beautifully minded this beast. 𝐲𝐻𝐻 wasn't going to point out how he changed the topic on purpose. It was obvious to him that Izuku wanted out of the conversation. They didn't solve everything. That would have been fantastic but unrealistic. He decided to be content with what they accomplished so far. What the fuck? Zuko, slow down. You were telling us a really fucked up story and now you are doodling in the fucking floor. Hito was always so blunt, so cute of him. The VRP is targeting quirkless people to give them quirks. They are targeting vigilantes who want to be more famous and powerful, or if not, they just torture their sanity off of them, so when they give them quirks, they'd be in debt, and they can raise an army. They train them to be strong enough for a quirk. But why would they capture vigilantes that use their quirks? Hitoshi asked, mostly offended, but in his voice, you could detect a touch of anger. Izuku thought for a second, before answering. This is great, keep playing the game. It's fun and it makes you feel alive. 𝐲𝐻𝐻 was excited, solving something like this, he said, because they need somewhere to take the quirks off of. And nobody would say something if it was an illegal vigilante or just unknown powerful people. They are, like animals in a slaughterhouse. That would make sense. When they made me torture Pink, they said they were useless after a while, and I had to continue with the others. And after a while, they disappeared. 𝐴zumane-san and Pink left when I did. But a lot of the others didn't make it. But why would they raise an army? And don't they have enough? But not as powerful. It's hard for a body that wasn't meant to have a quirk to support one because it's in the DNA. They are changing someone's DNA. The person with my quirk before me was super powerful, but couldn't achieve the full potential of his quirk because he was quirkless before. All of this were theories. They knew that. But 𝐲𝐻𝐻's gut told him they were on the right path. I love them. They are wonderful young minds with so much potential. Don't you love them? Don't you want them to succeed? My blood is burning. I can't wait to see what happens next. I want to see it all. Izuku was playing the piano. After a while, he knew all of his family favorite songs, so he made a playlist. It had rock classics, pop, anime intros and outros, and a few more things. Thanks to them, 𝐬𝐡𝐢 learned a lot more songs. A few days ago, Hawks introduced him to 𝐻𝐭 𝐍𝐵𝐭, an Argentinian band that was happy and upbeat. All their songs about love or sex were made to dance and have a good time. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 felt in love. He couldn't stop dancing and singing the lyrics. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 knew his way of playing the piano was odd. He played even the saddest of songs with the most cheerful of performances. He liked playing fast and strong. He couldn't feel the keys clash against his fingers anymore, but the melody. Oh, the melody. He felt like he is made of it, like if he could swim in those notes. And playing as fast and as weird as he pleases made it even better. He was playing beautiful. Ela flores en el seco jardín carecido de mi soledad. Nada en el mundo me gustaría más que abrazarte y poder despertar. The Vestiges liked hearing him play. Nana also knew how to play piano, so she sometimes pretended she was playing along 𝐬𝐡𝐢. But she didn't this time. She was serious. All of them were. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 knew why. He had been hiding the truth from them. Tengo un pasado terrible y algunos secretos para confesar. Tengo algún brindis pendiente que un día inconscient lo voy a cantar. Ella dice beautiful. 𝗬𝐡𝐢𝐬 𝐈𝐬. He liked changing the lyrics of the songs, to give them a different meaning or to express something he wanted so bad. After all, songs are meant to be a way of self-expression. The Vestiges waited until he finished singing. They usually clapped at the end, but not today. They didn't today. Why didn't you tell us? Since when are you able to see our memories? And asked him, almost ashamed of something. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 didn't know what. You shouldn't have seen our deaths. We are very sorry. Nana continued. We all died before bringing AFO down. And we all died. In a very horrible way. We don't know what to say. Oh, please don't apologize. I can't see your memories. What happened was something else and Yoichi-sensei, please contribute to the conversation. I'm sorry guys, I showed him those. Oh, revelation. Wah, the second user spoke. That was unusual. Why did you do that? Man, that's creepy as shit. How can you show him memories of us? Nana asked him, more impressed than hurt. If I may, I think it was only his memories of you, since I saw everything from an outsider's perspective. Except his death, of course. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 was shaking a bit. He wasn't visible, but his voice was a dead giveaway. Haha, I'm so funny. Praise me. What do you mean, 𝐬𝐡𝐢? Shinomori asked. Well, he's been in this being an enhanced conscience longer than I have, so I don't have all the details. But he can replay what's in his head and mine. Even if we both don't technically have heads. It's like a linked conscience. When everyone's faces started to turn red, he noticed what they all thought. But I can't read your thoughts. No. And I can't see your memories either. Just like you can go into the Vestiges palace and don't see my life or my thoughts. What if they thought he was a pervert? What if they thought he was going to use their memories against them? He wouldn't do that. He wasn't that bad of a person. He wasn't a bad person at all. But if you told him that, he'd probably ramble about being a liar with his family. The kid had the self-love level of a depressed punching bag. Why did you do that, Yoichi? He's a kid. He shouldn't be seeing those things. He's traumatized enough. I thought it was the right thing to do at the moment. I now know it wasn't correct, but I didn't know what to do the moment of what. Banjo was fuming. He was very protective of the kid's health. He was always rambling that a great hero needs a great mind. There was one time where 𝐬𝐡𝐢 was freaking out about how he couldn't save everyone in an accident. It was his first month as a vigilante and there was a fire in a building. He tried to get everyone to safety. But before everyone could get out, the building collapsed and 𝐬𝐡𝐢 saw everything. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 at that moment decided to go to his room. He didn't want anyone to hear him cry. His energy control was out the window. And you all were in the palace. He was saying how he couldn't be a hero or anything good, that heroes don't let others die. It was breaking in front of me. So, I showed him our deaths. I told him that being a hero comes with death. You can't save everyone. Sometimes you can't save yourself or the people you love. They all kept quiet, inside their own head, looking down. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 wanted to cry, remembering everything about that day, all the memories passing through his head. The rest didn't seem to notice how the kid was silently suffering. He was invisible after all. So, Shinomori started talking. The kid had just experienced a traumatic event, revolving death, and you thought the best course of action was to show him even more. Not only that, but memories that weren't yours to show. He had seen people dying in a building and your genius mind said, oh, let's calm him by showing him the death of the people he lives with. What was I supposed to do? Anything but that. If you could show him memories, why didn't you show him better ones? Happier ones? He is training to be a hero. He was a vigilante, but he is just a person. I fucked up, and I regret it every day. Every time he wakes up from a nightmare, every time he sees a little bit of blood. I know. That's why I never told anyone. I fucked up. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 wanted them to stop, but he didn't want to speak or receive attention. He knew that if he told them to shut up, the spotlight would shift to him. He decided to keep shut. Our deaths were our secrets. God, I feel like shit. The second user spoke softly. Why he never told us? You told him to keep quiet. I'm not a monster. After what happened he seemed fine. He was back to his usual smiling self. I thought it worked. But it had the opposite effect. He was doing more, using more energy than he should. I told him I was sorry, that it wasn't my intention to scare him, but he didn't listen. He didn't want to tell you guys because he thought those were painful memories for you. He is a good kid, said the third user for the first time. I had thought he wasn't resting or wasn't giving up helpless battles because he was reckless and childish. Izuku wanted to say thank you or complain, but it wasn't the moment. He was a bit happy that they stopped screaming. You two should apologize to Zuko. Third and second agreed but didn't move. So, Nana continued. Now, and you too, Yoichi, we will discuss how to resolve everything later in the palace. The three of them bowed a bit flustered. Izuku thought it was funny. They looked as if they were just scolded by their mother. Nana smiled at him. Izuku smiled back, of course. They heard a knock on the door, so the vestiges decided to go away for a while. Izuku shouted to come in, and 𝐲𝗏 was on the other side, with a guitar in his hands. 𝐲𝗏 sat in the bed, waiting for Izuku to appear, but he wasn't ready yet, so instead he just made his 𝐬𝐴 known by grabbing the guitar and sitting in the chair. I heard you crying. Oh right, the rest couldn't hear the vestiges shouting, only Izuku's response. The vestiges found out something and got mad with each other. I feel kinda guilty. He started playing a few chords to tune the guitar. It wasn't entirely my fault, but I wasn't careful with my words, and bad memories came back. I cry every time I remember. What is it you remember, if I can ask? Some deaths, the times I wasn't good enough. 𝐲𝗏 froze in his place, thinking of a response. But nothing came to him yet. It's okay, I think. I have gotten better since then, and I know that this line of work needs a strong mind. The strong mind comes with time and a work-appointed therapist. I go to therapy. I know, and I am glad you made progress. You are opening more now than before. And I know that there are things that you can't forget. I am a hero too, and I remember every single one of them. But I also remember the feeling of saving someone, the rush of giving the last punch and sailing victorious. I remember the family and friends I made on the way. Izuku stopped playing with the guitar and focused on 𝐲𝗏, appearing slowly. And that my line of work brought me the most wonderful of husbands, and the most amazing of kids. You and your brothers are worth every step I took. I wouldn't change anything. In the multiverse, there is a version of us where you didn't have to suffer for us to be a family. I'm sorry you're stuck in this version. In the multiverse, there's a version of us where we didn't meet. I am lucky this is the version I am living. You are sappy. Namadad would be shouting yeah in your ear if he heard you. They both laugh. Come on kid, play something that makes you happy. Then let's go to the car. You have an exam to ace. Izuku played soldier, poet, king by the Ohalos. 𝐲𝗏 didn't like music, but he loved his son. The recommendation entrance exam. No one knew exactly of what it consisted, but whatever it was, you had to be prepared. The aura of the kids was menacing, eyes moving everywhere. Did they have to fight? Complete a written exam. What was it? They were brought to a stadium and all the kids were waiting by the giant door. Izuku stopped to analyze the rest of people there. Obvious mutations quirks were flashy and easier to analyze, yet not disinteresting. Everyone had something special. A girl with giant hands, a guy that looked like a Lego, or a girl that was just reading a book. Everyone there must be amazingly talented. Maybe have super rare and awesome quirks. Surely they all had quirks. There wasn't a record of a quirkless student at UA never, and Izuku wouldn't be the first. He had a quirk. Well, he technically had 8 quirks, but all of them were fused in one. That was weird to him. He spent so much time analyzing one for all in the past user's quirks. But it's surprising how much there was to investigate yet. And he hasn't had too much time to put his bio quirk to practice. A reality warping quirk was one of the oldest quirks in existence. One of the first recorded. It was very possible that he shared a bit of DNA with the first one. He never knew he had a quirk when he was little. And it surely was really minor, but an enhancer and not any enhancer, one for all itself. The most powerful of them all could make a minor quirk into a dangerous mess. He had been using it unconsciously, being affected by gravity and not being able to float without the quirk float, or the shapeshifting that he thought it was control of the lights. He needed to test it more. Maybe I can give myself a body again. This quirk could be a Deus Ex Machina. The gates opened and it was revealed a place flooded with lava, only a few rocks and robots hanging from the ceiling. The place was huge. You could easily get lost there, or maybe fit the entire population of a small country. The robots had numbers on their heads and chests, which were the points they represented. There were 1 pointer, 2 pointers, and 3 pointers at sight. Maybe inside there were more valuable robots. A voice was heard from the speakers. It was Netsu. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the recommendation entrance exam. You all have been recommended by heroes who believe you are the next generation of saviors of the world. A malicious laugh was emitted by the animal who secretly liked vanilla-flavored tea. The best genius of his generation. I'll explain what this test consists of. A dangling proposition. I'm a rebel today. This practical part will be a rescue. The robots had been victims of a dangerous group of villains who torture them by getting them close to the lava. The closer they are, the more points they worth. Some are already close as you can see, but the rest will get closer and grow of value. After the first 20 minutes, other robots will appear to fight you. They'll be all 0-pointers. Also, the points in the robots aren't the only that count. After every robot is rescued, the 10 who have more points will follow to the next phase, the written exam. Let the games begin. May the force be with you, and remember that with great power comes great responsibility. Bye-bye. A buzz sounded and the group started running. Most of the kids went straight for the 3-pointers, jumping and leaving them on ground. Even if they were closest to the lava, they were the easiest to rescue in Izuku's opinion. They were also the closest to the ground after all. The 1-pointers were higher, and if they were people, brute force and fast movement should scare them. Also, there was no safe zone. That was weird. How could they be safe if they were still in the premises? It was the villain's lair. So, everything clicked. Izuku knew what he had to do. If the robots were people, he couldn't touch them, so he had to use 𝗏𝗏, and to lower them to the ground as slowly and safe as he could energize smokescreen to create a cloud, so a big number of robots could be rescued at the same time. If he had to go one by one, he would be losing time. To break the ropes, Izuku only needed send a small but strong gush of wind to the ceiling, and the robots near should fall in the cloud. The plan went spectacularly. When he took the robots to the door, Izuku saw Hitoshi with a rope and robots tied with it, running to the same destiny as him. Izuku thought his brother must have used the robots the others left in the ground to get them to safety and take their points. My brother is so smart, so cool. He mentally praised his twin. Behind him, there was a girl with a ponytail. She had beautiful black, long hair and looked very nervous. She only had one robot with her, and they were holding hands. She must have caught up with the reality of the exam. In her other hand, there was flying hook, probably to lift her and swing her to safety. How did she get that? Did she bring it with her? Did she know what the test was going to be? Izuku didn't have time to concentrate on that now. He needed to push his interest aside and focus. He continued with his plan. He had secured at least 45 points with the rescue robots. And then, the 20 minutes passed, and quickly hostile robots were attacking. A lot of the others pushed them to the lava, so cruel. He saw Ponytail Girl lift her shirt and take out of her stomach paralyzing handcuffs. Her quirk was about creating things. That made a lot of sense. Izuku wanted to talk to her, maybe ask her if she could lend her some. He was disactivating the robots in his way, but he saw her fighting with a robot. She was a good fighter, but she wasn't very strong and looked tired, really tired. She was fainting and falling to the lava, so Izuku jumped. He threw a cloud to her back and grabbed her with 𝗏𝗏. He floated them both and made her sit in the cloud. She regained conscience after a few seconds. I'm sorry, I guess I am worn out. I've been creating weapons and hooks for everyone here and for me. I must have gone over my limit. She was a beautiful girl and talked peacefully, with a hint of sadness. Thank you for saving me, even if the lava isn't real. Wait, it wasn't. Don't worry about it. I saw you rescuing and fighting before. I'm sure you have by now enough points. The rest didn't seem to catch on what they should be doing. And I'm sure you won't be overlooked. He tried to comfort her, but he didn't lie. She sure gained points for more than rescuing. I can only hope so. I had to tell some kids about it. Even Todoroki-san. I was surprised to see an old friend here, but I guess it isn't much of a surprise since he is a Todoroki. She knew his brother. That was a surprise. She must have been from a rich family too. The girl looked down. She paled. We should go. There are just 3 robots left to rescue. I feel better now, thanks. You look really pale. Try not to overdo it. Don't use your quirk. We can do this together. All the robots are in different places. I can create you a path with my 𝗏𝗏 and you'll run and put a cloud on their feet. I'll collect them and we both go to the door. Is that okay with you? But who'll get the points? I can't let you risk this because of my well-being. Aren't we going to be heroes? Come on, let's save everyone. And they did. The Ponytail Girl didn't need to run through the 𝗏𝗏. She decided to slide to be faster. Izuku didn't thought of that, so it surprised him. Both of them got the robots to safety and the buzz sounded again. The test had finished. All the remaining hostile robots went puff, and everyone sat down on the floor, relieved. Woo, that was quite a test. Congratulations to everyone that caught on what was really happening. I was surprised that a few realized the last piece of the puzzle of point making. Congratulations to the only 2, Momo Yaoyorozu and Izuku Aizawa Yamada. Let me explain, for those confused. To rescue them, they had to get the robots out of the lair and the doors were open. They only had 20 minutes to do it villain-free, so they needed a strategy. And the value of the robots was a trick. They probably did add what it was on their screen, but in real life the lives of everyone are the same. That was a test of problem-solving skill, quirk manage and control, and also sense of right. And they had to save them in the most calming way possible. Traumatizing events don't need more fuel. There was a test of morality hidden in the second part, too. The zero-pointers were villains, but they were also humans, and heroes shouldn't kill just because it was easier. Because you didn't know if they were bad people or people whom you needed to save, too. And, last but not least, the test that only two aced, camaraderie. In the make-believe situation, they were the heroes. In the real world, when heroes were sent on ranked missions, they usually go in teams. They were a make-believe team in that scenario. They had to work together. Izuku didn't figure out that last one. It was pure luck. Did you know about that, too? Asked the girl, Yaoyorozu. No, I didn't. I guess I should have realized it sooner, but everything worked out fine. That's great. I don't get it, then. Why did you help me and worked with me if you didn't know it earned you points? Don't get me wrong, I'm forever grateful, but I'm confused. First reason was because it was strategically better. It's hard to control the clouds and to shoot air bullets smash long distance. Someone could have got hurt and it wasn't the least traumatic. Second reason was because you were working so hard even if you were in the verge of fainting. You were so cool. I think we make a pretty good team. Yaoyorozu-san. Izuku smiled at her. She smiled back. We do, Aizawa. Yamada, _kun. Just call me Izuku. My last name is kind of just to annoy people. My dads are sort of pranksters. Call me Momo, then. I hope we both get in. There were at least 40 kids in the first stage, and only 10 were called to continue. Izuku and his brothers made it without problem. Momo did too. The Lego kid sadly did not. Izuku was rooting for him because he looked so cool, but the 6 other kids also looked very strong. The written part was easy for Izuku. The first questions were math and history. Also, some problem-solving riddles and questions about current issues. Izuku liked that they had an essay portion, a section that didn't add any points and was just to know more about them and their ideologies. Izuku had suggested that to Nen-Tsu. Only 8 passed the written stage. The next one was the interview. Hitoshi was first, then Izuku. Nen-Tsu was waiting for him on the other side of the door with the biggest smile he could give. I'm glad you made it this far, young Izuku. Although I'm not surprised. You do learn from the best. Yeah, Aunt Rumi is awesome. Izuku laughed at his mentor's angry expression. Aunt Rumi was an amazing combat teacher, but Nen-Tsu was the one that broke the box Izuku was thinking in. They had a special bond. Nen-Tsu was the only one that could keep up with Izuku's antics and vice versa. I know you had interviews with everyone before the exam when they were registering. So, why interviews now? My first thought was that you wanted to see if they changed their minds. But if they made it to this point, obviously, they didn't. So, my second guess is that you wanted to talk to me right after the exam. But you didn't want it to look suspicious. Am I right? His mentor made a bell noise ding, ding, ding. You are correct, young one. I wanted to talk to the others, too. Give them a pep talk, maybe. But for you, I have more than a pep talk, I have news. This sparked interest in Izuku. As you know, I want to help create the best society possible. Not only heroes, but good and smart people. The support course and general studies are focused on being a moral and honest person as much the hero course. But after training you first-handed in my own experiences, I reached the conclusion that people fear what they don't understand. I mean, it is a fact of life, but it impacted me how quirks are feared when not understood. Izuku saw where this was going. I decided to open a new study course, the Quirk Analysis course. It will have more quirk theory and history. It will be planned to learn by seeing quirks in action and by doing tests and making theories. It will be the new age of learning. It will help the hero course and the support course, and maybe if it gains the interest of Gen Ed, they can transfer there. It will help students and teachers to understand themselves better. It could be the change the world needs. And you want me to study there, instead of in the hero course? Izuku felt kind of sad about that. No, you will be the teacher. Nen-Tsu pressed a button and a banner with your hired written on it fell. Wait, what? We need to give it a test run this year. The Teaching Commission and the Hero Commission are both very excited for it, but they need proof that it'll work. You already have the basics of the hero course, you know that. You have saved and conducted rescue missions for years now. So, we'll make a deal. You will be in both courses, as a student in one and teacher in the other. You'll be in class to participate and analyze. And if you pass your exams and get the commissions to approve of the analysis course, you'll have your official license at the end of the year. Izuku couldn't believe what he was hearing. It felt like a dream. It was offered to him the deal of the millennia, the opportunity to be the youngest hero in UAS history and the youngest teacher. He could analyze and get access to resources that could help him with his notebooks. All the years researching and learning and testing. They all came down to this. He couldn't say no. Izuku was going to make history. He couldn't wait to start. One last question. What was under the rescue robots? It looked very hot. It was lava. I thought I made that clear. Oh, thank God Momo is okay. The best just happened. He couldn't believe it. Izuku, Ghost Izuku, former vigilante that when he can't sleep goes on manhunts Izuku. The same Izuku who forgot he was a ghost and tried to take a laxative because he hadn't gone to the bathroom in forever. He was going to be an official analyst and a hero. He needed to tell someone, now. The regular entrance exams were over, and the kids were returning to their homes. He spotted 𝐀𝐦. He had to know. He couldn't wait to open his mouth and jump with excitement. He wanted a hug, but a Deku, you were being too loud, would suffice. 𝐀𝐦 was going home alone, of course, very Katsuki of him, so Izuku didn't have to worry of making a fool of himself in front of anyone. He went running towards his 𝐀𝐦, but he forgot he was really fast. Damn, why was he affected still by gravity? He fell face first to the floor. So glad no one saw him, he was invisible. Nerd, I heard your stupid ass fell. Don't be too glad, you are a menace to yourself. Izuku appeared in front of him. Katsuki quickly noticed his mood, the super cute and big smile, the bright eyes shining with too much power, and his wings and ears were moving too fast. Hey, what happened? You got in, right? Did you meet another one of your heroes? Did you win the lottery? I got in, yes, but better. I'm going to be an official analyst. I will have access to guns and bullets again. Wait, that wasn't why I was excited. I can be a hero in less than 1 year, and Nezu wanted me to do a test run on his new analysis course, and if I can convince like a lot of people, I will be an official analyst, a teacher, and a freaking pro hero. I knew being reckless and have no regards for my personal safety and overthinking instead of sleeping would pay off. Deku, what the fucking fuck are you on? No way, I mean, it's amazing, but I'm gonna need more. The fucking shit. This is fucking awesome. Yes, he couldn't be fucking happy without swearing, but he was. They had to celebrate. Katsuki was sure he got in, too. He was the best, after all. Of course, he was in. They were walking to Izuku's home. Katsuki had never been there, and surprisingly he was nervous, but he didn't know why. He wanted to make a good impression. Maybe to cover the past, or maybe so they wouldn't be suspicious about his past with Izuku. Katsuki knew Deku didn't tell anyone about him, but right now they had to spend some time together. It was a very important day. There was no one home yet, so Izuku thought it would be a good idea to introduce Katsuki to Pink, and them, being the social butterfly they were, jumped right on top of Izuku. What was more impressive was that Izuku could hold them. Just how strong did he get? The door opened, his brothers and parents crossed. They were carrying grocery bags and a cake. 𝐀𝐦 and 𝐀𝐦 were carrying his brothers in their backs like if they weighed nothing. Rumi was the first to notice Izuku there. She looked mad but not entirely angry. Where are you? We waited for you outside the school, and you never showed up. Nezu told us you ran outside and went home already. Why did you? Oh, you're not alone. Then everyone saw Katsuki. He realized why he was so nervous. Izuku's whole new family were pro-heroes. He wanted to cause a good first impression. He recognized Mirko, Hawks, and Mike. He guessed that the tall and gloomy one was Eraserhead. He didn't know he was a thing before Izuku mentioned him. Everyone, this is 𝐀𝐦. No, 𝐀𝐦 𝐍𝐭. Saying Katsuki's name out loud was weird to him. It was an unspoken agreement that their real names were almost out of limits for the other. They were Deku and 𝐀𝐦. 𝐀𝐦, this is my family. My dad's, Aunt Rumi, 𝐾2kun, 𝐶2kun, and, well, you already know Toshi. Hey, you again. I'm Hitoshi Aizawa Yamada. Don't call me by my name, we are not friends. Pick a last name and stick with it. Toshi. No problem, I bags. 𝐀𝐦, I see you ditched us to go to your boyfriend. Izu, you are all grown up. His aunt was half teasing him. She wanted an explanation of who was this Katsuki 𝐍𝐭, but she didn't want to be too straightforward. He is not my boyfriend, he is. But how do you explain that someone is your soulmate without it sounding romantic? They never agreed they were friends again, but they surely weren't enemies. I want to say friend, but that feels weird. 𝐀𝐦, what are we? To him was just a natural concern. To the others it felt like the weird moment where a couple fights. Just say that I'm the most important person in your life. Katsuki was joking, probably. You sure do think highly of yourself. And I won't say that to my family. This is the same 𝐀𝐦 as in your notebook. His dad said. 𝐀𝐦 was the only one in the family that has ever seen Izuku's notes. It was something so personal to him that almost no amount of trust could make him show someone his notes. He showed them once to 𝐀𝐦 when they were little. He said they were creepy and he never showed anyone ever again. But the people who knew him before were aware of what he did in his notebooks. You know what? Never mind. Too early to get into your drama. It's 2 in the afternoon. 𝐀𝐦 said. Then it's too late. It's 2 in the afternoon, replied Hitoshi. Hitoshi always had a tired look. Of course he did. He doesn't sleep at night. And he barely sleeps during the day. So, 𝐀𝐦 gave him a look that said, you are one to talk. Everyone started to get ready to celebrate, set the table, cooked, and turned on the TV. The news was on, and something caught everyone's eyes. It was about a vigilante, prince in a shiny armor, a long name for a vigilante, but that was it. The vigilante had a notorious fighting style. It was elegant and sort of classic. He was getting somewhat famous around the poorer parts of Musutafu. No one really knew who he was or why he did anything. He had really blonde and long hair, and when asked something he responded in a fake French accent. He was both loved and hated. He wasn't great at what he was doing, but at least he was doing something. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 once saw a wanted poster of him with a very clear photo of him, and he noticed his shoes brand. It was an up-and-coming business of shoes specially sized for the client. It could have meant nothing, of course, but brands like that were very popular between quirkless people. Having the red shoes made you an easy target for bullies, and stores didn't sell shoes for people like them. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 had the theory that Prince in a shiny armor was quirkless, which made him worry more about the news. He disappeared. The VRP took him after they found his hiding spot. People on the news were being interviewed saying things like, "I am glad he is out of the streets and he was a danger to society." There was no mention of his quirk or the heroic things he has done. There are videos of him taking money out of criminals' pockets and buying cheeses by the wheel. It's like the third micro-vigilante this month. So sad. I met this kid. He was 15, I think. Aunt Rumi leaned against the sofa, sounding pissed. He was a bit weird and kind of eccentric, but he was nice. I mean, he was in for the money, but he had a family to care for. Some people are saying he was betrayed by someone in his group. Heard he was quirkless too. He was in a group of vigilante quirkless kids. Apparently, they were inspired by another young vigilante that fought quirkless. Care to take a guess? 𝐬𝐡𝐢 𝐍𝐸 said, stuffing his mouth with chips. He was a fan of Ghost. I have a quirk. Why would I be their inspiration? Nerd. Have you ever looked up your vigilante name on Google before? There are tons of articles about you. You might think you were unknown, but you are like one of the biggest vigilantes of the era. 𝐀𝐦 said, taking out his phone and searching Ghost Vigilante on the search bar. In a second, tons of images and articles about him showed up. Your chain's shield became kind of a symbol. Prince and his friends had that on them. There is a phrase you said before when you fucking ended a guy. I killed someone. No, you scared the shit out of him. I know the one he is saying. 𝐀𝐦 joined too. Shu was brushing his hair but stopped when he heard everything. You threw a knife at a policeman, and it stabbed his cap. You said then, the law is stupid, and I can throw knives when he said the law dictated. I don't remember what bullshit. I see you chose a brother with a fucking sailor's mouth. 𝐀𝐦 wasn't a very self-aware person. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 thought that he didn't notice he swears every 2 words. But now, he seemed he was trying to start a fight with 𝐀𝐦. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 didn't know why that was, but because his family didn't stop them, they might know. 𝐀𝐦 laughed instead of stepping in, so he definitely knew. I want to punch you so bad, but heroes don't punch babies. Don't fight, you are going to be classmates. Please, 𝐲𝐻 said and regretted it in an instant. No way. That means we are in the same class as 𝐀𝐦. That means he passed. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 went to hug 𝐀𝐦, but stopped when he remembered he couldn't, so instead he opened his wings to show his excitement. 𝐀𝐦, you are going to be a hero. I can't believe it. Of course I did, Deku. We are fucking awesome. Now everyone was looking. What did you call my brother? 𝐲𝐻 stopped looking at his hair to look at the blonde kid. He didn't like bullies. What was that nickname? What nickname? Poland. Guys, it's okay. Deku isn't a mean nickname, please. It was useless to try and stop them. The rest of his family understood that and got the memo, but not 𝐀𝐦. He was mad. You come here, say that you are 𝐬𝐡's favorite person, which you are not because we are his brothers. You insult everything left and right and you dare to call him names. Just who are you? Really? How well do you know him for you to say things like that to him? 𝐻𝐡𝐢 was a breath away from punching 𝐀𝐦's eyes out of his face. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 wanted to be buried again right now. I know more about him than you do, believe that. I know Deku writes journals about quirks and heroes. He analyzes the shit out of everything partially because he enjoys the mental challenge and partially because he has anxiety. I know he doesn't have a favorite color because he thinks all colors mean something special to someone, so he likes all of them. I know his favorite meal is katsudon. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 always remembers names and quirks, but he has a hard time remembering voices. When he was a kid, he could lick his elbow but then couldn't reach anymore. I know he looks like his mother, and he is just as kind as her. I know his last name is actually his mother's last name because his good-for-nothing father was sketchy as hell. Hey, we both have awful sperm shooters, whispered 𝐲𝐻. I know he only says nicknames to people he loves, because the selfish part of him likes to have special names that belong only to him and his loved ones. I know he pretends to forget he can go through walls and use doors because that makes him feel more alive. I have known Deku since we were babies. We grew up together. I know every embarrassing detail about him and every amazing one. I know I hurt him and I will try every fucking day to be better, but never imply I am no one to him, because I can't tolerate that. He is everything to me, so I will get furious over that. 𝐀𝐦, please stop. It sounds too lovey-dovey of you. I can't. 𝐬𝐡𝐢 covered his face, but his wings were moving. He was now flying. 𝐻𝐡𝐢 ran to his room, and 𝐬𝐡𝐢 came down to follow him. He was worried about his brother. Both him and 𝐀𝐦 were weird today, which to be fair it could have been because they both had snarky personalities and were overprotective. But 𝐬𝐡𝐢 loved 𝐻𝐡𝐢, and he loved 𝐀𝐦. He thought they could have been great friends, but maybe in another universe. Toshi was with his earphones, blasting Stairway to Heaven, which meant he wanted to talk about the problem but wanted you to think he didn't. Teenagers are complicated. Give them internet and they'll turn every moment into a movie. But Izuku liked movies, so he wanted to be part of Hitoshi's. Hey, Toshi, can we talk? No. Can we scream? No. What can I do? Can you hear me vent? Izuku sat down next to him. I am mad partially at you and fucking TNT guy, but also a bit at me. Honestly madder at you, though. I know that you don't have to tell me everything and you can hide whatever you want. You just opened up to us, to me. He stopped to think of his words, but the right ones weren't the real ones. He needed to tell the truth. I am jealous. You saved me not by chance but by choice. Someone told you, hey, this kid might be sad, and you jumped right into the case and like a fucking angel busted through the window and gave me a home. You gave me a family, too. I feel attached to you in ways I'm not attached to the rest, like we share something the rest don't. And this guy, who you haven't seen in years, is suddenly the person I wanted to be for you. The one you confide with and the one that knows you better than anyone. Aren't we supposed to be the twins on the family? You are my hero. You are the person I trust the most. I know everyone was there, and I'm forever grateful, but you are the mind behind everything. You know how to calm me and what mood I am based on what I'm listening. Why can't I be the same to you? Toshi, it's different. You and 𝐀𝐦 are two different people in my life. 𝐀𝐦 is everything from my past, a past I don't want to No, don't go back. Shit, Toshi, it's different. You and 𝐀𝐦 are two different people in my life. 𝐀𝐦 knows a lot about me because we spent a lot of time together. We spent 11 years caring and hating each other. We were together a year. It's normal you don't know everything. Also, you know a lot of things about me that 𝐀𝐦 doesn't. Like what? You know that I love stars and I want to visit space one day. You know that I can't walk heels. You know that I love comedies, but I have never laughed at a sitcom. You know that I hate the noise that machines make. And certain lights are too bright for me. He couldn't think more examples, but his point was made. You are as important to me as I am to you. I trust you in a way you can't begin to imagine. I trust you like I trust there are stars in the sky. I'm sorry. I never had feelings like this before. A family and brothers, and I guess I'm sorry for what I did. It's not rational, I know. I just don't want to lose the places we have because I'm comfortable with them. Things might change because life changes, but you will never not be my brother, not in this life. It was nice that they could reassure each other of the real love they had. Everything is dark now. I exhausted myself by accident. These kids get me too emotional. Everyone gets nervous the first day of school. Everyone feels like running the other way when they are in front of the school gates. As Izuku was walking to his future, he saw too many people in his way with the ID card hanging from their necks. They said student. His ID was different. It said teacher. Oh, the flutter in his not stomach. He was smiling very hard. He entered his lab. His lab. It was all his and he was going to take advantage of it. There was a note from Nezu in the desk. Hello, young Izuku. After you are done appreciating the lab, please go to class 1A. You'll be formally introduced as a teacher and temporary hero student. Plus ultra. Every word felt surreal. Every dream of him was coming true. Oh, don't think it. He was so happy. No, nothing could go wrong now. He will be a hero. He thought. Great, he jinxed it. When he went to his class, the first thing he saw was his dad in caterpillar mode, but the first thing he heard was Katsuki screaming obscenities to his classmate. Very Katsuki-y of him. His brothers were in seats 15 and 19, so they were pretty close to him, and Katsuki was actually in front of Izuku's desk. It was a perfect arrangement. He should thank Nezu later. Hitoshi was sleeping, or trying to at least. 𝐲𝐸 was speaking to Yaezuru Momo. They were casual and well acquaintance. They knew each other from before. Please get your feet off your desk. It's disrespectful. Oh, come on, glasses. Get out. From what pit did you came out of? I'm from 𝐬𝐸. Ida got interrupted. You are an elite man. Fucking knew it. Katsuki wasn't really mad, but he seemed to enjoy messing with the taller guy. You sure play the bad boy part really well. You almost can't tell you fell the day of the entrance exam. A girl with brown hair cut like a bob. Izuku was about to faint when he recognized her. Ochako Uraraka, the daughter of Hana Azumane, was smiling to Katsuki and Ida Tenya. If I hadn't catch you, you'd have looked as ridiculous as your hair, Bakugo. Shut up, pink cheeks. Katsuki wasn't aggressive towards her. That surprised Izuku. Maybe they were friends. Maybe he could get introduced to her and ask her about Hana. Oi, Deku, you are here. Come here so this idiot will stop harassing me. That kind of language is not heroic. Bakugo-san, what would the teacher say if they were here? The teacher is here, actually. You should go to your seats. A girl with short, purple hair said with a very neutral tone. She had plug ears that looked like the cord from headphones. Izuku thought it was a girl version Hitoshi, but she looked less tired and depressed. And he also thought if Toshi was a girl he wouldn't be as pretty as she was. I'm glad you noticed, Gyro. If I were a villain, most of you would be really dead. His father came out of his cocoon, but he didn't turn into a butterfly. He just looked tired. Everyone, go to your seats. I am 𝐲𝐸 𝐍𝐴, your homeroom teacher. I have the power to expel you if I think you aren't hero material, so try not to fuck up. Eda gasped at the language using of his teacher. The green flashlight there is Izuku 𝐍𝐴. He is a temporary student as he already has heroic experiences as a retired vigilante. You might know him as Ghost. The class's jaws dropped. Most of them knew him, some better than others. He is also a teacher here. He is the teacher in the analyst course that will inaugurate next year if everything goes well. He will supervise how you use your quirks and help you achieve the better version of it. He'll make suggestions and theories, and it can be creepy, but it's for the greater good. It's a pleasure to meet everyone, he whispered. As he is an ex-vigilante, I am obligated to state, Izuku 𝐍𝐴 is not allowed near the following: knives, dynamite, very reactive chemicals, metal pipes, fire. He continued listing old, improvised weapons and dangerous things Izuku used in the past. Plushies, cheap t-shirts, and animal horns. If you feel unsafe near him, please contact the authorities. The HPSC. Now, please follow me. This was going to be an interesting year. Hey, the Uraraka girl spoke to Izuku. She looked nervous, but he did too. They were both the same height and looked at each other eye to eye. You probably don't know who I am, or, well, you do, but you don't remember me. I am. Izuku was so happy she knew about him, that she was there talking to him. It reminded him about Hana and how she was the person who gave Izuku two people he loved, Pink and Hitoshi. Without her, her family wouldn't be family. Hana 𝐻𝐸 was the first step in everything. She was the start of it all. And her daughter, the reason Lady even existed, was talking to him. I know you. You are Uraraka, 𝐻𝐸's daughter. I'm so happy to see you here. How is 𝐻𝐸? I can't believe I met you. I could cry now. You are adorable. She is fine. She talks about how lucky she was and how you helped us. Thank you, honestly. Uraraka was a bit teary, but her smile was really bright, just like 𝐻𝐸's. Can we be friends? I always wanted to be your friend, and I have like a million questions. Oh wait, we are in class. Teacher's speaking. Great. I want to see how well you control your power, so we're going to test them. 𝐲𝐸 started explaining, taking his notepad out. A student with blonde hair and a black lighting-shaped streak raised his hands. He asked if it was okie doke to use their quirks as they weren't allowed in middle school to use them, so the teacher continued. How do you plan to be a hero if you can't control your quirk? Some quirks, if used incorrectly, can hurt ourselves and others. And you know our in UA, we train heroes our way or the highway. We'll start with throws. Bakugo, you had the highest score in the entrance exam. What was your highest score in middle school? 62. 8 meters. Some of his classmates were impressed at that. Bakugo was certainly a strong boy. Now throw it with your quirk. And he did while yelling loudly. His result was 706. 2 meters. Applause, applause. Live for those applauses. You'll need to train your quirks, your minds, and your bodies if you want to be a hero. If you fail to show your potential to me in this exam, you will be expelled. They started going one by one. Some didn't have quirks that helped them with their strength, so the results weren't all completely insane. Uraraka's turn shocked everyone. Her quirk was zero gravity. Izuku started listing all the possibilities he could think about with a quirk like that. She scored an infinite because the ball went to space. Damn, he wished he could be that ball. He heard a girl behind him say something among the lines of, she must be one of the strongest girls in the class. Izuku wanted to correct her, but decided it wasn't the time for that. Uraraka wasn't only one of the strongest girls. If trained correctly, she could be the strongest of them all. She could rival Bakugo or 𝐲𝐸 themselves. The same went for Yaoyorozu. Her quirk was creation. She used the lipids of her body to create whatever she wanted, as long as she could remember its structure and atomic configuration of it. That mental power was hard to rival. She must have worked hard. Izuku was impressed. He couldn't wait to talk more to her. She looked skinnier than she should. He could suggest making changes in her diet to eat more fulfilling meals. In Hitoshi's turn, he called for Uraraka and brainwashed her. The plan worked, and everyone was very confused. Yes, a bit confused about his quirk, but more confused about his last name. After all, he was also an 𝐍𝐴. He is another one of my sons. My husband and I adopted 4 annoying children. Is there another in the class? A girl with pink skin and horns asked. She reminded Izuku of Pink. He wanted to bring Pink with him, but his dad said it wasn't possible. Yeah, me. 𝐲𝐸 spoke up. Everyone's faces were a painting. It's complicated, but we are brothers. Okay, questions later. Izuku, your turn. Izuku stepped into the circle, with a ball in his hand. The class was excited to see the great ghost in action. Izuku was too. He never used one for all at its full potential. He hadn't used one for all since the vestiges went to the palace and didn't come out. Then he saw him. Izuku saw 2 blue eyes watching him from a distance. All Might was there. Izuku wanted to impress him, so he used one for all at 100% in his wrist and went increasing from it to his shoulder to give him more throwing power. His results were pretty great, 10 Kelvin meters. That was a record for him. The rest of the test were like that too. In every single one of them, another classmate had a freakish monster score. But Izuku knew he was getting first place. Second place was going to be 𝐬𝐬. The last test was hand-to-hand combat. They weren't fighting each other, they were fighting a combat robot. The objective was to assert the most punches one could in a minute. The winner of this one was the invisible girl, Toru Hagakure. The robot couldn't perceive her, so it couldn't attack her or block her. Everyone had such amazing quirks. He wanted to start his job now. Zuko, calm down. You are breaking the floor. You all did better than I expected. 𝐲𝐸 seemed puzzled. He was very strict about heroics, and in all his years teaching, most of his students didn't even pass the first day. But his students, they all did. Go back to the classroom. Your next class will be Foundational Hero Studies. And I wouldn't want to be late for that class. He went back to his caterpillar state. They were back in the classroom. The results were as expected. Izuku had first place, 𝐬𝐬 second, and Hitoshi third. Izuku started with his notes at light speed. He usually looked like an angel or a cute bunny. But when he had his mind in quirk analysis, he became a demon. He started with 𝐬𝐬, of course diet change, and a better leg and arm training. 𝐬𝐬 needed to be stronger. She already had a great maneuver of her quirk. Even if she wasn't great under pressure and always came up with foreseeable solutions, her chemist expertise and great personality would make her an excellent leader or mission partner. For support gadgets, giving her physical abilities, it would be great to make her basic weapons like a staff to use. She was strong and agile. What better weapon for her? Because she can create her own gadgets. She probably thought she didn't need to ask for some. But 𝐬𝐬 needed to conserve her lipids for important things on the mission. Gadgets should be given. 𝐴𝐻𝐸 𝐸. She was surprisingly strong, and her muscle definition was unbelievable. She was used to carry heavy things with and without her quirk. Her quirk, oh, Izuku was in awe. Zero gravity defy the laws of physics. And it was the most versatile quirk he has seen. Of course, rescue work was the first thing that came to mind. Falling buildings and trains derailing for her would be a piece of cake. But for combat, it would be fantastic. Villains would float away and even the biggest of them would be weightless and unbalanced. She could excel in defensive heroism, like security or something like that. If she combined her hero suit with DNA-infused material, bullets that touched her would be useless because they'd lose speed and force, making the suit bulletproof without it being too heavy. She can lift up until 3 tons, but Izuku made the math. With the proper gadgets and training, she could lift up to around double that plus her own weight. Of course, she would need weapons, maybe a capture string made of rubber, and she would need close-range guns. Maybe teasers and daggers. Denki Kaminari, a guy with an electric quirk. He wasn't the smartest or attentive guy in class and his control isn't the best. He probably wasn't allowed to use it due to the nature of it. He needs a lot of practice. He missed. But Izuku wanted to talk more to him, help him. Denki had a kind heart and had an outspoken nature. He was very much like his Yamadad. There was another guy, 𝐴𝐻𝐸, whose quirk was tape, that he thought it would be an amazing partner for him. The tape was electric resistant, and it didn't have glue, probably molecular adhesion, so water didn't have effect on it. So cool. 𝐓𝐸𝐬 Takoyami, a short guy with a sentient quirk, Dark Shadow. She was amazing and super powerful, but she tended to lose control in the dark. He wasn't very strong or fast, but he had an amazing focus and calm presence. Also, he had a bit of a sweet tooth. He saw Takoyami's eyes lighten up when Sato was eating a Pop-Tart. Kei would love Takoyami. Izuku continued writing everything down, striped down the powers and personalities of his classmates. Is your brother sleeping? Uraraka came near Izuku along with 𝐲𝐸 and 𝐬𝐬. Izuku was surprised how quickly they got along. He doesn't sleep during the night, explained Izuku. I'm a vampire. He is an insomniac. Shut up, Hitoshi grunted. Dad's the same. It's in my blood. Toshi, you are adopted. The door opened suddenly, revealing a big figure that everyone knows and loves. Well, not everyone loves him, but it was more dramatic to say it that way. I am here, walking through the door like a normal person. All Might, the teacher no one needed. Why was he there? He shouldn't be there, but someone must have used a few tricks up his sleeve. Damn Nedzu and your beautiful brain. The excited noises and gasps didn't wait to show up. His blue eyes locked the green ones that nervously approached him. They both just looked at each other. They said 2 quiet hellos. Izuku explained Toshinori the circumstances of his situation, pretending they didn't know each other. Toshinori observed that Katsuki was there too. They haven't seen each other in a long time. Katsuki's eyes were murderous and very, very cold. We'll talk later, whispered Izuku. All Might gave a big smile that no one could know if it was fake. It probably was, right? Follow me, class. I'll lead the way. And there they were, the whole group of students following their teacher and idol. Oh, what would happen? They had to fight each other. That was bound to end up being entertaining, wasn't it? They were going to play the parts of heroes and villains in their hero costumes. The hero costume reveals weren't what Izuku expected. Yes, he was in awe when he saw how cool everyone looked, but what were they thinking? Some of the costumes were completely useless and impractical. First of all, most of them didn't have protection in key areas and the material was flexible but not resistant. If he went into specifics, some people were going to jail. Uraraka and Yaoyorozu said their suits were tight and exposed because of an error of them not being clear enough. Izuku called bullcrap on that. No one in the world would think of giving heels or a swimsuit as a suit for a hero, let alone a teen hero. He didn't have time for that. He would put every and each one of his thoughts in his notes. After all, his class is next. Wink, wink. The teams were sorted and Izuku was excited for who his partner was. He was strong and tall. His costume seemed to be well thought and had the right protection parchments in all the key body parts. He looked so cool. His partner in this was 𝐀𝐦 𝐍𝐴, brother of the turbo hero, 𝐸𝐸nium. Izuku had worked with 𝐸𝐸nium before. He was one of the few that wasn't chasing his neck down. He never met someone with a better heart and a moral compass more equilibrated. Ada followed his brother's path. His costume was very similar, and he heard he wanted to carry the 𝐸𝐸nium legacy. There was one thing the brothers didn't have in common. I look forward to working with you, Ada-san. Izuku offered a nice, big smile. I do, too, for the sake of this activity. But I do not agree on you being in the hero course, Ghost. He wasn't as laid back and easygoing as his brother. He acted like a robot. Sorry, what do you mean? I do not agree with vigilante practices. They are against the law. My brother told me you were a good guy, and I don't doubt his judgment, hence I believe you do want to be a hero. But the law was made to protect people and create order, and since your arrival the number of vigilantes has increased. So, for the sake of our time together, I won't fight you, but I don't agree with you being here. He was serious, and Izuku felt hurt. It was to be expected that one of his classmates would be against him being there. He was sad it was him. I became a vigilante because, at that moment, it was the closest thing to a hero I could be. I wanted to help people and save everyone. I have a mission that is save everyone that needs saving. It doesn't matter who they are. I met vigilantes before, my brother did too. They were selfish and reckless and self-absorbed. They didn't do a good job because they didn't study to do a good job. I believe what you were saying, Ghost. But I believe my own experiences, too. Ada sounded serious and stern, but he wasn't aggressive, and he was sincere. He had strong convictions. Izuku could respect that, but if he could only explain better his point of view without having to reveal the whole I actually died thing. They were going against Katsuki and Koji Koda. Izuku remembered the last name Koda. They were the owners of a pet store that owed money to a couple. Koda could talk to animals, but he was so shy and reserved that he rarely talked. He was strong-looking, but he didn't prove to be more than average smart. He never thought about strategies or plans, even if his quirk was perfect for surveillance and ambushes. Also, he was in the hero team with 𝐀𝐦, someone who was not known for being quiet and subtle. Please, Teams A and C, go to the building. We are going to begin. That was their cue. You seem to have a plan, Ghost. What do you have in mind? 𝐀𝐦 is probably going to ambush us without planning a strategy with Koda. He is too hot-headed and impatient to wait for Koda to speak up. Also, his hearing is very bad, so that will anger him. Koda is shy but very powerful. He is naturally strong, but he doesn't seem to know martial arts. He started saying, that means we have the upper hand. You know Bakugo from before, I assume you know how to fight him. Yes, that's where I was going. I can't be hurt by his explosions. And I know how he fights. I can't touch him, but I can capture him with my black whip and dry his sweat with a strong wind, so he can't go boom. Koda probably won't attack, but he won't give up either. He'll try to find an animal to distract you and then come here and grab the weapon. There aren't very dangerous animals around here, so probably it will be a bird. You won't need help with Bakugo. He is very strong, and if you can't contain him, he will be at trouble. Ada wanted to secure everything. He wanted to do a good job. But his question was more directed to Izuku's self-confidence or his arrogancy. He was being cautious. I know how he fights and how he moves. But if we both go for him and no one is here to care for the weapon, we will lose. They both heard explosions in the distance. Izuku took out his ears and wings, but he replaced them with devil horns and devil wings. Ada looked at him weird. I thought my usual costume wouldn't be the villain. Why do I look bad? I can change. Ada laughed. He laughed. It's appropriate for the situation. Go and fight. I think I have an idea to secure better our weapon. I asked Yaoyorozu to prepare a few things for us before Izuku went to fight 𝐀𝐦. He looked so good with his hero costume. When they had a moment to talk, he would ramble about everything that stands out about him. He even had the sweat reserve grenades in his hands. They were bigger than expected, which meant they probably had an exterior lock. Big costume gadgets were difficult to put on and off, so to make them easier to wear, the designers constructed the locks on the outside. If the enemy figured out where it was, they could take it off. Izuku needed to do that. When they were close enough to each other, Katsuki lunged towards Izuku with high-velocity explosions. Ghost disappeared and used Black Whip. But Katsuki was fast and agile. Capturing him with the whip was hard. Then he had an idea. Combining Black Whip and Smoke Screen, he could create several whips. Katsuki knew that, but this time he would only create one. With the smoke, he created different paths the whip could go through. Katsuki had to guess from where it would come. That was the distraction. When he was exploding the different lines, Ghost quietly created the real, very small, whip to press the lock of the grenades. When they fell to the floor, Kaken was in shock for a slight moment, long enough for Ghost to capture him and create a wind torrent. He only needed to use his fingers, just a whoosh, that pinned him to the ground, drying at the same time his sweat. He had Kaken. For the first time, he was the one standing. Katsuki was KO. There wasn't time to celebrate because he heard a scream. It was Ida. Izuku ran towards the noise and saw a flock of big eagles and roaches attacking him. His engines were filled with roaches and dirt. He couldn't run away, and the birds broke his glasses. Izuku knew Koda was coming, but if he focused on him, Ida could end up hurt badly. So, without much doubt, Izuku attracted his classmate to him with Black Whip, and with his wings created a strong wind to throw the eagles off the window. "Are you okay, Ida-san?" Ghost, Koda is behind the weapon. Ida couldn't run, so Izuku used one for all kick style to knock Koda down. The fake weapon fell to the floor, and All Might announced the end of the activity. The villains won. Both heroes were knocked down. Their classmates woke up slowly and whining about the pain. Koda was a bit sad they lost, but his eyes were shining in a special way. Izuku felt good about himself at that moment. It was a spectacular fight, but can the rest of you tell me who was the MVP? Most of them said Izuku, of course. He knocked both guys out, but he knew it wasn't him. Ida was. But when he was about to say it, his brother 𝐲𝗏 opened his mouth. The MVP was Ida, sensei. He spoke. He followed the plan, and even if he was immobilized, Zuko got distracted and preferred to save him instead of going after Koda, which allowed him to get close to winning. And Zuko let the weapon fell to the ground, which if it was real, it would have exploded. Ida, as soon as he was out of his mess, he noticed Koda. He acted as a villain would act. He was the MVP. "Very good, young Todoroki. Call me by my name, please, sensei." "Very good, young 𝐲𝗏. Your analysis was on point. 10 points to Ravenclaw. Wrong story, but we are going to let him be. And in my opinion, 𝐲𝗏 would be a Gryffindor." The rest of the match were just as amazing as theirs. All of the students were giving their best. The girls fought on high heels. Izuku was impressed and mad. He was suing so many people after that. Hiroshima, a super manly guy with a hardening quirk, was the victim of the brainwashing of his brother. He was commanded to give them the weapon. 𝐲𝗏 was teaming with Monoma. His quirk was copy. He could copy and use up until 3 quirks at the same time in a basic level, which was impressive. Izuku thought that with training he could use more, maybe 5 at the same time, but probably they had to be compatible. Monoma copied 𝐲𝗏's and Hagakir's quirks, but his clothes were visible, so his plan didn't work. But they still won. "Ghost, can I talk to you?" Ida said to Izuku. And they went to some place more private. "What did you want to tell me, Ida-san?" "I wanted to thank you. You saved me even if it cost you being the MVP." He bowed slightly, but completely straight. "I didn't care about that. Please. You were in danger. Of course I was going to save you. But why? It jeopardized the mission. And it wasn't what a villain would have done." Izuku doubted that. Surely not all villains were like that, but he preferred to keep that opinion. "I know, but I'm not a villain. No matter what, I won't turn my back when someone needs saving. And I would never turn my back from one of my classmates. We are in this together, right?" He smiled at him, and he was reciprocated. "You are right, we are in this together. You are a good guy, Aizawa Yamada-san." His last name was long, worse adding the san, but Ida said it anyways. Izuku never heard someone actually saying his whole last name like that. "You called me my name for the first time. But please, call me Izuku. It's probably more practical. My brothers and I like our names better." "I will, Izuku-san. I like using my last name better, but maybe in the future." "Don't worry, Ida-san. Let's go back. The last battle is finishing. I'm sure Uraraka and Ashido-sen will win." And they started walking. Why? Well, you see. They kept talking until it was the end of the class. They analyzed the battles and compared theories. When the class ended, all the students went to the classroom. Izuku had his class next. He decided what he was going to do. It was being a perfect first day. But he had no idea who was watching him. "I'm so sorry, Izuku. Really, really sorry. Sensei, what is your plan?" "All Might and Ghost in the same place. That makes me laugh. Showman, please go drink something and eat. It's lunchtime." "You didn't answer me." "I'm sure you'll know my plan soon enough. At least now I can eat something. I was tired of showing the screen today for him." I want cake, nothing better than sugar. The first one that came to his lab was 𝐼𝐼 𝐍𝐴𝐭. Her quirk was vines and Izuku was eager to talk with her. He wanted details and run some lab tests in her hair, and maybe also give her some feedback regarding her costume. A white cloak is simply not a hero costume. I'm so happy we can talk. I assume you've read the notes I took of you, but I am here to explain everything and also ask a few questions. Why are you doing a private session with everyone? Doesn't that take a lot of time? She sounded worried more than curious, but her gaze relaxed when she saw Izuku smiled. Oh no, because we are going to talk personal matters regarding quirk, physical state, and mental state. I think talking in private gives us better chances of having a more effectful talk. I see. Well, I have some doubts regarding your notes. I was wondering what these sketches were supposed to be. She pointed to some drawings in the paper. In those, her vines were used in different situations: combat, rescuing, defending, and capturing. Some of the basis of heroics. I drew possibilities on how to use your vines, but I'm going to need more information. Please tell me everything you can think of. He took out his notebook and waited until Shiozaki could think of something. Then she stated, my vines can't hold people without hurting them. The thorns are unremovable and it's hard to control my strength in stressful situations. I don't see how I could use my quirk for rescue purposes. And even if my vines can't conduct electricity, they can still get burned if they are under too many volts. Also, for them to grow I need sunlight, so dark spaces or closed ones aren't my strong suit. Izuku annotated everything. He went to the whiteboard and started to draw and write his thoughts. He ended concluding a very thorough training plan. With what you told me, I can see how you could be a better defensive hero and how could you benefit in patrols. You know, not all heroes do patrols. There are certain types that are actually summoned by their agencies to chase specific criminals or to play the role of a sidekick. This is because if a patrolling hero whose quirk could hurt more than help someone in danger ended in a rescue situation, like a collapsing building, the chances of civilians getting hurt are greater. So, you're saying I should focus on defensive fighting and chasing? No, actually I'm saying the opposite. You already have an advantage in those. Your quirk is a tool, not a limiter. You need to learn how to use your tools to better all possible situations, not just the ones convenient for you. Take, for example, 13, amazing rescue hero, but her quirk can be dangerous if she didn't have such amazing control. She, of course, trained a lot to be as good as she is because she wanted to be a rescue specialist. You can be another thing. But just because your quirk isn't as good in some areas as others, doesn't mean you shouldn't train it. Shiozaki took a moment to understand the meaning of his words. She didn't want to be a rescue hero, not because of her quirk but because she loved the freedom of running and climbing like a jungle. She was of religious nature. Her attack moves were references to the Bible, and because of that she liked the freedom and the punishment of the sinners, of the killers, of the thieves, of the raw. Shiozaki-san, you are making a weird face. Oh, she got too excited. I want to chase villains. I want to specialize in capturing. Izuku smiled. Shiozaki thought that it was a sign of God to guide her in the correct path. Angels could change forms, she thought. Izuku Aizawa Yamada, ghost, was an angel. Then here is your training plan. Now if you allow me to take some DNA and QGC so I can make some tests. They ended up modifying her training twice to better accommodate her time, and also changed her costume. They kept the toga design but changed the fabric, and it could be removed with just a move. Underneath it, they designed a sunlight storage armor that could function as a sun imitator in dark spaces. Inspired by old Roman armors, the light was kept in the colored details. To avoid overheating, the interior was a heat isolator made with gel-based rubber. The door was opened slightly, then closed, then quietly and slowly it opened again. Izuku figured it was Koji Koda. He said come in almost singing, to lighten up the mood. Koda took a few steps and then ran to the stool. To say he was nervous was an understatement. Hello, Koda. It's really nice to see you. No need to be worried. I don't bite and I all out of knives. He joked. Koda chuckled a bit, and then probably out of instinct, he signed before saying hello. Izuku responded in the same way. You can sign. I understand JSL. Koda had a lot to say. I'm glad. He was interrupted by more signing. How is that possible? I read your notes. They are amazing just like you. I am hard of hearing. Kind of. I have a hearing more similar to a bird than a human, so I am either really loud or really quiet. I never know if I'm making a lot of noise. That's very interesting. Have you thought about hearing aids? But modified. With that, they started to work into a regimen. They implemented a decibel scale into his costume, but in his googles. Yes, they added googles. Koda didn't have a horrible costume. It was ugly but more practical than others. Koda didn't want to look threatening. He wanted to be a daylight hero that protected nature and animals. And animals didn't like heroes that looked like straight out of jail. Koda's body, after some testing, proved to be more suited for highland landscapes, mountains, and volcanoes. He had a good lung capacity, so maybe he was also very good underwater. They decided to change his costume to adapt to extreme situations such as volcanoes, high temperatures, and deep diving in the ocean. 𝐻𝐻𝐸 didn't like fighting, but he knew being a hero involved battles. Izuku recommended to practice Aikido. 𝐻𝐻𝐸 wanted to protect the environment, clean the ocean, and rescue animals, so they adapted his training too. He would practice stealth, Aikido, veterinary and first aids in animals, and tracking, along with the school curriculum. I think that is a good plan, 𝐻𝐻𝐸. This is a good start. Now, let's talk about your quirk. 𝐻𝐻𝐸, look, you need to get a grip on, man, or loud people will stump you over. Izuku was most pleased by his next student classmate's visit. He has been wanting to talk to them since the beginning for a number of reasons, one of them being his quirk and his story. But the main reason was because he was a loud blonde, just like his Yamada. That's right, sweetie, Mr. Electric himself, the great 𝐷𝐸𝐬 𝐸. He entered the classroom with a loud "Hello, my love" in a horrible British accent. 𝐷𝐸𝐬 𝐸 didn't look Japanese. He had American written all over his face. 𝐸 grew up in Japan. His dad was Japanese and his mother American. He didn't inherit a single thing from his dad more than his eye and hair color. 𝐸 sat down ready to talk strategy, but Izuku put on fake glasses and a different outfit and with the lowest his voice could go, said, "Welcome to therapy, 𝐸. We've been expecting you." What? Izuku came back to his normal self, and 𝐸 was shocked. Hahaha, I'm so funny, I should have my own show. Why didn't I go for a stand-up career? You can shapeshift, too. Are you, like, a god or something? No, I'm not a god, yet. I'm still working on that. But I really want to talk to you, if you are willing to open up to me. What do you want to talk about? I'm an open book. Full disclosure, I am not as academic as you. I'm a bit slow in that area. Well, he started. That's exactly one of the things. You seem like such a confident guy, but you fear your own quirk and it's clear you've never used it too much. And you are always stating your academic achievements, like if you want to make it obvious you aren't a bright student. I, personally, think that's a whole lot of crap. Sorry, I don't like disappointing people, so if no one expects anything from you, you can't disappoint them. It's a pro tip I learned. In my quirk, my dad told me to use it as little as I can, because every time I go over my limit, I end up out of it, and I can hurt if not controlled correctly. That was concerning. Izuku thought so too. So, your quirk gives you seizures if you can't control it? 𝐸, oh my god, we need to do a lot of tests to verify if you have brain damage. I'm sure you don't, but still. Geez, 𝐸. He was interrupted. Call me 𝐷𝐸𝐬. That's what you caught on. 𝐷𝐸𝐬, a quirk like any other thing, needs time to be learned. I am scheduling a meeting with Hound Dog as soon as possible, and lab tests, and we still need to make you a plan and assign you a private tutor. I can't believe they didn't do a psych eval in the entrance exam. What was Nezu-sensei thinking? Your quirk is amazing, and you have so much potential, and your personality alone is better than half the pro heroes. But you need to be okay, and he went into a spiral. Dude, chill. I have done the tests. I do them once a year. My dad is a big warrior. The only thing it affected was my concentration span and my flexibility. 𝐷𝐸𝐬 showed Izuku an attempt to stretch to the side. He couldn't go very far, and it looked painful when he tried. I know it's not ideal for a hero, but I want to learn how to use my quirk for good. I want to be able to take care of my dad when he gets old. He was scared after my mom died because, well, it doesn't matter right now. Sorry, it's okay, it's personal. If you have your tests, we can do a training schedule with a doctor's approval. And for your quirk, you can use it in a more passive way to extend your limit without going over your current one. Try to put static in your body as long as you can. As soon as your body feels weird, you stop. I advise having a regular spar partner, someone you can trust with your body and mind. I advise Hanta-san, because he can stop you without hurting you and your personalities match. 𝐍𝐸 is a cool guy, I'll ask him. And you also need a tutor, someone who can teach you in your free time. If you have a hard time concentrating, then we need to find a person that can get your attention and be good enough of a teacher. I'll give you a number. He is going to hate me at first, but I know he can help. He who? My brother, Toshi. 𝐷𝐸𝐬 laughed. That's such a cute nickname. Toshi. Haha, he looks so gloomy, and you call him Toshi. Izuku feared that he was making a mistake, biased by his family. Just because one gloomy and eye-bagged man gets along with a loud, disabled blonde didn't mean his gloomy and eye-bagged brother would get along with a loud, disabled 𝐷𝐸𝐬. But it couldn't hurt to try. Toshi was a good teacher and a very empathetic person. He was very smart, and even if he could be a sarcastic bitch, he had a soft side. And he lived with a lot of ADHD dares. He knew some tricks. Tell him I suggested him to you. If he tells you to get lost, you tell him that Pink will use his room as a bathroom. Who is, never mind, I can imagine is your pet. I'm thrilled. I want to start right now. Not everyone could trust him seconds after meeting him. 𝐷𝐸𝐬 𝐸, as open book as he was, didn't seem to want to tell more than a bit of the truth, the surface level of his worries. But that was okay. Maybe someone else could help him. Wink, wink. Did you hear that? Asked Izuku. Did you say wink? It wasn't me, I didn't hear anything. You must be tired. I knew you were waiting for me the most. Aizawa Yamada. Nito Monoma, like the diva he was, entered through the door walking with so much style. Monoma liked the spotlight and being praised, but Izuku found that endearing. Monoma appreciated that. Hope I haven't, he winked, kept you waiting. Who are you, again? Izuku could play too. Monoma laughed. Thank you for the notes, they were disturbingly accurate. I'm impressed. I'm good at my job. Please, let's talk. I want to know everything about copy and how to help you. They spent an hour talking about his quirk and it was surprisingly complex, more than Izuku expected. Dangerous for the user, too, if used incorrectly. Monoma had an excellent understanding of his own quirk. He had given thought and consideration to most his strengths and weaknesses. It was weird to know people who understood basic quirk theory. Most people just knew their type of quirk and its day-to-day limitation. Monoma went beyond that, explaining just how their body morphed painlessly to adapt to certain quirks, but how for stockpiling quirks it's useless, or how he called them blanks. Monoma focused greatly on his weaknesses. Yes, but it didn't feel like it was because of low self-esteem or insecurities. It was quite the opposite. Actually, he said them and compared them to his strengths. I am surprised about how long you progressed on your own. It's impressive. Well, my quirk isn't strong and flashy, and has so many restrictions that people used to call it the quirkless quirk. It was stupid, but for a kid who didn't know any better, it was the worst. My family always had my back, but they weren't the comforting type. My grandpa was an analyst. He told me that to get better, I need to know what I'm worst on. That's true. Your quirk is amazing. I know, He felt silent to Izuku's words. Why would someone call it a quirkless quirk? It's more of a jack-of-all-trades quirk. Those people were dumb. He laughed. Monoma wanted to cry at hearing that. So, he laughed as hard as he could. It wouldn't be suspicious that way, he thought. They laughed together. Yeah, people are dumb. Heroes can change that, I believe. They can be strong and wise and make the people follow their example. I want to be a hero that changes others' minds. Monoma sounded sincere. And he sounded secure of his own mind. And of course, who could ignore me? I'm fucking amazing. Oh my god, he sounded just like 𝐀𝐦. Izuku just smiled. He couldn't say out loud he wanted him to repeat that, because he sounded like his friend. Not for any other reason. You are. Well, let's start with your program. I expect to see you in this lab twice a week. Because you will learn so much quirk theory, you're gonna hate quirks. Monoma's schedule ended up having more hours of quirk theory, quirk training, and espionage. Momo greeted Izuku as soon as she opened the door. She was happy to see him in the same class and even more happy when she knew he was her teacher. But something made her even more ecstatic, a bit confused, and surprised. Izuku was 𝐲𝐸𝐻's brother. 𝐲𝐸𝐻 had explained to her the basics. Idiot father, his brother wasn't actually dead. The Aizawa Yamada adopted them along with Izuku and Hitoshi, and now everything was okay. She was speechless. Yaoyorozu was really happy for her friend, and she wanted to get to know Izuku more. After all, they were going to be in the same friend group. Maybe she should create a group chat. That would be so cute, she thought. Momo-san, I'm relieved to see you in the same class as me. I was so scared we were gonna end up in different classes. I know you are going to do excellent. Thank you, you are too. I saw you with your quirk. You are unbeatable. I'm a bit jealous. But not in a bad way. It's more like I admire your strength. She had a rich girl accent. Every word beautifully well pronounced and modulated. She talked like 𝐲𝐸𝐻, but moved more reserved. Not shy, but reserved. She was a rich girl. She hated it. I wanted to talk about something with you. You already have the best control over your quirk, and I'm sure with time you are going to do amazing things. But I'm scared for you or concerned. You see, your quirk needs lipids, fats, and not a normal amount. It needs a lot of them. I'm sure you're already aware, but your limit is very low, and it's because you are exhausted. Izuku showed a few charts he had prepared for her in the screen. This is how a body works normally, how much it loses and gains normally during the day. This is approximately how much you lose during a day in training. As you see, it's a lot. Yes, I knew I was losing that amount of fat per day. I'm surprised you did the math. You are anemic, too. Look at your nails and hair. I want to be sure with a blood test. But I'm convinced you aren't eating enough. Momo stayed silent for a while, but then responded. I'm from a very traditional and well-known family, you know. That's how I met Todoroki in one of the galas we attended. My family has a company that makes materials and fabrics. The biggest one actually, red lace. Todoroki was my first friend. He was the first person I came out to, too. You'd think who still comes out in this day and age. But that's just how traditional my family is. Momo-san, do they not allow you to eat more? Yes, she said. They wanted me to stay fit and beautiful. Even if my quirk needed me to eat more. I still eat less than a regular person. I wish I could change it. It will change. I have already planned a diet plan for you. And it's mandatory that you eat this much for your health and to do hero work, so your parents will be notified and can't complain. If your health doesn't improve, we'll be taking legal action. He was more serious this time, and he said we, so that Momo would understand that Izuku wasn't going to act alone or against the law. Really, I can't thank you enough. I can't wait. I just hope my parents won't get sad. They aren't bad people, they are just very old. I imagine. There's another I wanted to ask you. Sure, what is it? What company made your costume? His aura changed completely. Because they are going down. A few days later, that company and 3 more were burnt to the ground by mysterious blue fire, and their CEOs were sued. Just a friendly reminder, don't sexualize minors. Momo and Izuku talked a lot more in their session about thinking ahead of a fight and how to think under pressure. Izuku enjoyed a lot talking with her, and so did she. They were becoming friends. That was great. Oh, Izuku-san, may I have your number? I'm thinking of making a group chat with our friends. And another with our classmates. Sure. My number is +81 080 0303 4569. Don't call. Don't call. I'm really happy about this. Me too. All Might was the #1 hero. Known for his many successful missions and his unbreakable smile, he was whom everybody looked up to. He was the symbol of peace. All Might, to everyone, was the best hero in history, a man who could do no wrong. All Might was the atlas of the society. He was holding the weight of the peace and safety of everyone in Japan and its neighbor countries. And All Might was a killer, or so he thought. He was offered a place in the teaching staff at UA. He wanted to turn down the offer, but he knew his time as hero was running out. He accepted it when his former mentor Gran Torino gave him a slap in the head and told him to think of his future. All Might had never taught a day in his life. His first attempt of being a mentor ended in a kid's limbs exploding. Why would anyone entrust him with the safety of all the next generation of heroes? Netsu had faith in him, his mentor had faith in him, and his friends did, too. But All Might had stopped considering himself a hero after Izuku. All Might was weaker than ever, not just physically. His first day of teaching started. He was assigned to Class 1 and he was given a list of the names of his students. He was surprised to see young Bakugo. Happy for sure, too. He saw the name Todoroki. Of course, one of Endeavor's kid was going to be there. Yagi hoped he could live up to the expectation. And there was one name that almost made the #1 hero cry. He saw on the list there was written, Izuku Aizawa Yamada, student, HSCKS teacher. He wanted to meet this person, to see if maybe they had a similarity to the boy he once lost. Then he saw that green light, those long curls, and that smile, and all he could think about was if he could hug him. All Might almost became undone right there in front of everyone in the class. Bakugo stared at him with the same "I'm going to kill you" look he had when they first met. He saw Izuku fight. He was amazing. He was powerful and thoughtful. He wanted to feel so proud when he saw him use OFA, but he couldn't. All Might hadn't been there to teach him, to help him and guide him. He needed to talk to him. All Might needed to be brave because he was a hero. Izuku was tidying up his lab. Yagi was impressed by it. It wasn't all white and clean. It had whiteboards everywhere and materials to test quirks. You can come it, All Might. I know you are standing there. Just open the door. How did you? Long story, really. But I guess we have time. I'm surprised it took this long for us to meet again. It's my fault, but still, I guess I wasn't ready to face you. They both looked at each other. They were both standing still, Izuku fidgeting quietly with his hands and Yagi biting his bottom lip. And, at the same time, they said to each other, I'm very sorry. I'm so sorry, All Might. And they were both crying. And then they laughed, still crying though. Why are you apologizing, young Izuku? All Might sat down in a little stool. It looked ridiculous. Because I didn't warn you. I didn't go to you when I learned to appear. I was a coward. I'm really sorry. Kid, I don't know why you're here, if you are really here or this is just my imagination. All I know is that I hurt you, that because of me your life turned upside down. You are not the one that has to explain himself or apologize. I am sorry. I am sorry for my mistakes and for not bringing your case to justice. They talked. They shared life stories and secrets of their quirk. All Might explained OFA better this time. How he controlled it and how it was vanishing of his system. He didn't have enough time left to recover the time they lost as mentor-mentee. But he was going to try. All Might told him that he stopped feeling like a hero after Izuku's death. But the kid made him promise to not give up. All Might promised. If he broke that promise, he won't know what hit him. Aren't you too involved with this kid, showman? My boss finds me hiding in the kitchen. Oh no. He saw All Might. Well, my. If it isn't All Might with our little favorite vigilante. I thought they would never be together again. Well, how long have you been here, sensei? Enough. Be prepared, showman. You'll get to meet your heroes soon. No. Are you planning an attack, sensei? Should I tell the others? First contact our dearest student. We need to know the perfect moment for the attack. I sent the message. I got a response a few seconds later. The USJ will open its doors for the students, for the teachers, and for us. I went to Shigaraki's room. He was there, of course, playing video games with Kurogiri. He had his gloves on, and he was getting madder by the second. What a sore loser he was. I hated him. Kurogiri wasn't much better, but at least he had the courtesy of greeting me. We were co-workers, and he was an educated gentleman. Boss sent me here. Shigaraki is leading our next mission. All Might is going to be in the USJ this Wednesday. Along with Ghost, we'll need all the help we can get. Shigaraki was excited. He could bring an army together, combine their strengths and better them. It was just like a game to him. It wasn't a game. It wasn't a game to me or to Izuku. It wasn't a game for the kids there. They were kids. Why? What can I do to help? I can't stop them. I need them. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I know just the thing. I've been here too long. I know that. All for One, Sensei, was perfectly aware that I hated this rotten place from the deepest place in my guts, but he loved that so much. My quirk was too powerful to go unnoticed. And my awesome super incredible looks didn't help. He wanted me on his team, but he couldn't catch me. My quirk can tell stories of the rest of the people and change the course of them sometimes. But whenever I do so, I need to rewrite everything from the start, so I fall asleep for a few days if I change something unmeaningful. But I can black out for years if it's major. All for One tried to go after my family to get me, so I disappeared. Even if I am very good looking from my standpoint, the rest thought I was bland, so they couldn't find me. But I was married to the most beautiful of people, both inside and outside, and my son was just like her. If they wanted to be safe, they needed to stop being associated with me. Hazashi Midoriya needed to go, but Inko and Izuku were too much to hide. I need to save my son, but my hands are tied. I hate you who ties my hands, forcing me to tell the story just for amusement. When Izuku died, I had been gone for years already, but I was always watching over him and Inko. I knew before everyone that he wasn't dead. I couldn't see him, but I could hear some of his thoughts. He had a quirk like mine, a reality-warping quirk, absolutely horrible. I saw him progress, and that was more worrying than anything, but I was proud of him. I've never met someone with more will to save people than him. He was my little hero, my symbol of peace. But All for One heard about his passing, and without knowing the full truth, he made his next target Inko, my wife, the love of my life. I knew what All for One did to the hostages, what they suffered and how they ended. My wife wasn't going to become a Namo. But then she died, too, and he told me he could bring my family back if I helped him. We needed to get rid of the symbol of peace, the glue that held society together, and then he could reign, a world where quirks are for the rich and loyal. If there was a symbol, if there was hope, he would lose eventually. He needed me to show him everything, to change what needed to be changed. He liked that it was a challenge, and he liked having the advantage. He was a psycho. All for One hated vigilantes. They were untrustworthy pawns, and my son was his greatest rival as a vigilante. He was a hero, and he was following the steps of All Might. Sensei needed to get rid of him, but Sensei didn't know how my son looked like. And to him Ghost just looked like a weird shadow. He couldn't put two and two together. Izuku wasn't a Midoriya anymore, and I was just a pawn in this game. Ready to go, showman? I wasn't. Yes,